Every single night this guy dreamed of leaving his dead-end life behind. Trust me, you and I are about to see the wildest isekai wish gone wrong. He wanted it so badly he quit his job, searched everywhere, and finally, boom, wish granted. But this wasn't some epic dream. Pure nightmare fuel. He got his fantasy world, sure. Except he spawned as a barbarian named Katal, dumped into the freezing white wasteland, a brutal hellscape packed completely full of insanely overpowered monsters. For years, some shady system kept him locked in this icy prison. The notification, always the exact same quest, incomplete. Cut to a totally normal Tuesday in the wasteland. Two huge barbarians literally stomp a massive scorpion monster and just tear it to shreds. Then our guy calmly walks up. One flash of purple light, and yeah, he slices the remaining beasts into confetti. Only barbarians would flex about being this clueless, he sighs. What does clueless mean? Is it edible? The girl asks instantly. Before he can speak, they're already devouring that nasty, stringy beast meat like an absolute gourmet feast. Katal just stares in sheer disbelief. Bro, didn't I just say eating that toxic garbage would literally end you? Not even a week later, and we're doing this again, he snaps. The girl and bald guy just hit him with a proud thumbs up. It was an epic challenge. Then out of nowhere, the bald guy freezes up. Total convulsions, literal foam pouring from his mouth. He hits the deck, green puke spewing everywhere. The girl goes into full panic mode, smacking him repeatedly as the absolute chaos unfolds. Katal literally refuses to look. I am taking a walk, he grumbles. Our guy is so incredibly done with this lifestyle. Now pay attention here. Somewhere out there, a mercenary squad wanders, one guy loudly crying about the freezing cold. Another complains that trekking through this frozen hell is pure suicide regardless of the crazy payout. The captain immediately shuts him up. You idiots knew exactly what you signed up for. Yeah, but we never expected it to be this insane, the shivering merc fires right back. Safe inside the heated carriage, an old butler overhears all the drama. Coughing politely, he turns his attention toward his passenger. Are you holding up okay, my lady? He asks. A stunning blue-haired woman, Melina Akasha, flashes a gentle smile. Yes, I am perfectly fine. He glares outside. They are completely rude. Melina gently replies, please do not be so harsh. They were the only ones desperate enough for this job. She glances out worriedly. Wait, shouldn't we let them come inside? They look absolutely frozen out there. Absolutely not, the butler rejects firmly. My lady, you're forgetting the dark legends here. Melina pauses. Wait. You mean the horrific monsters? The old man shakes his head immediately. No, do you recall the tale of the Emperor? Literally the only guy who ever survived this frozen hellscape. He returned totally insane, babbling about massive serpents and bears that caused literal earthquakes. You and I need to hear this. His final warning. The real threat wasn't monsters, it was the barbarians. The butler totally brushes it off. Just an old myth, obviously. But Melina, she is definitely not so sure. Tons of the beasts he described were actually proven real later on. Even so, the old butler just laughs. Nobody alive has ever actually seen a barbarian. She admits he has a valid point. But suddenly the captain screams out, stop right here. There is something approaching, he yells while his panicked partner asks what it is. Squinting through the heavy snow, they spot a single figure. I cannot see it clearly. Then the captain gasps. I have good and bad news, he mutters darkly. Spit it out. A nervous guard screams. The leader answers back. The good news is, it is small. The terrible news, it is charging directly at us. Instantly, weapons are drawn. Everyone stares into the deadly blizzard, totally terrified and confused. Pulling out his heavy blade, the leader sweats as the mysterious shadow slowly closes the distance. Finally, the storm breaks enough to see. That is definitely no monster. Is it human? The stranger struts forward, white hair flying in the wind, totally shirtless, flexing an absolute unit of a physique. Obviously, it's Katal. He stops right there, those insane glowing purple eyes piercing through them. The whole squad freezes up, absolutely speechless as this beast walks up. They are shook. A literal legendary barbarian right here, but our guy just smiles warmly. Bro literally went for a walk because his idiot friends annoyed him. Finding a rich convoy out here, a total surprise. Flashing a completely polite smile, he introduces himself smoothly. I am Katal, the Ashen Barbarian. It is wonderful to finally meet you all. Katal checks out their gear, asking if they are merchants traveling with bodyguards. Then he drops some incredibly friendly advice. Turn around immediately though, he knows they are too stubborn. His glowing eyes lock onto the fancy carriage. Oh, he knows a VIP is in there. The squad leader is practically sweating bullets, but Katal smirks with the craziest pitch ever. I want you to hire me. The guards are completely mind-blown. Katal casually explains he wants to guide them through this deadly icebox. Shaking, the captain nervously asks if he is hostile. Katal just chuckles. Trust me, if I were an enemy, you would all be corpses already. That terrifying truth drops, leaving everyone pale and dead silent. Swallowing hard, the captain taps the carriage, asking his boss if she caught all that. Melina replies softly, "I heard every single word." The captain waits for her choice. "So what happens next? Trust me, you'll want to see this. Let's dive in. What happens if they fight this absolute unit?" The captain takes one look and gives the brutal truth. "Do not do it." After a heavy, tense pause, Melina finally makes the tough call. She agrees and accepts the massive barbarian's offer. The captain heads back to Catal, delivering the good news. She is in. Instantly, Catal's eye lights up a huge grin, spreading wide. Now that is what he wanted to hear. He steps forward, completely terrifying the absolute life out of the mercenaries. It is time to meet the real boss. The captain warns him to behave, but Catal just stares right back, flashing that wild, overconfident grin. Out of options, the captain leads the beast straight to the carriage. He ignores his men, complaining bluntly, stating the boss agreed, and fighting this guy is literal suicide. Inside, the old butler is having a total meltdown. Melina tells him to chill. Suddenly, a heavy knock hits the door. "May I come in?" Catal asks. The butler shrieks in pure panic, but Melina stays cool. "Yes, you may enter." Outside, Catal smirks. Hook, line, and sinker. His plan worked perfectly. Inside, the poor butler is sweating bullets, completely horrified. Right across from him sits Catal, a massive beast, just chilling casually with crossed arms. The barbarian speaks, and his voice is shockingly smooth. He simply tells the old guy to breathe. He promises no harm will come to them. The butler does not buy it at all, screaming internally, "Do not lie to me." Meanwhile, Melina just stares in pure shock. A living, breathing, legendary barbarian is sitting right in front of her. He nervously stammers out a hello, and he drops a smooth, "The pleasure is mine." Catal then glances at the raging blizzard outside, impressed by how warm the carriage is. The blue-haired girl explains it is all magic. Catal is genuinely hyped to hear that. Now pay attention here. He has never seen actual magic. Looking outside, he warns them survival is basically impossible. But then he drops an absolute bombshell of a line. "I will protect your lives," he says. But wait, there is a catch. He has exactly one condition for their survival. Terrified, she asks what he could possibly want from her. Smirking, he reveals his ultimate price. He does not want gold or power. He just wants basic info about the outside world. Melina is absolutely stunned. "That is it," Catal simply nods. He knows this is a ridiculously sweet deal for her. Plus, what other choice does she actually have? She reluctantly agrees. Hyped by her answer, he finally asks for her real name. She formally introduces herself as Melina of House Akasha. Grinning, our massive barbarian introduces himself as Catal. Deal secured. Boom, flashback time to his past life. Our guy used to be a massive fantasy nerd, totally obsessed with video games and novels. Then one day, bam, he wakes up as a ripped barbarian in a frozen wasteland. No time to cry or have an existential crisis here. The snowfield was deadly, swarming with wild monsters. So he did exactly what any main character would. He fought his way up, became the tribe leader, and battled daily just to survive and finally escape the ice. But every single time he tried crossing the border, a system window popped up telling him the escape quest was completely blocked. Just as he was losing hope, outsiders finally appeared. And suddenly, all the pieces clicked together in his head. The world beyond the snow was the exact fantasy world he always dreamed of. From then on, survival was not enough. He started grinding hard. Quest after quest, completely focused on escaping. And that brings us right back to the current timeline. You and I both know why outside intel from Melina is absolute gold to him. The problem is, every other human he met attacked him instantly, or completely lost their minds to the freezing cold. So honestly, he is just thrilled to finally have a normal, civilized conversation for once. Suddenly, he shifts the topic. He knows they are hauling a massive stash of weapons, literally hearing the sharp clanging of heavy steel out in the cargo wagons. The guy has absolute super senses. He cuts the small talk and bluntly asks if a huge war is raging in the outside world right now. Melina nods. The Empire and the Kingdom are locked in war. Catal smirks, realizing the outside world is not exactly peaceful either. The Empire has way more troops, but the Kingdom is surviving thanks to two massive factors: elite swordmasters and an actual hero. Catal is hooked immediately. A hero, a swordmaster. He desperately needs to know what kind of power level they have. Realizing he is completely clueless, Melina asks if he knows about mysteries. Then she starts breaking down the world's entire magic power system for him. Everything revolves around an energy called mystery. Only a super rare few can use it, and they are split into 5 strict tiers. The lowest rank is called third rate. They can basically just feel the energy, not weaponize it. Next is second rate. This is where fighters can actually start using the raw power in real combat. Above that is first rate. Think of your standard elite knights and mages who can manifest pure mana or strong auras. Trust me, you and I are not ready. The highest ranks belong to monsters who completely shatter human limits. Alright, stick with me, you've got transcendent beings casually splitting the literal heavens. The Swordmaster, is one of these monsters. But at the absolute peak, the legendary hero. Someone who doesn't just wield power, they rewrite the entire world. She wraps up noting that even being a lowly third-rate fighter makes you a massive hometown celebrity. Katal's reaction to all this hype, so simple, so epic. He just says, I want to meet them. Melina is totally stunned. Did he seriously just say he wants to fight god-tier beings? Yep, he is dead serious. He has been stuck in this freezing hellscape forever fighting to stay alive. Sure, it is his dream fantasy world, but it's a literal prison. His one true goal, finally seeing what lies beyond. His face hardens with absolute resolve. He flat out declares he wants to escape this dump, then flashing a confident smirk, corrects himself. No, he must get out. Rolling along, Melina finally asks her burning question. Is he actually the legendary barbarian? He doesn't deny a thing, pointing out she clearly knows him. Nods, saying she knows him from the ancient myths. Now Katal is the one completely blindsided. A legend. Melina is dumbfounded. How on earth does he not know his own epic legend? Katal just cracks up, recalling some wild knight he met back in the day. That guy became emperor. He smirks, playing it super cool, guessing it's true. But he immediately pivots back to the stuff that actually matters right now. Why haul tons of weapons through a frozen death trap? She panics awkwardly, stammering for a decent excuse. But Katal's piercing stare is too much. She finally breaks. Her family is totally broke. Turns out they were wealthy merchants, but rival guilds sabotaged them. Now they are drowning in massive debt. Now pay attention here. His brain fires at light speed, instantly deducing she's supplying the kingdom's war effort. His logic is absolutely flawless. The massive empire army does not need extra swords. Kingdom, though desperate. He points out that crazy high demand plus low supply equals a massive payday. Totally worth risking her own neck for. He keeps rolling, guessing her territory borders the enemy, forcing this absolute suicide mission through the ice. Melina is left utterly speechless. She can only nod, confirming he is 100% right. She's completely rattled. The stories called him a brainless brute. But this dude is a tactical genius. Just who is he really? But before he can even drop an answer, the carriage slams to a halt, then a screech. While the whole crew panics, Katal stays ice cold. He knows exactly what is up. Incoming company. Out of pure nowhere, a monstrous black slime bursts through the snow. The party freezes in absolute terror. Katal just squints at the thing, while Melina confirms their worst nightmare. It's a literal textbook, legendary monster. You and I know this spells disaster survivors warned of this exact beast. But Katal, he just grins like an absolute madman. He laughs. Oh yeah, they're chewy. Pretty decent snacks. Melina's jaw literally hits the snow. You eat those, he casually tells her to catch it herself, leaving her speechless. But the beast isn't waiting around. Emitting a bone-chilling screech, it lunges right for them. The guards instantly lose it. Melina screams Katal's name for backup, but he doesn't even blink. He just folds his arms, smirking that he will only intervene if things get deadly. He tells the stunned Melina her mercs can handle this. He wants to witness outside world strength. Bam, the slime crashes down. The captain desperately roars for a shield wall. One soldier barely gets his shield up, bracing for the monster's heavy charge, but it is totally useless. The impact is completely insane, sending the poor soldier flying violently backward. Another fighter steps up with a heavy axe. Tossed aside like a rag doll. 0 damage done. The captain thinks fast. He yells that slimes only charge in straight lines. You need to scatter and sync up. And boom, it works. The spearman vaults the beast, landing a clean side strike. The monster shrieks in agony. Seeing his opening the warrior channels, Aura delivering a much heavier blow. The slime reeling, the captain charges right in his sword, glowing with raw power. He orders his men to push hard. Calling out the hidden core weak point, he powers up, unleashing a massive downward strike. Flawless hit. The blade shatters the red crystal core, and the beast just melts away. Easy victory. The mercenaries go absolutely wild. But Katal, he watches totally bored. Then the next wave hits. And that's where we leave it. A giant wolf pack appears, while one cocky merc thinks rumors were overblown. The captain instantly shuts that down. He warns the rookie they are not even halfway there yet. Stick with me here because the mercenaries start whispering. They think Cadell is just a freeloader and they want to test him out. One guy splits from the group. He marches right up to Melina, demanding a serious chat. He points out they are risking their necks for this gig. She totally agrees, calling them the only brave ones around. But there is one huge issue he cannot ignore. This so-called barbarian Cadell has not lifted a single finger to help them, so he officially asks permission to test Cadell in combat. He wants to see if the guy actually deserves special treatment. Melina looks completely stunned as the captain explains the situation. He sighs, admitting he tried stopping his crew, but they refuse to listen. Cadell just smirks, completely unfazed by the threat. You want to test me? Fine, but not right now. The mercenary is totally caught off guard. Cadell just stares right past them, gripping his axe. Looks like you have to wait in line. We got company. Suddenly, a chilling presence drops over the whole group, and a deep voice echoes. The frail mortals are here. The voice keeps up its creepy monologue. Looks like I get to eat a rare delicacy today. Watch closely now. A massive white serpent erupts right from the snow. Bark for me, mortals. Struggle all you want, it makes you taste better. Melina lets out an absolute piercing scream. The guards are trying their hardest to survive the monster, but a booming voice cuts straight through the chaos. Enough, it is Cadell, and he looks incredibly mad. He declares these people are his guests, ordering the giant attacker to back off. Why are you here? The snake hisses loudly. Did he forget the rules? He is way outside of his own tribe territory. Cadell snaps back that it is none of his business, which naturally just makes the giant snake 10 times more furious. Flexing a massive surge of power, the monster shows its true form. I am the snake. How dare you command someone promised immortality? Cadell is totally done listening. Guess you need a lesson, he says before throwing a punch that blasts out a massive shockwave. The impact slams straight into the snake, creating a giant mushroom cloud of crackling blue energy. The raw force of the hit is completely insane, blasting the other barbarians backward. Melina gets knocked right off her feet while one of her guys screams her name in panic. The dust clears, the snake is just a bloody mess in the snow. Cadell coldly states, you only listen after a good beating. Melina just stares, totally shocked by that crazy display of power. Lord Cadell, she whispers in pure disbelief. His eyes now glowing a terrifying purple, Cadell says he will join them right after he finishes taking out the trash. He stomps down, shattering the ground with dark energy, then blasts forward at blinding speed. Another huge explosion rocks the snowy plains. Just a few minutes later, Melina and the butler are absolutely stunned. You called it right, the mercs are now begging for forgiveness. Inside the carriage, Cadell is perfectly calm. He casually says he totally gets not trusting a random stranger. The trip continues, and somehow the poor butler got kicked outside. Rough day for him. Cadell turns to Melina looking dead serious. That said, there is something I am super curious about. He asks why a fancy noble lady would personally risk her neck on such a deadly trade mission. She hesitates a second, then admits she is just the daughter of a concubine, practically the second wife to Lord Akasha. She explains her mom was used for a political marriage and then completely abandoned with zero power. Clenching her fist tightly, she admits they get treated exactly like servants. They are family in name only. I volunteered for this trade mission, she declares, which totally catches Cadell off guard. Her reasoning, simple but super powerful. Someone has to set an example. A tiny smirk hits Cadell's face. He calls her really smart, super ambitious, and completely greedy. Melina is absolutely speechless at that, but before she can even reply, a sudden violent jolt from the carriage interrupts. Someone yells out that they have finally arrived. Stepping outside the carriage, her men just gasp in pure awe. That endless deadly blizzard is completely gone, replaced by a gorgeous lush green valley stretching out ahead. Thanking Cadell, Melina mentions her trip back will be super easy since she won't carry weapons after selling all the goods. She cannot let that earlier comment slide. She turns asking what he meant by calling her ambitious. He replies he meant exactly what he said. He already knows her once mighty family is standing on the edge of financial ruin. He connects the dots perfectly. If she wins where the main family fails, she steals everyone's absolute loyalty. So your goal is to seize control of your family, right? He admits he is right. Cadell smirks, and honestly, you and I both love a classic story of a cast-off heir rising to power. Let's dive into this. Melina is absolutely stunned. This barbarian is way smarter than anyone she expected. Realizing his insane power, a wild idea hits her. Has he ever considered leaving these freezing snowfields? He boldly asks him to join her side. He actually turns her down. He has business to finish first, and she gracefully accepts his choice. She takes an ornate emblem off her neck, handing it over as a token. If he ever hits the outside world, just show it to the Akasha family. Cadell accepts the shiny gift with a huge grin. They part ways, hoping to reunite someday. He watches her carriage completely vanish into the lush valley, leaving the frozen wasteland behind. 5 whole years pass. Back in that endless snow, a massive declaration finally goes off. System notifications suddenly blow up his vision. The quest is complete, and rewards are handed out. Then the magic words finally drop. You may now leave the snowfields. Standing at the very edge of the wasteland, Cadell is hyped to enter his dream world. Now pay attention here. With a confident smirk, he finally steps straight into his brand new fantasy world. In a super vibrant green forest, Cadell takes a massive breath, soaking in the fresh scents. Grass, wild beasts, rushing river water. It is literally a world away from that frozen hell. He opens his eyes, grinning like a madman. Very nice. But then his whole mood suddenly flips. He whips around, glaring at the distant frozen peak. You cursed snow, let's never meet again, he absolutely roars. This is the fantasy paradise he always wanted. A land of wonder he thought was totally impossible. The journey was pure nightmare fuel, but he lived. Now he is going to enjoy everything. We are talking magic swords, dragons, and elves. The full package. That burning need for a new life kept him sane. In the snow, just surviving was never quite enough. Wandering through this absolute paradise, a shimmering light in the distance catches his eye. A glowing village civilization at last. Our guy is losing his mind with pure joy right now. He flashes back to the barbarians. They always looked at him like he was speaking total nonsense. Man, he misses real talking. He starts practicing his introduction. I know what you're thinking. A classic isekai greeting. Nah, he decides to play it cool and gentlemanly. Sprinting toward the lights, we cut to a peaceful clearing where an elderly elf addresses the crowd. Elf villagers, he yells. This is our new home. The entire crowd absolutely explodes into cheers. They are beyond thrilled to have their own place. But one young elf looks super anxious. He walks up to the elder looking panicked. Elder, is this spot actually safe? It is. But the kid pushes back. Humans cannot come here, sure, but those snowy plains are way too close. What about the horrible monsters living there? The elder just scoffs at him. Not a problem. For thousands of years, nothing has crossed those plains. Plus, we set up a barrier. He brags about this powerful, ancient magic barrier. It perfectly hides them and blocks anyone from approaching. Even if a monster got through, he says, it does not matter. We have the queen. He smiles, blindly confident that absolutely nothing could threaten them. He is about to be proven wrong. Right on cue, Catal walks up and feels his huge hand pass through something weird. It feels exactly like tearing cheap fabric. He stops super confused. Did I just break something invisible? He shrugs it right off and keeps walking until a sudden noise makes him freeze completely dead. Peeking through the tall grass, he spots a kid with pointy ears. Wait, is that an elf? A real elf. The most iconic fantasy race. Meeting one this fast, his luck is absolutely off the charts. For the very first time, he is truly glad to be alive. But the kid is crying. I am so scared. I wandered too far. Suddenly a deep voice speaks. Her eyes fly wide open. Tal looms right over her, casting a massive, terrifying shadow. He just drops a friendly hello. The poor little girl is so absolutely petrified by his giant scary face that she just faints. What do you and I make of this? He just stands there holding the fainted kid clueless. Before he can even speak, she just passes out cold. So our guy figures, well, might as well carry her back to her village. You and I are about to watch the ultimate misunderstanding. He honestly expects to be welcomed back like a total hero. Smiling to himself, he's totally hyped for that warm reception. Cradling the sleeping kid, he strolls right into the hidden elven settlement, but his big welcome, yeah, completely not what he pictured. Pure panic erupts. A human. And he has my child. Instantly, a dozen sharp spears are pointed dead at his face. They start screaming, "Who are you? How did you break our barrier?" Yep, this is definitely not going as planned. The mom is screaming in horror, totally terrified. Meanwhile, the village elder is completely shook. Impossible. No human has ever found this place. Their magic barrier was flawless. So how did he enter? Realizing the shield is actually cracked, full-blown panic sets in. He yells for their queen, but she's out patrolling. Of course. Catal tries explaining he comes in peace, but nobody is listening. One elf shrieks, "Drop the kid or we'll hunt you down." The poor elder is sweating, his mind completely racing. That barrier was ancient magic. No cheap trick could bypass it. So he jumps straight to the absolute worst logical conclusion. Now watch closely. Here's where it gets crazy. The elder assumes it's a prepared attack, leaving Catal just totally baffled. Do I honestly look like some kind of kidnapper? He desperately needs to clear this whole mess up fast. But right on cue, the little girl finally wakes up from her stress nap. He gently sets her down on the grass. Go on, he says with this super kind smile. Go back to your family. The kid looks at his warm smile, but her panicked brain instantly registers him as a terrifying, shadowy demon boss. So naturally, she lets out a blood-curdling shriek and sprints to her parents. Poor Kettle is just completely crushed. Is my face seriously that terrifying? I thought I looked pretty decent earlier. Sighing, he turns to the elves, throwing his hands up. Look guys, I returned the kid. See, I'm not your enemy. But the stubborn elder isn't having a single word of it. The hostage is free. Attack. In perfect sync, every single elven archer draws their bow, taking dead aim at our incredibly confused hero. Fire. A massive glowing volley of magical arrows rains right out of the sky, tracking straight for Catal's head. He just stands there, totally dumbfounded. Are they literally deaf? He's quickly realizing these elves are nothing like the legends. They are completely savage out here. He always pictured them as peaceful nature lovers. But in the wild, it's kill or be killed. So as the arrows rain down, he just stands unfazed. The attacks literally bounce off him like harmless foam darts. The attackers are getting desperate. They scream to keep firing, convinced his defensive barrier must have a limit somewhere. Know what you're thinking. Is he gonna snap? Yep. Catal calmly raises a hand to shut this down. In one split second, he unleashes a massive shockwave. The raw blast absolutely obliterates the elven front line, tearing the whole forest apart. Those archers get sent flying like ragdolls. One guy screams to put up a shield, but it is way too late. Massive trees are ripped clean from the dirt as the elves get tossed through the air, screaming in absolute terror. This insane wave of destruction carves a giant trench straight through the woods. When the dust finally settles, the elder just stares in pure disbelief. What even was that? Down at the end of the freshly made crater stands Keatle. He calmly repeats, "I am not your enemy," but then he rubs his neck awkwardly. Whoops. Guess I might have used just a little too much juice there. Suddenly, completely out of nowhere, a blazing, flaming phoenix arrow comes screaming right for his skull. Direct hit, it erupts into a massive fiery explosion right where he stood. The old elf and the others are completely stunned. Right then, a stunningly elegant elven woman lands gracefully on the cliff above. It's none other than Helia Royce, the actual elf queen. She demands to know what the hell is happening. The elder immediately screams about a human attack and her face goes freezing cold. She realizes their hidden sanctuary is compromised. But then Keatle casually strolls right out of the smoke without a single scratch on him. "Hey, time out. I'd really appreciate it if you guys just listened to me." Both the queen and the elder are absolutely floored, unharmed. After taking Her Majesty's ultimate attack straight to the face, the queen just glares down from her rocky cliff. She assumes this overpowered freak is here to enslave her people. Her eyes scream disgust. She seriously deeply despises all humans. Introducing herself as queen of the Leaf Clan, she knocks another shot. Aiming straight for his heart, she declares he'll pay for human greed. Keatle is totally lost. Can they not understand me? We're literally speaking the same language here. Is she purposefully ignoring me? Or is the relationship between humans and elves really just this incredibly toxic? He sighs hard. Talking is useless. Then he remembers an old lesson: people only start listening after you punch them. The queen lets it fly, crackling with brilliant blue energy. But wait, this isn't a normal arrow. It literally transforms into a roaring spectral beast. Trust me, watch this. Keatle just clenches his fist, gathering an absolutely insane level of power. Alright, let's dive right in. One single punch and a massive beam of raw force slams into the beast. The elf queen just stares completely stunned. Keato's attack easily overpowers hers, leaving her face frozen in absolute shock. Whoops, he did it again. The massive explosion totally wipes out the spectral beast and slams straight into the queen, slams straight into the dirt. Utterly defeated and completely surrounded by rubble. Meanwhile, Keato just scratches his cheek, wondering if he should have held back more. The queen looks up pale with fear, completely speechless. She realizes this guy is on a transcendent level. Why on earth is an absolute monster like him here? Sweating bullets, she makes a desperate call, screaming for everyone to get away immediately. Her people freeze, but she screams again, ordering them to flee. As they run, she turns back defiantly, yelling that he will never win. Keato is so incredibly confused right now. He literally just wanted to talk. Everything went totally sideways, and she is definitely not listening. She closes her eyes, starting a seriously powerful magic incantation. Her eyes snap open. Boom. A massive eruption of pure fire explodes from a magic circle, summoning a colossal blazing bull. Keato's eyes light up with pure hype. A real summon. He looks exactly like a kid on Christmas morning. Back in his frozen hometown, monsters were just ugly and gross. But this thing, a majestic beast with horns of actual blazing fire, this is something else entirely. He thinks now, that is a proper spirit. This right here is what real fantasy is all about. The queen issues her final command. Pigo, totally annihilate this enemy. But this high-grade fire spirit just grumbles, whining about contracts being a huge hassle. The queen instantly cuts him off, shouting for silence. She knows a basic rule. The older and stronger a spirit is, the more massive its ego becomes. She can barely maintain this summon, needing another tribe's help just for the contract. Fulfill the deal, Pigo, she commands. Her tone leaves absolutely zero room for argument. The spirit stomps its hoof, readying up. Just gotta kill the human right. Now watch this part closely. The spirit gets a good look and completely freezes. Keato is standing there, radiating dark energy, flashing a terrifying razor-toothed grin. This supposedly mighty spirit is shaken to its very core. It starts panicking. Is that guy even human? The gigantic flaming bull erupts from the seal, roaring out with raw, insane power. Keato is just losing his mind with joy. Straight out of a fantasy novel, and he is seeing it live. But his total fanboy moment gets ruined when a voice booms. You human have invaded our sacred land. Blazing Bull Pigo glares down. A pathetic little human dares to mess with the forces of nature. It threatens to burn him to pure ash, but Keato remains totally unfazed. Bro is just confused. Pigo does not wait though. Eyes glowing with pure fury. It digs its hooves deep into the dirt, charging up an absolutely insane amount of magic before attacking. Boom, it takes off. The spirit beast launches like a flaming meteor, aiming for total annihilation. But Keato does not even flinch. He just braces himself. The resulting collision is absolute madness, literally tearing the ground apart. The elf queen gets violently thrown back by the sheer shockwave. She looks up and the sight is just completely unbelievable. Somehow, Keto caught this massive charging bull with just one single hand. He literally grabbed its horn. You and I both saw this coming, right? This absolute unit is frozen in midair. Charge cancelled. Keto just cracks a chilling smirk. He figures a beastly form makes it easier to handle. Eyes flaring with purple energy, he pulls his fist back. His simple logic, just beat it to death. The elf watches in pure horror, completely unable to believe what she is actually seeing. One single punch connects. Boom, a blinding flash erupts, and the raw shockwave carves a massive trench straight through the entire forest. This blast is so insanely huge you could see it from space. It looks exactly like a giant mushroom cloud. Back down below, the landscape is totally wiped out. The elf screams out as the fiery shockwave rushes straight towards her. Once the dust clears, she just collapses to her knees, staring blankly at the pure devastation. She just whispers, "This cannot be real." She stares at the massive, terrifying crater he made with just one punch. She looks up at Keto, who is standing casually at the crater edge. Absolutely terrified, she bows her head low, begging him to please spare her people. But Keto just looks down calmly. "I am not your enemy, elf," he says. She looks back up completely and utterly stunned by those words. Can you believe this? Turns out this whole epic battle was just a massive misunderstanding. A really bad one. She bows her head in deep shame, apologizing for judging the guy so fast. She explains they panicked, thinking he was an invader when he actually just returned a lost elf kid. Now she feels awful, but Keto gets it. Past humans made them super paranoid. Still, he is kinda bummed they attacked before letting him explain. Cautiously, she asks one more question just to be sure. "Alright, you and I are about to watch this misunderstanding vanish." He swears he has never seen an elf. He hails from the White Wasteland where 0 elves exist. Her eyes go huge. Catal completely owns it. They call him the Ashen Barbarian. She is absolutely floored, convinced a normal human surviving there was flat out impossible. She panics slightly. Did others survive too? Is there a whole army of Keetles roaming around out there? Tal crosses his arms with a smirk. Highly doubt it. He explains the wasteland has deadly rules that even massive overpowered serpents absolutely cannot break. But thanks to a crazy hidden quest, our boy literally bypassed the system. A super rare one-time glitch, basically. Hearing that, the elf finally lets out a massive sigh of relief. Then Ketal sweats, asking if her summoned creature is okay. He suddenly remembers he literally punched that bull in half. "No sweat," she smiles. "It was a spirit." Getting forcefully unsummoned just fast travels it safely back home. Feeling majorly in his debt, she offers him literally any favor. Immediately, Ketal's barbarian ears perk right up. A spirit. He instantly asks if a non-elf can forge a contract too. Instantly, her happy face totally drops. Probably impossible, she admits. Only humans with a deeply rooted connection to nature can pull that off. So for a brute like him, 0 chance. She trails off, but suddenly a light bulb goes off. "Now pay attention here." She tells him to seek out Alosagrad. Ketal repeats it. It's the sacred elven holy land where their actual god lives. If it can happen, it's there. Kettle gets hyped, but realistically, would they even let a human walk into a sacred elven territory? Normally, absolutely not. But with her personal recommendation, he will get a free pass. He promises to share the hidden coordinates. Alosagrad is literally the ultimate holy grail for any elf scholar. Guiding a human to a place more precious than their own lives is insanely risky. No normal elf would dare. She genuinely wants to trust him. Handing over a glowing red crystal, she tells him to keep it safe. He gladly takes the gem, sealing their brand new alliance. She warns that the elven god might still throw a crazy test his way, but she totally believes he will crush it. Wishing him luck, Ketal nods his thanks. Finally, she drops her name. Marcelia Huzian Kusia. Yep, he just casually befriended the actual queen of the elves. Flashing a cocky grin, he introduces himself. Ketal the Barbarian. Then boom, he shatters the earth with a single stomp. Launching into the sky like an absolute rocket, he leaves a blazing trail of blue energy. His glowing, he blasts right through the forest canopy. He is literally moving too fast to track. Trees become a blur. From above, he looks like a freaking comet tearing up the landscape with one massive continuous shockwave. Meanwhile, over at the Varkan territory border, a massive earthquake suddenly shakes the entire fortress. The guards are completely losing their minds. They have 0 clue what's coming, just that it's fast. Something huge drops out of the sky, dragging a tail of smoke right toward their heads. Boom, he nails a flawless superhero landing, kicking up a giant dust cloud. The guards absolutely paralyzed with fear. I know what you're thinking. After that wild entrance, he just casually waves and says, "Nice to meet you." The guards are totally stunned. They're all thinking, wait, that insane explosion was just this one guy. One guard squints hard. Ashen gray hair, massive scar across his chest. The gears in his brain turn and then panic hits him like a literal truck. Hold up. Is this the legendary Ashen Barbarian? Our boy takes one tiny step forward and instantly, the guards yank out their swords, fighting for their lives. Kettle just throws his hands up. Whoa, easy, chill out, I'm friendly, but the lead guard isn't buying that for a second. He demands to know what this monster wants. The barbarian simply points past all their shaking blades right at the castle wall. He says he just wants to visit their territory. The guards just stare completely baffled. Is he serious? Cut to an interrogation room. The guard nervously asks, so you literally just want to pass through, right? I'd like to stay a bit, he shrugs, dropping the name Katal. The guard asks for identification. Katal's legendary response, don't have any. Obviously he doesn't. But then a flashback hits. He remembers Maina tossing him that super fancy crest. Back to reality, he slaps it onto the table. Will this work? The guard is absolutely stunned. Katal explains it belongs to House Akasha. A massive deal. The guard recognizes the name immediately. A powerful, crazy, rich merchant family from another kingdom. He is still super skeptical. It looks totally legit, but verifying foreign identification is a massive headache. So what do you and I take from this? There's always a catch. Now Keatle has to completely prove he isn't a threat. Stick with me, we are about to watch a crazy test. Form a party with 3 randoms and clear a dungeon. Katal thinks this sounds ridiculously easy. Sure, why not, he says, flashing a huge smile. But wait, here is the catch. After clearing it, he has to report everything that happened. Katal figures it out instantly. A sneaky trick to make all the rookies spy on each other. Totally smart. The guard is actually flustered that he caught on so incredibly fast. Are you actually a barbarian? Katal proudly nods. I am. The guard is completely speechless. He honestly thought barbarians were just brainless brutes. He rushes the paperwork after that. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, we meet our next incredible champion, Alejandro Tyrannus, a quote-unquote paladin, bringing a literal rat that steals from people's pockets. This is so tragic, he groans. A thief named Kassan Hark overhears and instantly starts roasting him. You trying to pick a fight, old man? Mad because a thief scammed you, Tyrannus completely loses his mind, calling him a dirty bastard. Kassan just laughs, pointing at his trash-tier armor. Is he even a real paladin? He straight up calls Tyrannus a bottom feeder just like himself. Oh, the paladin is seeing red. But the breaking point, Kassan mocking his actual name. That is it. The sword gets drawn. Kassan grins entirely ready to throw down. Out comes a dagger, dripping with lethal poison. You think that tin can armor will save you, he mocks. Their weapons clash, but someone suddenly steps in to break the whole thing up. A nun. Could you please stop? Enter Hayes, the cleric. She is already questioning how she will survive a dungeon with these 2 absolute clowns. They still need 1 final party member, and she is honestly terrified of who might walk through that door. Now watch closely because their final party member is about to crash this whole setup. A towering shadow of a man steps inside, purple eyes glowing. Talk about an epic entrance. The entire room completely freezes. Everyone just stares, mind blown by the sheer size of this absolute unit. And then Katal shatters the tension with a huge, goofy smile. Hey there. Are you guys my new party? They are sweating bullets. Tyrannus thinks he is massive, while Hayes questions if he is even human. Kassan feels the insane pressure. The guard immediately dips out, leaving this mess to bond. Completely clueless, Katal happily kicks off the intros. Hi, I am Katal, a barbarian. He stares at Kassan, who sweats buckets, while stammering out he is a thief. Next is our tin can buddy puffing his chest out. I am a paladin. Alejandro Tyrannus. Katal instantly latches onto that. Oh, a paladin, so you use holy magic. Tyrannus starts sweating profusely. Well, normally yes, but I am a very special paladin, so no magic for me. The nun steps forward, looking extremely nervous. I am Hayes, a cleric of Kalasha. Katal goes dead serious. A cleric. And people still question your identity. Flustered, she quickly explains. Well, my god is the god of lies and deceit, so he is not exactly popular. Kettle just nods. I see, you and I are thinking the same thing. A powerless paladin and a lying cleric, absolute disaster of a team. Thankfully, the returning guard breaks the awkwardness. Everyone ready, let us move. They exchange nervous glances, and absolutely nobody is happy about this. Hayes and Kassan look totally miserable. They are seriously wondering what terrible karma brought them here. After a short trek, their hooded guide stops. We arrived. Katal looks up, genuinely surprised by the sight in front of him, a deep forest clearing, staring straight into a pitch-black cave. Yep, this is the exact dungeon they need to clear today. Let us start the raid. What is the plan? Katal asks Kassan. The dude violently flinches, stammering and nervously calling the huge barbarian sir. Katal just bursts out laughing. He tells the thief to drop the formal stuff. They are a full team now. Completely embarrassed, Kassan tries playing it cool and lays out the strategy. The plan, classic RPG 101 basics. Warriors on the front lines. Thief checks for sneaky traps. The cleric heals from the back. Pretty solid setup, right? Katal is 100% on board, but Kassan looks like he already regrets his entire life choices. Their quote-unquote master plan locked in, Catal takes the front line and gets ready to charge. They slowly enter the freezing cave. Hayes is already spooked, whispering about the creepy darkness. Meanwhile, Kasan feels his danger senses absolutely screaming. Zero traps, way too suspicious. And bam, he spots movement. He throws his hand up, stopping Catal and warning him about monsters dead ahead. Catal glances down. Shattered bone fragments are scattered everywhere. Yep, a massive skeleton party, and they are rising up to attack. Kasan instantly realizes the terrifying truth. This was never a simple test. It was a deadly ambush designed to eliminate them. Keatle just looks super curious. Skeletons, you say? Kasan panics, explaining skeletons are no joke. They are basically zombies. They just keep coming even if you slice off their arms. Trust me, you are going to want to see this. With their insane defense buffs, this dungeon's difficulty just skyrocketed. So Kasan snaps right into leader mode, screaming at the cleric to get her healing buffs ready. He tells the tank to brace up, warning Catal to prepare for battle. Catal just nods, totally believing Kasan is some kind of brilliant tactical genius. Let us dive right in. Catal casually steps up to the front, and that single stride, it changes absolutely everything. The undead monster starts waking up. Catal just watches in pure amazement as it clatters to life. Meanwhile, his teammates are completely panicking, scrambling to get their weapons ready. The bony warrior charges, swinging a massive sword straight at him. But Catal, he literally just slaps it away. Boom, one casual punch absolutely shatters the entire thing. Oops, the terrifying monster is suddenly just a glittering pile of dust. The party, their jaws hit the floor. Pure, absolute shock. Catal just smirks like it is nothing, and mutters, wow, popping the head off actually works. Well duh, Kasan looks completely dead inside. That was absolutely not the plan. Because what Catal just pulled off, it should be physically impossible. These dungeon skeletons are pumped full of mana. Their bones are incredibly solid. Normally, you have to hack at their necks like a crazed lumberjack. One-shotting them, unheard of. Kasan is completely paralyzed. He knew Catal was tough, but this is a whole different level of overpowered. Now, the entire squad is shaking, wondering if this monster is actually human. Meanwhile, our guy just cracks his knuckles, grinning wildly. Time to keep this party moving. The others immediately snap straight to attention, frantically scrambling behind him. He casually tells them not to rush, but his terrified teammates salute and scream, yes sir. Yeah, their inner monologue is super simple. They just really do not want to die today. A bit later, Catal suddenly freezes in his tracks, looking super confused. His foot just bumped into something strange. The whole squad freezes up, staring down at a terrifying skull right on the floor. And yep, another undead monster clatters to life. The team watches in absolute horror. Round 2 is officially starting. But Catal just turns around and calmly asks for a quick favor. Right in the middle of a dungeon ambush, he wants to solo this thing. Apparently, our boy wants to test out a theory. They instantly agree. Smart move, guys. Catal thanks them, his eyes glowing intense purple. Pay close attention here because this is where it gets absolutely wild. He strolls up to the skeleton while the party watches safely, totally clueless about his plan. He gets right in its face, studying it like a weird science project. He is genuinely fascinated by its bone structure. The skeleton, not a fan. It immediately swings at him, but Catal stops the strike mid-air. With 2 fingers, he snaps the blade in half and stares at the monster, basically asking, what now? A broken sword will not stop an undead. It lunges forward for another brutal swing. Instead of dodging, Catal just snatches its wrist out of thin air. He flashes a brilliant smile and whispers, then how about this? Man, he is enjoying this way too much. Crunch, he completely shatters its bony hand right off. He just watches completely fascinated. The poor skeleton stares down at its missing hand, totally confused. You can practically see the question marks above its skull. But confusion turns to rage, and it furiously swings the sword with its other arm. It even does this fancy weapon toss, catching the hilt perfectly to keep the fight going. That is some serious skill for a pile of bones. Catal is honestly impressed. Oh, so you can switch hands. It charges forward, but its attack gets completely shut down. Catal casually catches the second wrist. With zero effort, he snaps the other hand right off, sending the skeleton staggering backwards. But hold on, the monster is not done. It lunges again, using its broken arm as a blade. Catal is amazed it can weaponize itself. I know what you are thinking, this is brutal. And yeah, the party completely agrees. They look ready to hurl. They can only stand there silently shaking in fear. Our main character is a total barbarian. With one final terrifying crack, he violently puts the poor skeletal warrior right back in its place. The skull drops to the floor and suddenly it starts rolling around. Amazed it can still move, he mutters, how amusing. Then crunch, he violently stomps on it. Then his whole vibe instantly flips from psycho killer to friendly neighbor, calmly apologizing for the delay. Kasan, basically about to wet his pants, frantically shouts that it is totally fine. Thanks, Catal, casually replies. He turns around. Alright then, time to move. The party nervously nods along as if they even have a choice here. Soon after, the squad halts below a massive staircase. They finally reach the second floor. Great, more annoying stairs. The mood is super tense, and everyone looks totally exhausted from walking. Kasan nervously suggests a break, and Katal agrees. We will leave it there. Trust me, you want to see what comes next. Alright, stick with me. You and I are jumping right back in as Katal casually breaks the awkward silence. He bluntly admits he knows nothing about this world. Oh, this is gonna be gold. Flustered but sweet, Hayes tells him wanting to learn is totally a virtue. She asks what's on his mind and boom, Katal drops an insanely logical bombshell. Why on earth is a deadly dungeon chilling right next to a busy town? Hayes quickly defends it. Monsters usually stay put. Any rogue beasts get swatted fast. Kasan chimes in saying dungeons are just nature doing its thing. Whether it's a creepy cave or a massive tower of doom, they spawn naturally. But get this, Kasan adds, they magically appear near huge populations. How incredibly convenient for everyone. Hayes nods, explaining that when a new one pops up, the local lord just hires mercenaries like them to sweep the trash. So they never spawn inside the walls, just at a very specific walkable distance. Alexandros nods. Yeah, major red flags flying here. Instantly, Katal's eyes practically sparkle. He hits them with the million-dollar question. Do you get paid for clearing these places? Hayes smiles, confirming that crushing the final boss in a zone this big means some absolutely massive loot drops. A wicked knowing grin spreads across his face. He realizes instantly it is exactly like his game. Hayes catches that mumble, but he smoothly waves it off as talking to himself, totally pivoting the conversation. Now, pay attention, you and I need to watch this part. He asks everyone who actually builds these dungeons. Hayes stammers, they're just natural disasters. Keatle isn't buying that garbage for 1 second. Too many weird rules going on. Spawning perfectly outside towns, dangling literal treasure chests to tempt people inside. He points out that nature doesn't design perfectly balanced game loops. It feels completely deliberate. And right then you can literally see his logic hit poor Hayes like a freight train. Wide-eyed and shaken, she admits she never once questioned the basic rules of her reality. Welcome to the Matrix, Hayes. Meanwhile, Kasan is having a total meltdown. He thought barbarians were just brainless meatheads, but this guy is dropping straight philosophical fire. Flashing back to how ruthlessly brutal Keatle is, Kasan seriously starts doubting if this monster is actually a barbarian. No kidding, buddy. His panic gets completely derailed when Katal suddenly smiles and asks if everyone is rested up. Talk about whiplash. Snapped out of their deep existential crisis, the terrified party instantly nods. They just want to get the heck out of this creepy room. Pushing deeper into the dark ruins, Katal abruptly freezes. His eyes lock onto something huge ahead, a massive glowing treasure chest. Kasan nervously explains it's a classic dungeon reward. All yours if you can actually pick the lock. I know exactly what you and I are thinking. There is zero chance they open this without a high-level pro. But Katal casually turns to him. Kasan, care to unlock it? Oh boy. Kasan stands there utterly paralyzed while Katal drops basic math. It's a locked chest and you're the designated rogue. Solid logic, Keatle is practically beaming, saying, opening these things is literally your job, right? Kasan immediately starts sweating bullets of pure panic. His brain is screaming. If he actually had the god-tier skills to crack that thing, he wouldn't be a broke loser grinding in this trash-tier dungeon. Full-blown meltdown mode. He can't confess he's useless. Especially not when this towering barbarian is staring him down with those sparkly, expectant puppy dog eyes. His imagination instantly jumps to the absolute worst ending. Tal's smile dropping into a dead stare, calling him worthless and just popping his head like a grape. Flashing the most awkward, sweaty smile ever, Kasan nervously laughs and agrees to try, literally sobbing internally. He kneels down as Kettle leans in close, watching like an excited kid. Talk about insane pressure. Kasan is absolutely convinced his life ends in this room if that lock doesn't click. Sweating buckets, he desperately visualizes the lock-picking tricks he watched real pros use back when he was just a glorified bag boy. Hands violently trembling, he jams his tools inside. The awful sound of scraping metal echoes loudly through the dead silence. With Katal's massive shadow looming and practically leaking dark energy, Kasan knows he's doomed. One shot to keep his head attached. It's the ultimate do-or-die moment for Kasan the rogue. He's mentally preparing for death when suddenly click. The latch pops. Katal leans in. But wait, why is the rogue vibrating? Oh man, Kasan is straight up ugly crying rivers. Choking on his own tears, he sobs out that it's open. Hayes the cleric is absolutely stunned. She gasps, saying only master thieves could crack that. Even Katal cracks a genuine smile, murmuring, is that so? Very impressive work, Kasan. The rogue himself is flabbergasted. He always thought he tried his hardest, but now he's wondering, was I just slacking off my entire life? It's a full-blown existential crisis right here. Katal ignores the drama, asking the loot's exact value. Hayes estimates a literal fortune, and trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. Got it, Keatle says, smirking. Kasan, you're on loot duty. The rogue instantly snaps to attention. Yes, sir. Stick with me here. You and I are watching him yank out an insanely sparkly goblet. He has never held this much treasure before. Suddenly, Kittle just goes, "Hey, Kasan." The rogue absolutely screams in pure terror, leaving our main character completely confused. You need help, Kittle asks. But the rogue just shakes his head like crazy. Are you hurt? Kasan totally panics, yelling that he did not do anything. Yeah, the rest of the team is just standing there, completely lost and confused. After that awkward moment, the squad heads deeper into the dark cave. Suddenly, Kasan freezes and yells, "Wait, stop!" Skeleton's Kittle calmly checks out the threat. Just 4 of them. I will take care of 3. The whole squad flinches. Did he seriously just say that? You guys take the last one, Kittle orders, looking super hyped. Kasan grips his loot bag tight. This is an actual battle now. Alessandro just gives a serious nod. Understood. But the exact second our main character takes a step forward, the massive pile of scattered bones starts vibrating. With a ton of creepy rattling sounds, the skeletons literally assemble themselves. Kasan watches this completely terrified. Honestly, watching bones snap back together is pure nightmare fuel. The 4 skeletons stand up, eyes blazing with creepy blue light, and unleash a silent scream. Kittle immediately gives the call. Everyone let the battle begin. Kasan moves first, sprinting at the enemies with his blade flashing. The skeleton is totally caught off guard, but before Kasan can land a hit, Kittle suddenly steps in. Watch this part closely. Our overpowered barbarian is literally crushing 3 of the skeletons in a massive bear hug. Do not interfere, I am handling you 3. The 4th skeleton swings its sword straight down, but Alessandro is ready, blocking the huge strike with a massive shield slam. Kasan instantly flies back into action. He jumps right over the monster daggers, ready to slice. Meanwhile, the eyes of Hayes glow bright as she quickly casts her Shadow of Confusion spell. Alessandro sees the opening and swings his glowing sword in a brutal overhead strike. Monster crashes down, but wait a second. They totally missed its core. The skeleton simply reattaches its broken bones and charges right back in. Kittle is just watching with a huge grin. He thinks it is super impressive, seeing a real party use their core skills right in front of him. Super rare, he mutters right before crushing the 3 trapped skeletons into absolute dust with his bare hands. Boom. Well, then he smiles as the bones completely dissolve. Now that his path is clear, he just watches the show. You and I know exactly what the party is thinking right now. This overpowered barbarian is absolutely using this to test their combat skills. They're looking so angry now. The poor skeleton literally blinks in pure confusion, knowing it is dead meat. The eyes of Hayes burn with pure rage. Show weakness, and we die. Totally hyped up, Alessandro charges straight ahead with a brutal battle cry, completely overwhelming the last enemy. A massive flurry of red slashes fills the screen as the entire squad goes absolutely wild. Finally, the skull drops to the floor. The battle ends, and the whole team just collapses, heavily panting from absolute total exhaustion. Kittle just stares at his tired party, looking really deep in thought. Those other adventurers he met back at the snowfield were actually pretty strong after all. His squad barely managed to defeat a single skeleton. Anyway, off they go, marching down to the next dungeon floor. They face more monsters, but with Kittle leading the charge, it is a total walk in the park until they finally reach the bottom floor. At the back of this massive hall, a dark armored figure is sitting dead, silent on a stone throne. It is an epic skeleton knight. The horrible realization hits Hayes like a speeding truck, and she immediately starts shaking with fear. But Kittle just calmly turns to his team. Is this bone guy different from the ones we just fought? Hayes gives a dark reply. Yes, he is incredibly strong. It is an expert with a sword and shield, a true knight-level threat. Basically, they have 0 chance of winning this fight. Hayes is completely terrified, knowing they cannot possibly beat this absolute monster. So Kittle casually asks, what happens if we just decide to retreat? He explains that if they run, they need official territory confirmation. As long as it is deemed a reasonable retreat, they are completely off the hook. A tiny, wicked smirk creeps onto his face as he stares at his completely tense teammates. That is very reasonable, he laughs, totally agreeing with them. Meanwhile, the Dark Knight just sits there on the throne, radiating some seriously terrifying killing intent. Alright, you and I are finally face to face with the dungeon's final boss. This knight is literally glowing with a sick purple aura. It stands up totally ready to destroy our boy Kittle. But the barbarian just smirks, a skeleton keeping its own solid form. Fascinating. Our guy is way too amused by this. But the Death Knight really does not care. It raises its giant sword, fully preparing to turn him into pure paste. Before anyone even blinks, the knight jumps high and boom, it unleashes a devastating wave of dark energy. Hayes desperately throws up a golden barrier. She tries her hardest, but the power is just way too much, and the shield shatters. But Alessandro slides to the rescue, slamming his giant shield down to protect everyone. Let's dive straight into the chaos. You and I are watching this party get absolutely wrecked. Tal blinks. Just for a second. Even Alessandro, their heavy tank, is totally stunned by that monstrous hit. Treating them like literal bugs, the knight charges in for the kill. But this time Katal is wide awake. No more playing around. He counters with one single earth-shattering punch, sending a massive shockwave ripping right through the dungeon. The skeleton knight flies backward and boom, completely deleted from reality. His teammates frozen, jaws hitting the floor. Their brains have officially stopped working entirely. Katal just brushes the dirt off. Was that it? After that absolute demolition job, they stumble onto the real prize, a massive glowing treasure chest. Katal asks Kazan to pick the lock and the guy instantly starts panicking. Not a chance. This lock is way above his current pay grade. While Kazan cries about leaving the loot, Katal just winds up and smash. He literally punches the chest wide open. The party is totally speechless again. Katal just smirks, says this is way faster, and tells a paralyzed Kazan to grab the loot. You saw that too, right? Why even ask the poor guy if you're just gonna smash it anyway? Dungeon cleared. They step out of the cave into a bright forest and poof, the entrance crumbles right behind them. Kazan explains that a perfect clear makes the whole place vanish, meaning 0 secret rooms left behind. Hearing the words secret room just makes Katal smile like an absolute maniac. He really just wants more stuff to hit. Back at the gate, the guard is absolutely stunned. They're back so fast. He fully expected them to be dead. Nervous, he asks how the run went. Katal flashes a huge thumbs up. Super satisfying. The guard starts the entry checks, interviewing everyone one by one. He pulls Hayes aside. Should this barbarian actually be let in? He hesitates, then nods. The guard's real job is catching threats, but surprisingly, Kazan and Alessandro both cover for Katal. They swear that despite his absolutely terrifying power, he kept the party completely safe. Not your average barbarian then. During Katal's interview, he literally just praises his team, calling them super reliable and awesome. The guard is baffled. Randomly assembled parties basically never end on terms this good. Convinced, the guard finally lets them inside, but gives Katal a strict warning to behave. Then he hands over their clear reward. A massive heavy bag of gold. Normally guards seize this stuff, but not today. Katal happily grabs the cash, declaring an even 4-way split for everyone. The trio instantly panics and refuses. They did 0 work, but Katal stubbornly insists on sharing the wealth. Money sorted, he cheerfully drags them all out for some celebratory drinks. We've all faked a smile, right? But the second he walks away, they literally cry, begging to escape this terrifying guy. Watching this mess unfold, the guard starts putting the pieces together. A barbarian, one-shotting a skeleton knight, that is monstrous strength. We are talking elite knight tier, or honestly way beyond. This guy wasn't normal. He's like a myth walking around. A total anomaly in this world. Realizing this is way above his pay grade, the guard decides he needs to report this straight to his lord. Cut to later that night. A powerful figure sits in a massive estate writing by candlelight. A sudden knock. A deep voice calls them in. Inside this fancy hall, our gate guard nervously approaches the throne. Clicking his heels together, he bows respectfully to the man in charge. My lord. Luke Barkin, ruler of this territory, glances up from his desk. What is it? He looks completely unbothered. The captain stands rigid and drops the news immediately. A barbarian just showed up in their domain. Barkin's voice echoes. And you let him in. The captain is sweating bullets now, frantically trying to explain. I thought he was safe, but Lord Barkin looks ready to execute someone, absolutely not buying this excuse. Then, what is the issue? He snaps. The captain finally breaks. He is too strong. Overthrow the entire kingdom strong. Now Barkin leans forward, fully invested. Just how strong the answer is completely insane. This random guy deleted a skeleton knight in 1 punch. Poof. Barkin is absolutely speechless. Because a skeleton knight, huge deal. You usually need an elite squad of pros just to leave a single scratch, but Barkin just scoffs. A barbarian. Trust me, you and I are gonna love what happens next. Alright, stick with me here. This lord thinks barbarians are just mindless muscle, so he roasts his captain. Is this brute really a top-tier warrior? The captain basically stammers, yeah, probably. He admits the guy might even be a tier above that. Sweat is literally pouring down his face now, because having an unknown, wildly overpowered warrior casually roaming your territory, absolute political nightmare. A massive red flag for any ruler. Barkin just rips the band-aid off. Bring him to me. The poor captain almost has a heart attack. Are you entirely sure, boss? But honestly, the lord has a point. Leaving a literal walking nuke unchecked is a terrible idea. He needs to size this beast up personally. The captain warns him of the risk, but Barkin just smirks, pointing right behind his throne. Do not worry, I have backup. Barkin turns his head to his silent shadow knight. So, what do you think? Clenching his fist, the knight practically drips with pure arrogance. Just a barbarian, he scoffs. Some ignorant brute who got lucky. He then casually flexes that he was personally trained by the absolute greatest sword masters. So obviously this barbarian is just a bug waiting to be squashed. Barkin smiles. That is all he needed to hear. The final order is set. Bring me the barbarian. I will handle this. Meanwhile, our ignorant brute Catal, he is currently obliterating an all-you-can-eat tavern buffet. His new party members just stare. Pure, silent, traumatized horror. Literal meme material faces. Catal, totally oblivious to the vibe, slams his mug down. This food is incredible. My treat, guys. Dig in. They force out the most pained, awkward laughter imaginable. Catal then casually puts Alessandre on the spot. So you are a holy knight. Where was all that holy power back in the dungeon then? Ouch. Sweating bullets again, Alessandre explains he is still training. His holy power is not awake yet. Catal just bluntly calls it a total shame. Zero social awareness. Next target, Hayes. You worship Kalosia, right? Any temples around this place? Hayes awkwardly explains her goddess rules over lies and deceit. So yeah, not exactly a lot of public fan clubs or massive churches. Now watch closely because she pivots to the million-dollar question. Just how ridiculously strong are you anyway? The other two snap to attention. Catal just stares right back at chicken bone literally hanging from his mouth, entirely clueless. He just shrugs. I do not know. I just got here. Then he flips it on them. How strong is a skeleton knight anyway? This guy has zero frame of reference. Hayes gives him the breakdown. A standard second-tier warrior can barely survive one. A first-tier warrior could probably win like you did. Catal just blinks. Huh. So you guys consider that second tier? Suddenly, a violently trembling voice interrupts. Excuse me, the terrified tavern owner stammers that they are officially closing up shop. He clearly just wants this walking monster out. Our boy cheerfully agrees to bounce and asks if they want to hang out later. Oh, you sweet, simple powerhouse. In perfect, synchronized terror, his three companions basically scream that they are busy for the next 10 whole years. Catal just gives a super friendly wave. See you next time. You and I both know what they are thinking. Please let us never cross paths again. Finally, free of his terrified new friends, Catal finds an inn and collapses on the bed. Pure luxury for him. He feels insanely lucky his dungeon loot could actually afford this. After surviving in freezing snow, this lumpy mattress is basically a 5-star resort. Staring at the ceiling, he ponders his future. He is completely out of the wilderness now. He just wants to actually live and experience this world. His bucket list, total classic adventurer stuff. See the Elf Kingdom, visit the giant magic tower, check out the capital. You know, tourist spots. He drifts off, dreaming about all of it. But the next morning, loud, frantic banging on his door wakes him bright and early. Stumbling out of bed, he swings the heavy door open. And guess who? It is our absolute favorite sweaty guard captain from the castle. Shirtless and looking like a literal walking mountain of muscle, Catal just grunts. But the poor guard captain practically jumps straight out of his armor. Taking a massive, shaky breath, he delivers the message. The Lord wants to see you. Well, this should be incredibly interesting. The absolute big boss of the territory wants a little chat with our boy. Naturally, he flashes a massive grin and accepts instantly. Deep down, he is just a huge fanboy in a brute body. He is basically like, cool, let me just grab my shirt. Meanwhile, the terrified guard is sweating buckets, convinced this is some trap. Why did he agree so fast? They start walking through the bustling fantasy town, and Catal is just happily soaking in the vibe. Only saw everything at night before, but these daytime graphics are honestly pretty impressive. He hits the extremely flustered guard with a cheesy grin and a massive thumbs up. He is thinking, if this is a lucky fantasy, sign me up. That poor guard looks like he just wants to dissolve into dust. Just survive the rest of the shift. Is trying his absolute hardest to avoid all eye contact with this barbarian. Finally, they reach the massive doors. I have brought the barbarian, my lord. The massive doors swing open. Trust me, you want to see what comes next. Alright, you and I are about to jump into this wild manhwa. Kittle struts down a massive red carpet like absolute royalty, and the ruler introduces himself as Lord Luke Barkin. But watch this. Kittle actually takes his hand, gives a polite bow, and introduces himself normally. Lord Barkin's brain completely stalls out. A barbarian showing respect, absolutely impossible. Barbarians refuse to bow. It shows weakness. He wanted a wild beast, not a gentleman. Still, Barkin forces himself to play it cool. Guess you picked up some manners somewhere. He then waves for Kittle to take a seat. Kittle scans the insanely decorated room, totally geeking out over the medieval castle vibes. But then his eyes lock onto one specific thing. Oh boy. A knight stands there in shining armor, and our guy's inner fanboy is absolutely screaming right now. He is completely mesmerized by a real fantasy knight. But staring hits way differently when you are a barbarian. The knight's eyes go wide. He is absolutely certain. That intense stare means pure bloodlust. He cannot believe this savage is flashing killing intent right in front of his lord. If he only knew the truth, the knight is practically boiling. Convinced this guy wants blood, his hand instantly drifts right toward the hilt of his sword. Before things explode, Lord Barkin interrupts, mentioning he has a couple questions. Meanwhile, Kittle just casually sips his tea. Sure thing. What do you want to know? The Lord drops the heavy question first. Where exactly are you from? Kittle smirks slightly, giving a super cryptic reply. I come from the freezing lands, a world buried in white. Now watch their reaction, because you and I know this is huge. He means the legendary white snowfield. It is totally confirmed. Barkin realizes he is facing the legendary barbarian. He stammers that it is unbelievable, but Kittle just sits there, chilling, basically shrugs. Believe it or do not, your choice, man. Barkin shifts gears. Fine, let me ask you this. Exactly how strong are you? What he actually means is, are you going to ruin my life? But Kittle says that is the wrong question entirely. He has literally zero clue how power scaling works in this new world. The Lord and Knight share a look. Oh, you can see the scheme forming. Barkin suggests a friendly little test of strength. Spar with the Knight, win a prize. Kittle's ears basically perk up at the offer. The Lord quickly panics and adds, just not to the death. Right, let us keep it clean. Kittle grins. Sounds awesome. Barkin seems stunned he agreed so easily, but our guy is just hyped. Fighting a real knight using aura, this beats any video game he has ever played in his life. Lord Barkin tightens his grip, smirking. A barbarian is still a barbarian. All they want is a bloody brawl. I know what you are thinking. The main character is totally misunderstood. Anyway, cut to the massive battle arena. Lord Barkin observes safely from his VIP box. Down below, Kittle and the Knight stare each other down. The Knight looks dead serious, while Kittle looks like a happy kid opening presents. The Lord finally waves his hand. Let the match begin, and please, nobody dies today. The bell echoes. The Knight draws his blade proudly, declaring it an absolute honor to witness Kittle's swordsmanship. Kittle casually agrees. I would prefer that too. Oh snap, the Knight is officially triggered now. He fumes, thinking I will teach this arrogant punk a lesson. Time to demonstrate the massive gap between us. He completely powers up, exploding with a blinding green aura. Then he taunts the barbarian. What will you do? With one massive swing, his sword unleashes 3 colossal energy blades right at Kittle. Our guy looks up totally baffled. Wait, why are there 3 of them? Is it a fake out? Oh, absolutely not. Kittle has a minor freak out, realizing all 3 of those glowing green swords are completely real and deadly. Is this magic stuff, what they call swordsmanship? Kittle thinks to himself. The Knight gets arrogant, mocking him. Are you only capable of dodging cute? He admits the speed is nice, but he is bored. Time to finish this. But right before the final strike boom, Kittle lifts his hand, flicks a single finger, and shatters the blade instantly. The Knight's brain literally blue screens. Wait, what just happened? Did this guy really just break my sword? Moving like a blur, Kittle closes in, grabs the Knight directly by his chest plate and crumples the solid metal. And with one absolute massive throw, he launches the fully armored Knight across the hall like an empty tin can. Safe on his throne, Lord Luke Barkin is completely paralyzed. Jaw dropped. Down below, his Knight is out cold inside a massive crater. It literally took one single hit. Barkin is losing his mind over what he just witnessed. What is this absurd power? Down in the dust, Kittle just smiles casually and asks, so are we done fighting here? Lord Barkin desperately needs a second to reboot his brain before he manages to squeak out, yes, he is panicking. One-shotting a first-class knight, that is not just impressive, that is completely superhuman tier. So what do you and I take away from this? A barbarian with stats like that will break the whole world. Time to call his swordmaster friend for some serious backup. Stick with me here. Barkan is just wondering if our guy showed up and if the news is actually interesting. Right on cue, a mysterious voice echoes through the room. Did you say interesting? The window flies open. Standing there, an old dude in a green robe, making a wildly dramatic entrance. Arsan shoots him total side-eye about his weird hobbies, then just chuckles nervously, trying to play it cool. Everyone needs a hobby, right? Time for a major name drop. Meet Swordmaster Kane. He wants the tea on this situation. Lord Barkin instantly jumps up and bows. Yeah, Kane is a huge deal. Scene cut. Now we see the beat-down knight recovering in bed, feeling incredibly sorry for himself. The door creaks open. Lord Barkan walks right in to check on his massive walking L. Knight jolts awake, panicking and apologizing on repeat for his total failure. But Kane's sharp voice cuts him off. Apologize to me, plot twist, Kane is his master. He then points out something wild. The knight's armor is totally trashed, but the guy himself, not a single scratch. Meaning that Barbarian wasn't just some mindless brute. He controlled his crazy power with perfect precision just to spare him. That kind of skill makes him superhuman, way above any normal knight. Hearing this insane theory, both Barsan and the knight look like they just saw a ghost. How does he compare to Kane? The swordmaster just scoffs. I am a master. Brute strength cannot touch me. But Barkin drops a weird detail. Kettle had insane power but zero aura, not a single trace. He confirms his theory. He thinks Katal came from the infamous White Snowfield. This gets Kane thinking hard. He knows the legends about people from there, or maybe they aren't even human at all. Could he be some crazy heteromorph hiding in plain sight? But Kane shuts that down fast. A real monster would have turned that night into red mist without blinking an eye. Here is the massive question you and I need answered. Why would this guy suddenly show up here? Kane brushes it off, completely muttering something super cryptic about the Emperor and his strange requests. He tells Barkin not to sweat it. Classic, this is way above your pay grade kind of energy. The Swordmaster changes the subject. Is this huge barbarian still in town? Barkin confirms he is. Looking fully determined, Kane decides he needs to check this mystery man out himself. Meanwhile, totally oblivious, Catal is outside casually chatting with a guard. The guard asks the million-dollar question. What is next, big guy? He has his cash reward and Barkan's promise of total freedom in the territory. Now Kettle is thinking an official identification would be a really smart move. The guard gives him two choices. He could find a fancy noble sponsor to vouch for him, or he could just become a mercenary, grind enough achievements and the guild officially recognizes you. But there is a catch. Low-rank mercs are basically just overgrown errand boys. For an absolute beast, like Keatle, getting a sponsor is obviously the smart play. But did he listen? Nope. His eyes instantly light up. Taking quests and smashing monsters, he is completely sold. With this huge goofy grin, he demands to know exactly where to sign up. The poor guard is totally caught off balance, stammering about a nearby guild hall. Guide me, Catal says, hitting him with that full-power, sparkly anime smile. The guard instantly melts. I know what you are thinking. Epic adventure, right? Nope. The harsh reality of being a merc is no grand fantasy. They are the literal bottom of society. Even elite fighters die in random dungeons or get used for a noble's dirty work, which perfectly explains why the bottom tier of the guild is crude, super filthy, and incredibly loud. Welcome to the guild hall, folks. A massive bar brawl is already popping off while the other guys just sit back and place bets. Up at the reception desk, a pink-haired girl asks her coworker how the fresh recruits are looking today. Rosa, the blonde receptionist, sighs hopelessly. They are literally all weirdos. The current lineup: a disgraced Holy Knight, one ridiculously shady thief, and a nun worshipping a very questionable god. Her friend pouts. Rosa groans that normal people never join, and the current guys only know how to break furniture. She literally starts daydreaming about a handsome prince riding a white horse to rescue her. Girl, you are 100% in the wrong story. Right on cue, the big wooden door creaks open. Rosa looks up and bam! A gigantic shadow is looming right over her desk. Not exactly Prince Charming, right? It is Keatle smiling as he admires the total chaos. So this is the guild hall. The crazy brawl stops dead. The entire room drops into dead silence. Everyone is just staring, jaws practically hitting the floor. Totally oblivious to the panic, Keatle slams his hands on the desk. And trust me, you and I are gonna love what happens next. Alright, let's jump in. Rosa is absolutely terrified, stammering as she asks why he wants to join. He explains it is just to get official status. Rosa confirms it, but warns him it will take a ton of grinding to get there. Registration costs 5 silver coins. He gives his name but flat out admits he has no clue how old he is. Rosa just shrugs and types a random age. Boom, registration complete. She hands over his shiny new mercenary badge. Catal grabs it, and without missing a single beat, demands to be enlisted. He is eager to start working immediately, asking for quests. She shows him the list of jobs he can actually take as a total newbie. Kettle stares at the paper completely and utterly confused. Wait, is this all there is? These F-rank quests are literally just everyday household chores. Herb gathering, basement cleaning, sewer duty. Definitely not slaying dragons. Rosa starts sweating bullets, getting super nervous. Now watch closely. Barbarians are super proud, right? Is he gonna flip out? But before she can even explain ranking up, Catal just points at the list. I will take this one. Rosa stares completely baffled. He is pointing right at Herb gathering, the most basic fetch quest ever. She asks if he is totally sure. He just crosses his massive arms. Isn't this something that needs to be done? No problem at all. Then he casually asks where to find these herbs. Rosa explains they are outside the village, handing over a cute little drawing of the plant. Got it, I will be back shortly, he says, flashing a confident smile. As he walks away, Rosa is left absolutely stunned. What the heck, he is way too chill. Meanwhile, her pink-haired friend rushes right over and literally has to shake her back to reality. Out in the forest, Keatle spots the flowers and compares them to his little doodle. Yep, looks perfectly right. He wonders if they are for treating wounds since they look pretty strange. Well then, he says, I have my sun protection gear and I am ready to begin. What an absolute dork. About an hour later, he is back. Thump. He drops an absolutely enormous sack of herbs onto the desk, making Rosa jump. Will this be enough? He asks cheerfully. Rosa wonders if he just bulldozed the whole field. But when she peeks inside, absolute shock. They are all in perfect condition. She mentions most mercenaries just rip them out. Kettle smirks. Despite my appearance, I am quite confident in my delicate touch. She hands over his reward for all that manual labor, 1 single silver coin. barely enough to buy the absolute cheapest meal in town. The low-rank grind is real. But as Katal stares at his tiny earnings, he feels genuine pride. It is the first money he has ever earned through honest work. And honestly, he is pretty touched. Oh, the wholesome feels. He tells Rosa he is very satisfied and asks for another quest right away, leaving her totally baffled. I know what you are thinking. Why does this massive, intimidating barbarian look so incredibly happy picking flowers? Rosa, the poor receptionist, is just completely overwhelmed. Her only thought, man, this new mercenary is such a weirdo. So after flower picking, basement scrubbing, and a lovely sewer stroll, our boy Katal is on an absolute roll. He points right to his next F-rank quest, warehouse cleaning. Rosa is just about ready to have a full meltdown. After the herbs, this is his third straight cleaning gig. She stares at this mountain of a man smiling like he won the lottery, and a thought hits her. Wait just a minute. Does he actually enjoy cleaning? Flapping on the most strained customer service smile in history, she nervously stamps his form. You do you, big guy. A few moments later, Katal arrives at the warehouse, fully ready to get his hands dirty. Or well, clean. He finds the owner waiting, a simple woman in a white hood, definitely expecting a scrawny kid wanting pocket change. Instead, she gets Katal, who beams and loudly announces, I have come to clean the warehouse. The poor woman's soul almost leaves her body. Her face says it all. Pure, unfiltered horror. He asks if she is the owner, and she barely stammers out a weak yes. All her brain sees is a terrifying barbarian. But plot twist, he is actually the absolute best mover she has ever hired. Lifting massive heavy crates is literally zero problem for this guy. Easy peasy. Next up on his chore list, street sweeping. He admits controlling his insane superhuman strength was pretty tricky at first, but he finally mastered it. Little does he know, he has a stalker. From a high-window swordmaster, Kane is watching through binoculars, completely dumbfounded. Kane is officially losing his mind. This guy Katal has enough raw power to topple a whole kingdom. Any nation would welcome him with open arms. And what is he doing with that godlike power, sweeping garbage? And he is not even slacking off, he is taking it 100% seriously. Kane is absolutely speechless. Meanwhile, Katal wipes his brow, totally basking in the glory of a hard day of work. Pure satisfaction. Then he wakes up to a brand new day. He is sore but feeling amazing. And that is where we leave it. Trust me, you are going to want to see what is in that pouch next. Let us jump into this hilarious manhwa. He remembers Rosa handing over his pay. Good work on day 1, Mr. Kettle. Here is your reward for finishing 15 whole requests. His eyes completely bug out. A fat pouch of 15 silver coins. This is literally the most cash he has ever seen. The guy is just glowing with pure joy. Thanks. I will be back tomorrow, he says with a massive goofy grin. Man, that memory alone makes him smile. Time to kick off day 2. In modern civilization, he thinks to himself. The next morning, Kettle takes a lovely stroll through town. Totally blind to the completely terrified faces of the villagers, he struts with that fresh payday confidence. But then he instantly grinds to a dead stop. He looks up eyes wide with pure curiosity. Wait, is that a library? The tiny doorbell jingles as he steps inside. The librarian turns to greet her new guest. And immediately drops a blood-curdling scream. Why? Because a terrifying 7-foot barbarian is politely asking to read some books. A little while later, the screaming finally stops. Kettle just sits there peacefully, totally engrossed in a novel. The poor librarian just stares from her desk, completely frozen. Her brain is straight up malfunctioning at this sight. Meanwhile, outside, our favorite stalker, Kane, is back on the clock. And he is just as dumbfounded. The savage monster is actually reading. He genuinely starts wondering, are Snowfield barbarians actually super cultured intellectuals? Or is this specific guy just a gigantic weirdo? Inside, Kettle finishes a history book and perfectly summarizes the epic war. So the Empire took the win. He remembers his buddy Mylena traveling to the exact kingdom fighting that empire. Well, guess he knows how that little trip ended for her. The text confirms the Empire is basically an unstoppable superpower now. They totally turned the Barcan kingdom into their own puppet state. They already swallowed half the human world and keep pushing outward. Talk about a seriously aggressive foreign policy. Kettle just sits there for a second, casually pondering the concept of total world domination. But enough of that boring human politics. He moves to the good stuff. The actual book on non-human fantasy races. He is absolutely hyped to discover the truth. All those legendary fantasy creatures, 100% real in this world. The pages show off insane locations. Like a massive dwarven cave just overflowing with rare minerals and shiny loot, there is a fairy village, a floating celestial city, and the ultimate hidden spot. The super-secret elven sanctuary, Eloa Grata. Apparently this holy land is so well hidden that nobody ever actually finds it. Kettle just drops a smirk. Well then I guess I must have earned the extraordinary right to visit the Elves' Sanctuary. Watch closely, things are about to get weird. He turns the page and his smile vanishes. Are there more places like home? He found the chapter on demon realms. Forbidden zones packed with twisted monsters, and there are 5 major ones total. The book lists them. The Forest of Silence, the Fiery Abyss, the Deep Sea, and something known as the Deep Hole. Sounds like fun vacation spots, right? And guess what? The 5th one is the White Snowfield. Yep, his own home sweet home. The book explains that these terrifying monster realms cannot actually expand out into the human world. Kettle is absolutely mind-blown. He sits there thinking just how insanely huge is this world. The snowfield back home was gigantic, and there are 4 more places exactly like it. You and I know he is totally harmless, but the poor librarian nearly has a heart attack as he stacks his books. He drops a warm smile on his way out. Thanks, that was super helpful. With one final, terrifyingly polite grin, he leaves. The tiny bell jingles as the door shuts behind him. He marches right back to the mercenary guild and cheerfully asks a very startled Rosa if she has any fresh quests. His face just completely lights up with pure, unadulterated joy as she hands over a new paper. This man just loves to grind. Meanwhile, old Swordmaster Kane is still creeping in the shadows. Even he has to admit this barbarian guy is incredibly weird. 2 full days of spying, and he has witnessed enough pure weirdness to last a lifetime. Time to confront this guy face to face. Strolling through the dark town later, Kettle feels amazing about his hard work today. He happily checks out his heavy coin pouch. Hey, even the tiny little quests are stacking up into some pretty decent loot. Keep up this crazy pace, and he will be a top-tier mercenary in no time. But meanwhile, deep in a dark alleyway, a mysterious figure steps out from the shadows, completely blocking the road. Kettle just stops turning around with a perfectly confused expression. Well, look who finally showed up. It is the old guy from before Swordmaster Kane, looking incredibly grim under that dark hood. But Kettle is totally chill. He just casually asks, "You have been stalking me all day long, have you not?" Kane is dead silent. The master of stealth just got called out by this barbarian. Talk about awkward. Kettle crosses his arms, simply asking what he wants. Meanwhile, Kane is internally screaming. Wait, you actually noticed me. He literally erased his presence using aura. Sensing him should be impossible. And trust me, you are going to love the hilarious misunderstanding Kettle jumps to next. Stick with me here. This misunderstanding is hilarious. He cracks his knuckles, asking, "Are you a bandit?" Kane's face, pure, unadulterated confusion. Hearing zero response, Kettle takes that silence as a massive yes. Yes, even nice towns have muggers. Kane tries denying it, but pauses. Honestly, would this meathead even believe he is a legendary swordmaster? Kettle just stares with pure pity. Doing stick-ups at your big age? Seriously, the economy must be brutal right now. Savage burn. Suddenly genius strikes our boy. Capturing a thug means easy resume points. Kane just blinks, totally lost. How did this happen? But then a light bulb goes off. If Kettle genuinely thinks he is a thief, why not test the kid's actual power? The second he decides, Kettle literally vanishes. Just poof. Thin air. Kane whips around, absolutely stunned. Where did he go? Bam! Kettle spawns right behind him, purple eyes glowing as he reaches for the old guy. Sensing the grab, Kane blasts out a wave of green energy, deflecting it. Kettle pauses, flashing a massive wild grin. Pretty quick for an old dude. Kane touches down a few feet away, his brain practically short-circuiting. He is entirely speechless. Absolute madness. He almost got grabbed. Worse, Kettle closed that distance using raw physical stats. 0 aura detected. Nothing. Meanwhile, Kettle is just standing there smiling, not breaking a sweat. Now pay attention, this is where it gets crazy. Kane grits his teeth, ready to go all out. Instantly, Kettle disappears again. This boy's speed is completely broken. Before Kane's brain can process it, Kettle grabs him. The master is completely dumbfounded. Senses maxed out, and he still reacted too late. The grip, absolute iron. It feels like his arm is trapped inside a mountain, getting violently dragged forward. Struggling hard, Kane instantly realizes raw power is useless here. The strength difference is completely laughable. Only one option left. Time to stop holding back and unleash everything. Kettle catches a weird glow on Kane's hand before a massive, blinding wave of pure energy detonates. The shockwave blasts outward, shoving the swordmaster backward. He hits the dirt, gasping fist, still sparking with power. Kettle doesn't even flinch. Man, muggers have crazy tricks these days. Kane is beyond triggered. Stop calling me a damn bandit. He is absolutely fuming. He literally just dropped an elite mana technique, and this tank calls it a cheap trick. Kettle's goofy, impressed grin just leaves Kane totally mute. Kane's brain cannot compute. That blast rips through solid steel, yet Kettle doesn't have a single scratch. He stares at the kid's ridiculous build, mind blown that bare skin just tanked his ultimate. Kettle steps up. Alright, playtime is over. Hearing that, Kane finally goes for his blade, but before he can even grip the hilt boop, Kettle's index finger pins it down flawlessly. You saw that too, right? The swordmaster's eyes nearly bulge out in pure shock. He pushes with every ounce of his strength but cannot move that one finger. Staring up, he meets Kettle's eyes blazing with that freaky purple aura. A single tragic tear rolls right down Kane's face. He literally thinks, yep, I am dead. One brutal chop later, and it is lights out. Fantasy world bandits are wild, he mutters. Next thing you know, he hits the guard station. Barbarian, what are you doing? The guard stutters. Our guy just casually drags the legendary Kane like a sack of potatoes. The guard is violently struggling to process this visual. Did a random brute just pack up a superhuman? I caught a thief, Catal declares. He genuinely asks if turning this loot in counts for his quest. The guard's brain crashes. System failure. Logic wiped. He realizes the legendary Swordmaster Kane is being hauled around like dirty laundry. The terrified guy barely squeaks out a response. That is no thief. Catal's flawless detective logic kicks in. Oh, you know him. Guess he is your partner in crime then. Sweating bullets, the guard stands straight and bows to the unconscious body. Greetings, Swordmaster Kane. You can physically see the single rusty gear turning inside Catal's head. He looks at the old guy. A common mugger named Swordmaster. Yeah, he is not buying that crap. Obviously a fake name. He tried to rob my silver coins. The guard is basically crying now. No, he is a legend. While the guard panics, Ketel reaches his galaxy brain conclusion. Trust me, you'll love what's next. Let's dive right into the comedy gold. Is Swordmaster just a cool thief nickname? The guard just stares totally lost. After a crazy awkward pause, the guard decides this nonsense is way above his pay grade. Time to tell the Lord. But to Lord Barkin, absolutely losing his mind. Wait, Lord Kane lost. Cue the most awkward apology session ever. It is just an endless loop of my bad and nope, totally my fault. The two of them sit there in absolute silence. Just pure cringe. Watching from the doorway, Barkin struggles to process this. Sure, he expected a tough fight, but seeing a Swordmaster get absolutely bodied, insane. The reality here is honestly terrifying. This barbarian completely overpowered a Swordmaster. Kane might be a rookie, but the title is no joke. Beating him makes Ketel an unpredictable monster. This massive headache makes Barkin bail. Clearly a huge misunderstanding. I will let you two chat privately, he declares, shutting the doors. Bam, right back to that painful silence. The second-hand embarrassment is off the charts. Kane nervously sips his tea, pride totally wiped from the server. Trying to scrap his ego together, he makes a formal intro. I am Kane, the Swordmaster. And Ketel, our genius, literally asks if Swordmaster is his surname. Kane explains that being OP means dropping the last name. Ketel nods, then asks about that weird energy blast. Is that some kind of special skill? You mean this little trick? Kane asks, casually sparking green hand energy. Now watch closely because the dynamic flips. Ketel's eyes light up, realizing this is not some cheap parlor trick after all, so Kane drops the lore heavily. It is aura manifested from a base energy called Mystic. The light bulb finally clicks, so that green blast was aura. Now he is hyped like a kid. How do I learn that? Kane explains. Mystic is raw power. Swordsmen create aura, mages create mana. Ketel flashes a super sly little grin. Wait, anyone can learn Mystic. Can you teach me? Kane is left completely speechless. Leaning in, Ketel smiles. Please teach me. Kane agrees, but he is baffled. Why ask me for help? You are way stronger than me. Ketel just admits he literally knows nothing but swinging wildly. Boom, just like that, Kane gets his fighting spirit right back. Teaching this barbarian could restore his totally shattered honor. He puffs up his chest. The Swordmaster needs his blade. Without it, I am half a man. Ketel nods deadpan. Makes sense. You seemed super weak, because you dropped your sword. And boom, Kane's soul leaves his mortal body again. Knife twisted. If you used your sword, maybe you would win. Ketel smiles completely and totally clueless. Meanwhile, Kane is crying internally. His poor self-esteem is getting absolutely ground into fine dust. With his super fragile ego barely taped together, Swordmaster Kane starts the big lesson. He explains the massive gap between basic sword swinging and his elite fantasy style powered entirely by aura. You and I both know this is a massive flex, making illusions literal reality, a seriously bold claim, quizzes the barbarian. When you fought my disciple earlier, what did you see? Ketel instantly remembers the sword splitting into 3 real strikes. Oh, so that is materialization, he realizes. He even guesses it focuses on pure finesse, not brute force. Kane confirms it, grinding his teeth. Puffing his chest out again, Kane claims combining swords with aura is the only true master path. Time for a demonstration. He channels energy and bam, his sword flares bright green. Got to admit, the visual is epic. Ketel's eyes bulge with pure hype. That is, aura. Totally flustered, Kane stammers back. Yep, he still cannot believe he is teaching a barbarian. Visual learning is definitely better here. I will just show you myself, he declares, dropping into stance. Absolute focus. This is his comeback moment. He unleashes a totally devastating downward slash. Whoosh. A massive green wave screams across the hall, ripping the floor apart. Ketel just watches unblinking. The crazy strike splits into 5 parts, completely demolishing the floorboards. Kane brags that many create aura illusions, but only his unique swordsmanship forces them to take real physical form. He looks incredibly proud. And trust me, you are not ready for Kettle's absolutely devastating reply. Ketal casually says he can do it too. Kane just sputters, calling it absolute nonsense. You and I know Kane is internally screaming about his entire lifetime of hardcore grinding. Ketal interrupts the old man's crisis. I will just show you. He hefts a massive battle axe, leaving Kane completely and utterly bewildered. What is even happening? Kane asks. But Ketal just plants his feet and swings that giant axe so incredibly fast, creating a blur of solid afterimages. Kane is completely stunned. A perfect sword strike. Then the horrible truth hits him. Ketal just used raw, pure, brute strength. Boom, Ketal slams the axe down. A massive shockwave violently tears a burning trench through the hall. Kane stands there, his face completely frozen in shock. Smoke gently curls off the giant axe. With a super confident smirk, Ketal asks, "What do you think?" Oh, he knows exactly what he did. Kane is just barely processing it. It looked like a real illusion, but it was just insane speed and raw power. Almost fooled him. Kane calls it a simple swing. But Ketal fires back. If the result is exactly the same in battle, does the actual technique even matter? Kane is left completely speechless. Watch closely now. Ketal is right, and the devastating blow to his pride is massive. Refusing defeat, Kane screams. Then how about this? A flash of green energy erupts, creating multiple solid clones of himself. Now Ketal is genuinely shocked. He stares like the guy's body actually just split apart. Totally new territory. Kane and his clones strike perfectly, as one violently gouging a massive smoking crater into the floor. Kane proudly brags. This technique is achieved through the absolute ultimate control of aura. Can you replicate this? He challenges. Ketal stays totally silent. He just plants his feet and heavily hefts that giant axe once again. He spins faster and faster, becoming an absolute literal vortex of raw, pure, destructive power. Not looking good for Kane. The violent spinning whips up an insane tornado, literally ripping massive stones right from the walls. Pure, absolute chaos. When the dust finally settles, Ketal stands completely calm inside the utter devastation. What do you think? This is the official final straw for our poor swordmaster. Kane just completely collapses, shaking and wailing that his entire life's work is meaningless. Utterly broken. The swordmaster is a sobbing wreck. You and I are probably laughing, but honestly, it is actually tragic. Ketal looks down. Your mental fortitude is weaker than I expected. Then going full therapist mode, he drops a completely unexpected compliment. Your swordsmanship is amazing, Ketal admits. I just swung my heavy axe really quickly. That is just brute force, not real swordsmanship. But your technique, it was not just a fake afterimage. It was entirely real. I can never reach that level of mystery. Honestly, that tiny validation is all Kane desperately needs. His broken spirit instantly restores. He is right. My unique swordsmanship still holds very great value. Materializing illusions is a special technique only he can perform, he declares. His huge ego is officially back online. Fire returning to his eyes, he thinks. This is not a technique flaw. That barbarian is just completely insane. He reasons no normal human can move fast enough to make solid afterimages without aura. And to be completely fair, that is very true. Since the old man recovered, Ketal asks, "Can you teach me true sword techniques?" Kane quickly collects himself. My apologies. I just got a little bit emotional for a brief second. Pride mostly restored, Swordmaster Kane finally starts the real lesson. He explains that controlling aura means you first must awaken to the actual concept of mystery. It is basically the absolute secret sauce of this world. No wizard or swordsman hits top tier without it, unless you are a cleric using direct god powers. Ketal asks if divine power is actually different. Kane agrees. A cleric's powers come directly from the gods, not from their own personal base stats. Ketal is actually absorbing all this massive lore dump with some serious, genuine interest. Mystery is innate inner power, Kane continues. Controlling it determines literally everything about your skills, whether you wield aura, mana, or you summon spirits. Awakening this hidden inner power is the very first and most crucial step toward absolute greatness. He reveals there are exactly 5 stages to fully mastering mystery. The most basic level is simply called sensing mystery. Ketal wonders if literally anyone can just do it, but Kane immediately shuts that crazy idea down fast. No talent, you feel nothing. Sorry. Kane notes that those who barely sense it are labeled as third-rate. Talk about a totally harsh system. You and I will soon see where Ketal lands among these 5 worldly ranks, based entirely on his mystery control. The actual ranks scale from third-rate up to second, first, then finally, superhuman. Stick with me here, we finally hit the legendary hero class. Notice that spark in Kedel's eyes. He is definitely remembering something from his past. But Kane just waves it off, explaining that ranks are basically just guidelines telling our boy Kedel to stop sweating the small stuff today. The boring lecture ends, and Kedel nods, claiming he understands. Kane declares it is time for the practical lesson. Staring intensely, he is ready to guide Cadell through stage 1, totally sensing a hidden mystery. Time to see what happens next. Boom, class is officially in session. Kane orders Cadell to dig deep and awaken a totally brand new physical sense. The instructions are super basic. Feel the wind. Feel the earth. Basically go hug nature. Cadell focuses with everything he has, but then just pops his eyes wide open. Yeah, I literally feel absolutely nothing. Kane is absolutely speechless. He really assumed a tank with maxed out physical stats would sense this instantly. He mutters how crazy strong guys usually master this stuff way faster. But Cadell sadly is the total opposite of normal. Cadell admits nobody from his freezing snowy homeland ever felt this magical energy before. Alright, time to switch up to plan B. Kane decides to jumpstart the process, planning to inject his own energy into Cadell. Our boy's eyes just totally light up. You are transferring aura. Kane just gives a casual, something like that. Looking completely starstruck, Cadell totally agrees. Our guy has only ever seen this in fantasy novels. Kane presses a hand onto his back, telling him to relax and feel the mana flow. The exact second they touch Zap, Kane gets a massive shock. What kind of insane body is this? It literally feels like touching solid steel. He is seriously wondering if this guy is even human right now. Cadell suddenly snaps him back, making Kane awkwardly apologize for completely zoning out. Now, watch closely. Kane gets serious, pouring his aura straight in to awaken Cadell's dormant power. Bright green energy surges into our boy. Kane feels incredibly confident this crazy plan will actually work. But wait, something is totally off. Kane freezes, looking absolutely baffled. He literally cannot find the pathway. He cannot even penetrate deep enough to start looking. It is completely unreachable. From his perspective, it is literally like trying to find a Wi-Fi signal inside a black hole, just a massive empty abyss. He finally backs down, realizing this method is an absolute dead end. Kane pulls his hand away and Cadell starts freaking out. What do you mean it failed? Do I have zero talent? Kane frantically tries explaining. It has nothing to do with talent. Cadell must find the path alone to awaken it. Cadell understands, but the guy is seriously stressed. So you mean I cannot sense mystical energy at all? Kane totally struggles to find a decent answer. He could not even check his potential because Cadell's body is just built entirely different. Basically, Cadell's body is so ridiculously dense, it acts like an iron shield, completely blocking aura from entering. Kane admits he has never seen anything like this. Raw, physical stats, literally nerfing magic. That is definitely new. Cadell slumps over. So zero mystical powers for me. Kane honestly admits he does not know. He suggests our guy go bother different swordmasters or maybe bug the crazy wizards at the magic tower. Kane apologizes again, but Cadell just shrugs it off, smiling that it is fine and hope still exists. He flashes a massive grin, genuinely thanking his teacher for trying. Seriously, what an absolute good dude. Kane watches him leave, remembering every other barbarian he ever met. Usually violent, bloodthirsty monsters. But Cadell is totally different. I know what you and I are thinking, take the deal. Kane offers loyalty, noble titles, and a high-ranking position, pitching the whole 9 yards. But Cadell's answer is incredibly blunt. I refuse. I have zero intention of belonging to anyone's faction. Kane is secretly scheming that if he wins this overpowered barbarian's loyalty, they might actually break free from the Empire. He shoots his shot one last time, dangling that shiny noble status right in front of him. Cadell just grins, completely unfazed by the temptation. I will do things my own way, he says. Kane looks shocked initially before a look of pure understanding hits his face. He finally gets it. Our boy drops one last sincere thank you, promising he will never forget this favor. Watching Cadell leave, Kane realizes trying to chain him down was completely ridiculous. Nobody can ever control this absolute beast. He is a true lone wolf, moving entirely on his own terms. That makes this enigma potentially way more dangerous than any wild barbarian out there. Letting out a heavy sigh, Kane surveys his castle. His mind drifts to the crazy emperor obsessed with some suicidal demon realm expedition. Moments later, Lord Barkin sits reading at his desk, completely aware of these insane plans. Kane reports soldiers are basically dying for nothing, guessing the emperor just wants to cosplay as that legendary ancient ruler. But Kane aggressively brushes it aside, deciding that headache is a problem for tomorrow. Continues the grim update. The Empire has not even conquered all human lands yet, making this expedition pure foolishness. Barkin completely understands. It is only a matter of time before the Emperor's greedy eyes lock onto their land. And that is where we leave it. Since they are technically Empire territory, that royal summons could drop any second. Leaning back, Kane just sighs. He complains about the world and that half-crazy Emperor causing massive problems. Suddenly, Barkin's entire mood changes. He leans in, dead serious, asking Kane about a specific rumor, which Kane totally confirms. One by one, the demons are starting to make some very noticeable moves. Dungeons popping up everywhere. Whispers say the demon realm is leaking. Stick with me here because you and I both know this is about to get messy. Then Kane just stops. Honestly, if you think about it, isn't it super weird that the barbarian is here too? Barkin totally agrees. Great point. Kane keeps pushing for a straight answer, but the Lord can only say he has zero clue. He explains that at the absolute minimum, our boy Catal has not attacked them yet. But past that one fact, he is a total mystery. Meanwhile, our mysterious guy is just out taking a very casual stroll. He starts noticing something feels super off. Yep. Everywhere he walks, the massive crowds are literally parting like the Red Sea. People are snatching their kids just to escape his path. And what is our hero's absolutely brilliant conclusion here? He thinks it is just his clothes. Missing the point completely, he is convinced his beast hide vest is just not fancy enough. Time for a massive wardrobe upgrade. He finally wanders right into a super fancy-looking tailor shop. What could possibly go wrong? Well, the tailor turns around and practically suffers a heart attack. A giant literal barbarian is standing inside his high-end store. Through genuine tears, the poor guy cries that nothing will fit Catal's size. Obviously right, but seeing Catal looking disappointed, the tailor absolutely panics. He quickly offers to make a custom outfit. Boom, Catal's mood does a complete 180. Thrilled, he tells the guy to get to work. The tailor agrees, but his brain is running a highlight reel of how this giant might destroy him if he messes up. Heading over to the guild hall, something super shiny on the ground suddenly catches his eye. Look at that, a shimmering blue orb. Watch closely because we are about to start a totally epic side quest. He takes a closer look, completely mesmerized by the swirling patterns. This little thing actually looks pretty important. Figuring he will ask the guild later, he casually pockets the mystery item. Arriving there, he immediately shows the orb to Rosa. He asks if she has any idea what it does. Dropping it right in her hand, he explains he literally found it on the street. Rosa checks it out. Clearly handcrafted and valuable, but no maker mark. Then her eyes just start glazing over completely. Suddenly snap, Kettle completely breaks the weird spell. For one solid second, she is just staring into space. Total blank out. Leaning in, Catal asks if she is okay. He mentions it looked like her brain was getting sucked right into that shiny orb. Rosa remembers absolutely nothing, but she can definitely feel some very strange energy radiating from it. She offers to get it appraised, but our guy just laughs. He says figuring it out is half the fun, and asks for his daily quests. Handing him the usual F-rank chores like cleaning and harvesting, Keatle reacts like he literally just won the grand prize lottery. After another glorious day of hard labor, Catal chills in his room feeling absolutely satisfied. He pulls out that strange little orb again. He cannot stop thinking about the weird effect it had on poor Rosa earlier. Suddenly a faint voice whispers right out of the orb. "Come to me." It keeps repeating, beaming directions straight into his brain. He assumes it is basic domination magic. Meanwhile, the glowing orb keeps pulsing with that super creepy invitation. We both know he is walking right into a trap right. Following the mental directions, he reaches a dark cave and happily announces his arrival. "Where is the guy who called me?" A sinister voice echoes back, claiming another sacrifice has entered. It calls him dumb but a decent offering. Boom, the source of that voice is a terrifying skeletal mage with cold blue flames burning deep inside its empty eye sockets. He is chilling on a throne right inside a massive glowing ritual circle. His big resurrection is finally happening. So who is this bony guy? Centuries ago, he was an ultra-evil sorcerer playing puppet master from the shadows. He caused every single war. An absolute menace to society. Naturally, the heroes figured it out and hunted him down. But right before they won, he pulled the oldest, dirtiest trick in the magical book. He tossed his body and shoved his soul straight into a vessel, turning into a lich. Now the guy is basically totally immortal. As long as his tiny soul jar is safe, he cannot die. To get a body back, he set up shop right near this remote town. He scattered those shiny orbs around to lure in easy sacrifices for the ritual. Think of them as magical batteries for his ultimate grand plan. You know, classic world domination stuff. Everything was going flawlessly right until a massive wrench got thrown straight into his evil little plan. Why is a massive barbarian here? He picked this remote spot specifically just to avoid fighting crazy strong guys like this one. A barbarian showing up ruins everything. We will leave it here, trust me, you definitely want to see this next fight. Let's dive into this comedy gold. The bad guy sees our massive hero and thinks perfect sacrifice. His fancy orb only hypnotizes those without magic. Naturally, he assumes our boy Kettle is just some magicless, helpless nobody, just dumb meat for the grinder. So he fires off that spooky mental invite. "Come right in, big guy. Be the final piece for my grand evil comeback." Kettle casually strolls up to this massive, intimidating wooden door deep inside the cave. He shoves it open, steps inside, and immediately spots his target. Standing right there, the man of the hour. A skeletal mage rocking fancy robes and glowing blue eyes. Kettle is literally fanboying. He whispers a real living lich. He is completely geeking out. He thinks, wow, the ultimate fantasy final boss. So epic. Now the lich is the one looking totally confused. What exactly are you? He demands, realizing his mind control completely failed. Kettle just checks out the bone piles. Ah, so this is how you lure people here. The Lich still senses zero magic from him. He is dead certain Kettle is an ordinary barbarian. His only guess, some ultra-rare artifact blocking the mind control. Kettle just gives him this blank stare. I do not have anything like that. Our boy is completely honest. The Lich is over it. Staff glowing, he snaps. Think you can fool me. Now pay attention, because here is where it gets hilarious. He decides to crush Kettle by raising his undead minions. Attack my bony boys. The newly armed skeleton squad charges straight at him. Kettle is totally unfazed. He smirks. An evil Lich hiding in a dungeon, I definitely get the picture. He casually backhands a skeleton and it instantly shatters into dust. The Lich is left completely speechless. Kettle shakes his head. You are way more shallow than I expected. Oh boy, that triggered the Lich's fury. Keep talking big when I chop your limbs off. He sends the whole skeleton squad this time. Cut him down. Kettle scoffs, cracking his knuckles. Bam! One punch turns a skeleton to dust. Then a massive kick follows. Crunch. Another one literally bites the dust. You jerk, the Lich seethes. Okay, playtime is officially over. His staff glows blindingly bright, unleashing his ultimate trump card. Rise Kettle's eyes instantly widen. A massive, fully armored skeleton knight drops in with a huge sword. And Kettle, he gets super hyped again. A Lich knight might be different. Kill him, the Lich screams. The huge knight charges like a freight train. Kettle just grins, cracking his knuckles once more. He is hyped for a genuine real fight. The knight swings its glowing sword, but Kettle just watches. A Lich summoning this knight is pretty unusual. He winds up and bam, a single punch completely shatters the heavy knight's skull. I know what you're thinking. Boss fight, nope. One punch drops the warrior into pure rubble. The Lich's bony jaw practically hits the floor, witnessing this casual display of absolute annihilation. Dust settles, and Kettle casually stomps the knight's twitching hand into powder, for good measure. Total overkill, my guy. Looking totally bored, he glances over his massive shoulder. Is that really all you got? The Lich frantically scans our boy, trying to figure out his deal. Who is this guy? The magical scan hits empty. Zero magic. Zero mana. Not a single hidden artifact. The crazy results make zero sense. Did this crazy barbarian really just one-shot a top-tier undead with bare fists? Is that even physically possible here? Realizing this guy is way too unique to kill normally, the Lich decides to get his own skeletal hands dirty. Consider it an honor, he says, floating down with the absolute maximum drama of a final boss. Suddenly, Kettle yells and stumbles backward, completely swallowed up by dense black fog. The Lich's creepy voice echoes around. Fear me, barbarian. Pay for invading my sanctuary. But Kettle just looks completely confused. I only came because your orb called me. Did you not scatter it? Yep, classic bait. The boss basically sent a magical spam email, and Kettle clicked the shady link. The Lich totally loses it. Silence. I am the great mage who destroyed 5 kingdoms. Cardo Bernulus Kessis Kettle suddenly recalls the elf queen. He seriously starts wondering if having a ridiculously long name is just the current trend in this fantasy world. Done chatting, Cardo unleashes a massive dark magic vortex. Become the foundation of my resurrection. The spell totally swallows Kettle. His eyes glaze over, swirling like he is hypnotized. Cardo gloats, flexing his special ultimate magic. It breaks minds with negativity. So do we think our boy survives this trap? Stick with me, we are about to watch the funniest villain meltdown ever. He thinks this barbarian is completely doomed, but something feels off. Realizing this dude is built different, Cardos decides to capture him for live research. He sends his bone squad forward. Another skeleton warrior drags itself out of the dirt, raising its sword, and shuffles straight toward our zoned-out barbarian. But right as it swings, Ketal's eyes flash pure purple. Bam! One spinning kick, and the skeleton's entire ribcage instantly vaporizes into dust. Talk about a rude awakening. He casually turns to face the Lich, looking absolutely unbothered. Kardos's jaw literally drops to the floor, and since he's a skeleton, that's not a joke. The Lich is absolutely stunned. How is this even possible? That mind control spell was flawless. Meanwhile, Ketal just stares back completely unimpressed. Are you just gonna stand there staring? Your magic isn't working, buddy. Ignoring the insult, the Lich burns through his remaining mana, chanting some seriously dramatic death magic. He drops his ultimate attack, a massive sphere of pure darkness that looks ready to swallow the room whole. And Ketal's reaction to this apocalyptic spell, his eyes are sparkling. Dude looks like a kid opening presents on Christmas morning. Cardos cackles. Victory is mine, but then he immediately coughs up a lung and collapses. He burned all his mana, but his confidence is peaking. There is absolutely no way a mere barbarian survived an explosion of that scale. Now watch this. He expects a smoking crater, but instead he freezes in absolute terror. Ketal is standing right there without a single scratch. Pretty flashy. But is that all you got? Kartos is officially having a complete meltdown. He just dropped his ultimate nuke, a spell that could shatter a legendary hero's mind, and it did absolutely nothing. He screams, asking what Katal actually is, but our boy is just deep in thought. That looked cool, but I felt nothing. The Lich is paralyzed. Katal hefts his axe with a terrifying grin. My turn. But right before he turns this guy into bone powder, the Lich has a sudden epiphany. A creepy, knowing smile spreads across his bony face. He thinks so, that is the truth. The Lich is 100% convinced Katal knows his true identity. He thinks you tracked me because you know my past. Meanwhile, Katal is just standing there scratching his head. What is this bag of bones even babbling about? Then Kartos erupts into a massive cliched villain laugh. Oh, Empire, are you really that terrified of me? I admit you were clever to find me this fast. His ego is completely off the charts right now. He screams, but I will rise again. I will destroy your precious world once more. He heard rumors about a top-secret Empire project, a lab where they basically grow freakishly strong super soldiers. And he is absolutely certain Kettle is one of them. A custom weapon forged just to kill him. A royal assassin. Sure thing, buddy. That is totally it. But he refuses to go down easily. He loudly announces his ridiculously long villain name. I am Kartos Brainulus Kesses. I will kill you and end the Empire. Katal just stares, thinking, is this dude insane? Yes, Kettle, he is finally done monologuing. Suddenly the Lich summons a glowing, ghostly urn. This is his phylactery, his literal soul jar. He snatches it out of the air, ready to drop his absolute final trump card. Boom! A massive beam of dark magic erupts from the jar and slams straight into Kettle's chest. His eyes roll completely white. I know what you're thinking. Is this actually working? The Lich's desperate plan is to shove his own soul into Kettle's body and possess him. It is a one-way ticket, though. Once he is inside, he is trapped in that flesh unless he turns into a Lich all over again. But hey, zero other options left. He pushes in, declaring this glorious body is now mine. But the second he steps inside Kettle's mind, massive mistake. He looks around in pure horror. What on earth is this place? Is this seriously a barbarian subconscious? Just staring at this mental hellscape is shattering his undead spirit. He feels it immediately. Something is deeply, deeply wrong here. He starts doubting the Empire ever created this monster. As his very soul gets shredded apart, he panics. No, the Empire could never do this. Nothing human could create something this horrifying. It completely breaks his mind. And with one final confused gasp, the legendary Lich Kartos gets completely deleted. Poof. Erased. Back in reality, Katal is just scratching his head. What the heck was that? He felt a tiny tickle and then nothing. The Lich's empty bones just clatter to the cold floor. You would think he'd be happy, but Katal is honestly just disappointed. He thought that shiny beam was cool and wanted to learn it. He casually kicks the bones, thinking these Liches are insanely weak. You and I just saw the funniest self-destruct ever. Dude has zero clue what happened, but hey, a win is a win. Dungeon cleared, time for the loot. He grabs the Lich's staff, remembering how bright it glowed when the bony guy cast his magic. Stick with me here because things get wild. The light bulb clicks. Maybe this glowing stick finally means magic time. So into the inventory it goes. Or his pocket. Then he spots something else, the urn. He grabs the heavy urn, totally calling it as a life vessel. Time to bring this bad boy to Rosa for a quick appraisal. With his shiny new loot packed up, he looks around. But suddenly his gamer senses start tingling hard. He spots a weird pattern on the stone wall. A secret room. He pauses, then does exactly what any true RPG player would do. He hits the button and boom. The wall grinds open, revealing a dark, hidden chamber. Absolutely classic. Stepping inside, he finds a whole room of people standing completely frozen, like creepy mannequins. But his first thought, not about them. It is literally, wow, secret rooms actually exist. His second thought, okay, who are these weirdos? He waves a hand in front of a guy. Hello, anybody home? He tries it on the next person, casually asking if anyone is actually still breathing in there. Crickets. Nothing. So now our guy is just standing there, completely clueless about what to do with these human statues. His genius master plan, just walk away. Honestly, it is totally solid logic for once. He will report this mess to the guild and let somebody else handle it. Not his problem today. And just like that, Kettle casually strolls back into the mercenary guild holding his loot. Rosa hits him with a friendly smile, definitely a little surprised to see him return so fast. Kettle just grins back, tells her he had a few errands. Just a totally casual afternoon of deleting an ancient evil from existence. Rosa is super confused. So he explains the orb and the mastermind behind it all. She just laughs, telling him to stop joking about such insanely serious stuff. I mean, think about it. A legendary Lich, one of only 5 in the entire world, just chilling in their tiny town. Now watch this closely. To prove he is completely serious, Kettle slams that giant purple Lich urn directly onto her desk. That shuts her down instantly. He calmly explains that this is the literal life vessel of the boss and casually asks for an appraisal. Just a normal Tuesday for Kettle, but poor Rosa, her brain completely short-circuits. She freezes solid. It finally hits her. This absolute madman is telling the truth. Then Kettle casually drops. Oh yeah, there are some people inside too. He says he could have saved them, but they look totally brain-dead. So he figured, let the guild deal with that headache. Boom, the pieces finally click for Rosa. She instantly connects the dots between this dead lich and all the recent missing person cases in town. She physically jumps out of her chair. Wait a second, I'm calling the authorities right now. Minutes later, a panicked city guard bursts through the door yelling, did somebody say Lich? Kettle just gives a lazy little wave. Oh hey. Nice to meet you. He tells the guard, it is all handled. Literally no big deal. The guard stammers out the insanely long, unpronounceable fantasy name of this villain. Kettle just nods and the poor guard absolutely loses his mind. You and I know how crazy this is. A century ago, this mage drove kings insane and literally wiped 5 kingdoms off the map. The guard cannot fathom a monster like that in their village. But Kettle, he is just like, he was pretty weak. Kettle claims the guy did weird magic tricks and basically defeated himself. The poor guard is completely stunned into silence. Sweating actual buckets, the guard begs for more details. But Kettle, his single brain cell has completely clocked out for the day. Nothing left to say. Realizing this situation is way above his pay grade, the panicked guard immediately decides to bounce. He must report this directly to the Lord. The crazy news reaches Lord Barkin, and oh boy, he is not happy. A literal lich right next to my territory, he screams. The nervous guard confirms every detail, as victim testimonies, plus the actual glowing phylactery as hard proof. Barkin instantly realizes the massive political nightmare he is in. A monster this big will alert the whole empire. And his best fighter is currently on vacation. This is a total disaster, he mutters. Slamming his heavy fist on the desk, he gives the order. Send a message to the capital right now. Honestly, they got insanely lucky. If our boy had not stumbled upon that boss right after respawn, this town would have been completely wiped out. Kettle had perfect timing, sure. But soloing a legend, that is mind-blowing. This crazy barbarian absolutely deserves a proper reward. Staring out at the moon, he stresses out. Seriously, what kind of loot do you even give a dude who solos a myth? Next morning, loud, urgent shouting echoes through the castle. Barkin is already awake. He calmly sighs. Just let them in. The massive doors fly open, and a totally frantic maid bursts inside. My lord, the Inquisitor of the Sun God is here. Barkin goes wide-eyed in pure shock. What? Why on earth would a massive VIP show up in his tiny remote territory? And boom, there she is, standing in a blazing holy aura. The fierce Inquisitor of the Sun God has officially entered the chat. A little later, Barkin nervously sits across from her. He does the whole formal introduction as the local lord welcoming her in. She introduces herself as a divine judge who punishes the lost. Totally normal job title, right? Trust me, you and I are going to love where this goes next. Alright, you and I are about to meet the continent's youngest, strongest Inquisitor. A literal warlock hunting superstar. Her power is absolute. Aquaz cuts straight to business, calling his territory a total disaster area. Barkan sweats trying to play it cool. She can't be here for the lich. Right. He finally just asks why. She stares him down. I am here about a divine revelation. Barkan is left completely speechless. But before spilling the holy secret, Aquaz makes a demand. Tell her everything about the recent incident. He spills the whole crazy story, leaving her stunned. The barbarian beat the lich Barsan, confirms it was the legendary Kartos. That name hits Aquaz hard. Wait, what? That absolute monster was actually here? For proof, Barkin pulls out the lich's phylactery. Staring at the urn, her perfect ice-cold composure completely shatters. What exactly happened here? She whispers, gripping her holy symbol. Her racing mind instantly hyper-focuses on one thing. Is that crazy barbarian still in town? Lord Barsan nods, confirming her absolute worst nightmares. Yep, the insanely overpowered giant is still hanging around. Barsan nervously adds that with this guy anything is possible. He casually drops that Katal also crushed Swordmaster Kane, leaving the Inquisitor absolutely shell-shocked. Okay, so a massive new player just spawned. Aquaz instantly tries analyzing him, demanding to know his tribe. Barkan says Katal claimed to be from the White Wasteland. Hearing that name hits Aquaz like a massive truck. The White Wasteland. That is the snowy desert, a literal demon zone. Yeah, she is not happy about this. Now pay attention here. Suddenly the crazy puzzle pieces click together. An unknown beast from a demon-infested zone. She wonders out loud, maybe, just maybe, this exact barbarian is why she was deployed here. Barsan just stands there, totally lost. Eyes blazing, she makes the call. She needs to see this monster face to face. Meanwhile, our boy Katal is chilling in his room, admiring that shiny stone he looted from the lich. He figures it boosts magic or whatever. Oh well, I will just ask the mage about it later. His deep thoughts get interrupted by the morning sun. Time to start the day. Right on cue, a heavily armored guard shows up delivering a message. The sun god's top inquisitor wants a meeting. And it is going down at the church. The guard offers quick advice, begging him to show some basic respect. Katal just flashes a massive grin. Not to worry at all. He totally has this. Looking super stressed, the poor guard asks if he is ready to go. Fully geared up in his classic barbarian fit, Katal smiles. Let us go. Alright, quick lore drop about this crazy world. I know what you're thinking. Here, gods are real. They actually visit and hand out superpowers. And the absolute main hub for all this divine action, the central gathering spot, is the massive church. The guard leads Katal through the bustling city, stopping at a massive building. Our boy looks up instantly fanboying. He is just staring at the absolutely magnificent sun god's church. Guard says his escort is inside, so Ketil says thanks and steps up. Pushing the giant doors, he breathes in the holy vibe. Inside, just as epic. Massive statues and endless pews all glowing under this crazy heavenly light. A welcome squad of 3 nuns immediately greets him. Welcome, Sir Katal. Inquisitor Aquaz is waiting for you. They show him the way, leading him into a gorgeous room packed with yellow flowers. A woman stands facing away from him. He turns around, dropping her name. Aquaz, Inquisitor of the Sun God. She clearly means business. Katal flashes a warm smile. I am Katal the Barbarian. He thinks she looks super young for an Inquisitor. He figures she must have some absolute god-tier skills to rank up this fast. Aquaz, meanwhile, is instantly on guard. She is seriously wondering why this giant beast is smiling so much. Tal cuts to the chase, asking why he is here. She mentions the crazy dungeon incident. Apparently that lich he crushed was Kartos, an absolute world-class villain with a massive body count. She claims Kartos was so overpowered that only certified heroes could fight him. Ketil just shrugs. Yeah, I heard the stories, but he claims the lich he fought was a total joke who basically defeated himself. Seeing her total disbelief, he sighs. Look, I am just saying what I saw. So Aquaz makes a wild offer. How about inviting her literal god to witness their chat? She explains, it is basically a holy lie detector. If he lies, an alarm rings. You and I know there's no way he agrees to this, right? She even gives an easy out. But to her total shock, Ketil is thrilled. Why would I ever refuse? Alright, stick with me here. He's finally experiencing real divine power, and his absolute childlike excitement completely short-circuits Aquaz's brain. She cannot figure out why he looks so thrilled. She carefully asks if this makes him uncomfortable. Katal, bless his heart, is just confused and asks what she means. He sees absolutely zero issues here. After all, he has just been telling the truth. What is there to worry about? Seeing his total confidence, Aquaz nods, closes her eyes to start the ritual, and claps her hands in prayer. God of the sun, please reveal all lies here. The second she finishes that chant, a massive pillar of golden holy light erupts from the church, shooting straight up. Boom! Katal is caught dead center in the blast, looking up in pure awe. Oh man, I can feel it, he yells. An immense, indescribable presence staring down from way up high. Absolute god-tier power. And right now, he actually senses what this powerful god is feeling. Total confusion. The almighty deity is just completely baffled. Even the heavens have no idea what to make of our boy. Just like that, the crazy light fades away. The room returns to normal, leaving them at the table while Aquaz exhales in relief. Thank goodness there was no holy smiting, she thinks, pulling herself together to make it official. Let us begin. From now on, nobody can lie in this room. Katal just hits her with a cool, cocky smirk. Alright, with the sun god's ultimate lie detector officially locked in, it is time for the real interrogation to kick off. Katal runs the tape back, explaining for the 100th time how he soloed that dungeon. Zero lies detected. Aquaz finally realizes this dude was completely honest the whole time. He literally just got lucky facing a super weak lich. She apologizes for doubting him, but Katal just grins and says he actually kind of enjoyed the ride. Now pay attention, because just when you think it is over, she hits him with the ultimate trap card. She has a deeply personal question and things get serious. She leans in tight and asks, are you really from the White Snowfield? His answer, yep. And just like that, Aquaz is absolutely floored. The guy is literally from the demon realm. Her mind races. Could he be the legendary Grey Barbarian from the old myths? But wait, Katal completely flips the script. My turn, he smirks. Why are you really here? She tries playing it cool, mumbling about personal business, but Ketil sees right through it. He cuts straight to the chase. Was this whole thing just to check if I am a monster? Oh, direct hit. Aquaz gets super flustered trying to deny it, but Katal is not letting her go. He points at the glowing room. This whole Eye of the God setup seems a bit extreme for a basic lie detector, right? And she is completely busted. Under divine watch, she literally cannot fake her intentions. Checkmate, Katal. So you came here just for me, he pushes. She panics, yells no, and claims there was an oracle. Turns out a wild prophecy brought her here, thinking he was the chosen guy. But these test results, confusing as hell to say the least. She finally comes clean and apologizes for all the secrecy. But Catal, being a total weirdo, just calls it interesting. Now he is hooked. He hits her with the real question, what exactly did this oracle say? Aquaz hesitates. This is heavily classified intel. She would never usually drop, but for some crazy reason, she decides Catal gets a pass. She spills the prophecy, and let me tell you, whatever she says leaves our boy Catal absolutely speechless. Sometime later, Aquaz is chilling by a massive window when Lord Barkin rolls up. He immediately senses that something heavy is weighing on her mind. She admits to meeting Catal, but now she is more confused than ever. What in the world is he? She wonders out loud. Well, Barkin confirms one solid fact. Catal is absolutely a white snowfield barbarian. He admits pulling intel from that place is near impossible, but his crazy origin is completely verified. Barkin was praying this was all a misunderstanding, because if this leaks, the world goes crazy. Everyone wants a piece of the white snowfield, especially the Emperor himself, and if the Emperor gets his hands dirty, total chaos. Aquaz tells him to just chill out. They will cover up the whole Lich fight and keep Catal's identity strictly classified. Barkan finally breathes. Then he drops the million-dollar question. Are all the barbarians out there like him? Aquaz pauses. Probably not. Her logic makes total sense. If they were all that overpowered, they would have conquered the entire globe by now. I mean, let us be real. Most barbarians are just walking mountains of meat with maybe 2 active brain cells. But what happens when you give one of those absolute powerhouses a genius brain? You get Catal. Barkan brings up rumors about the new barbarian king, another monster, with both brains and brawn. Aquaz nods. She has actually met him, and trust me on this, definitely not your average club-swinging barbarian. Let's dive back into the madness. Barkin wants a Cadell versus King showdown, but Aqua hard pass. She reminds him that barbarians and god worshippers clash big time, plus him getting stronger, huge issue. Anyway, Barkin circles right back what was so damn important about that oracle. She admits she needed to confirm something huge about Cadell. She had to know, is he purely human, or just a monster in disguise? Barkin is totally shook. What in the world did that oracle actually reveal? As she finally drops the true prophecy, Barkin looks like he just saw a ghost. Fast forward a bit, Cadell gets summoned to Lord Barkin's office. The Lord tries kicking things off with polite small talk. But Cadell hates games. I'm fine. Why'd you call me here? Barkin drops the smile. First off, thank you. You saved this entire domain from Lich Kardos. Admits if that Lich had been at 100% power, they would be absolute toast. But then he drops the bad news. He tells Cadell this epic victory has to be kept totally secret. Beating a Lich is massive, but if the Emperor finds out, he'll immediately mobilize his entire army. Not ideal. But Cadell just shrugs. Fame was never his goal anyway. Barkin says it isn't an apology, but he does have a sweet reward ready. He taps his desk and a servant brings the goods. Cadell's eyes practically bulge out of his skull. It's a massive, sparkling bag of loot. Oh yeah, our boy is getting heavily paid. Cadell just stares at it, totally confused. Barkin smirks, explaining this is no ordinary bag, and he needs to check it out for himself. Cadell just glares at this tiny pouch, absolutely mesmerized by the magical, sparkly aura. Barkin tells him to stop gawking and just open it already. He reveals it's a pouch artifact, a magical item meant for infinite storage. You're going to want to see this. The space inside big as the room. A real artifact. His mind is totally blown. It's the first time he's seen one up close. Barkin says he can shove in items way bigger than the tiny opening. Cadell, being Cadell, immediately tests that out. He shoves his comically giant axe at the tiny hole, and it gets slurped right inside. Barkin explains how to grab it back. Just reach your hand in and picture the item clearly. Cadell is absolutely losing his mind over how cool this is. He loves it, promising to put it to very good use. That settled, the Lord has one last issue to tackle. The prophecy. He recalls Swordmaster Kane's chilling field report. Freaky aberrations from the demon realm are popping up everywhere, and Barkin strongly suspects these crazy events are tied to that exact dark prophecy. The prophecy warns of a massive evil crashing down on this land before consuming the entire world. See, the Barkin territory is actually a huge network of small villages that always keep in regular contact. One day, a remote village goes dead silent. Poof. Totally off the grid. A nearby town sends a few guys to investigate. Spoiler alert, they never came back. Hearing this, the Lord deployed his own guards. And big surprise, they vanished into thin air too. That's when Lord Barkin realized this was way more than just a broken radio problem. Back at the Mercenary Guild, Rosa pins up an urgent request straight from the Lord. Cadell asks for details. The actual job, go check on the ghost town. She calls it a simple dispatch mission, but the payout is absolutely ridiculously high. Say no more. Cadell is totally in. Rosa just smiles to herself, knowing our boy was the perfect man for the job. Watch what happens next. At the meeting point, other mercenaries are whispering nervously. The cleric Hayes is awkwardly standing aside, looking like she would rather be literally anywhere else. She glances up when someone calls her name. Wait a minute. Is that Mr. Cadell? Cadell just smirks, flexing a brand new custom-made outfit. Oh yeah, our boy got a serious glow-up. He explains his old gear was literally falling apart, so he commissioned this new set. He even brags about designing it himself. Hayes realizes Cadell is actually joining them. He nods, saying he simply couldn't pass up a job this interesting. He asks if their old party members are around. Hayes figures they were smart enough to decline. Cadell just looks around. For a basic quest with a massive reward, barely anyone showed up. Hayes drops the truth bomb. This is no simple quest. The payout is way too high for basic recon. She brings up the creepy rumors about the disappearing guards. Yeah, this request is definitely a deadly trap. Cadell is still bummed about the painfully low turnout. Hayes leans in, whispering about another wild rumor, but trails off with a nervous laugh. Aqua the Sun, God's heretic inquisitor, just made her grand, terrifying entrance. Yep, that's the rumor. The Inquisitor herself is joining, which explains why everyone else completely bailed. Cadell tells a totally terrified Hayes not to panic, calling Aqua a polite and kind woman. Hayes is absolutely stunned. You know her, he confidently says. Of course she's a friend. An Inquisitor and a barbarian. The math is definitely not mathing for Hayes. So Cadell strolls right over to say hi, and Aqua instantly shuts him down. I don't recall being friends. Big yikes. And that's where we leave it. Unfazed, Cadell just laughs it off. Smooth as sandpaper, right? Stick with me, we are about to uncover something crazy. Aquaz asks if Hayes follows Colosia. Catal is super hyped, she knows the name. But Aquaz, she looks deeply bothered. He asks what is wrong. Aquaz drops a lore bomb. Colosia's followers should be resting right now. Only the absolute highest ranks are allowed outside. She brushes it off, guessing she made a mistake as Hayes waves them over. Suddenly a newcomer steps up. Look who finally showed up. The guard captain and his men heavily armored. Catal, being a total social butterfly, flashes him a massive grin. Aquaz looks 100% done with his nonsense. Meanwhile, poor Hayes seems totally overwhelmed by this intimidating super squad. The captain officially welcomes everyone who took the job. Without wasting another single second, they head out. So the whole crew marches toward the village. Kettle checks out their massive squad and laughs. Hey, this totally feels like a boss raid. He catches Aquaz looking super stressed out. Does this mean your big prophecy time is finally here? She admits the gods gave zero timeline. This whole mess could literally just be bad communication with the local village. But Catal absolutely refuses to drop it. He pushes harder. There is still a huge chance, right? The prophecy flat out claimed a massive evil is about to drop on this world. His reaction to a literal apocalypse, a tiny cocky smile. A great evil, huh? Yeah, my man is way too hyped about this danger. Hours later, the party hits their destination. The captain calls out that they have finally reached the village gates. Guys, it is dead silent. Like straight up horror movie quiet. He asks Aquaz for a scan and she confirms the nightmare. He cannot sense a single living soul. Zero. A nervous guard mutters that maybe everyone just packed up their bags and bailed, so the captain barks an order. Spread out right now and find some clues. They fan out. But you and I are wondering the exact same thing here. How do 100 people literally vanish into thin air? He is dead set on solving this mystery, launching the search. There has to be some kind of evidence left. Almost instantly, a scout spots something. Captain, he screams out. Over here, there is still food sitting on the table. The captain figures they dropped it while running away. But the soldier yells, no, the food is still piping hot. Cue the dramatic freeze frame. The gears in the captain's head are spinning fast, and the terrifying picture they paint is making him sick. This is next level bad. The village went dark days ago, and every scout sent to check on them simply ceased to exist. Inside the house, a mercenary confirms the worst. Zero tracks. Nobody left, and nobody even tried to hide. Looking absolutely grim, the captain orders them to keep digging. This entire setup feels incredibly wrong and dangerous. Every single house tells the same terrifying story. Signs of normal life interrupted moments ago, but absolutely zero living humans around. Another scout reports in. We have massive proof people were just here, but absolutely no clue where they went. It is like they literally evaporated. Sweating, the captain looks to Aquaz for answers, but she is completely lost. So he turns to Keatle for a genius play. But Keatle casually admits he hasn't found a single thing. Zero presence. I know what you are thinking, useless, right? But before the captain snaps, Catal casually suggests, why not ask someone who actually knows? The captain's brain completely short-circuits. Kettle stares at the whole squad, like they are totally crazy. Didn't you notice, he says? Someone else is right here. Panic hits the captain as he realizes the threat. Right on cue, a mysterious woman materializes across the street, rocking a super smug smirk. Well, isn't this interesting? She purrs, acting totally shocked. I thought my hiding spot was perfect. How did you actually spot me? Keatal steps right up, using pure galaxy brain logic. You were not there a second ago, and now you are. Kind of impossible to miss. She giggles, explaining that her illusion magic usually tricks people's brains into believing she was standing there the whole time. She even points out the high-rank Inquisitor fell for it. Sizing Kettle up, she quickly realizes he possesses zero magic. Her smile turns incredibly sinister. Who exactly are you? The guard captain's danger radar goes absolutely crazy, screaming at his men. Fall back right now. As his soldiers sprint for their lives, he notices Aquaz is just standing there, utterly paralyzed by pure fear. With absolute terror in her eyes, Aquaz stutters out, "I cannot sense a single drop of energy from her." That sends massive chills down everyone's spine. If an elite Inquisitor cannot read this woman, it only means one of two terrifying things. Either she is completely harmless, or she is a demon so insanely overpowered that her aura is completely cloaked. Yeah, my money is definitely on option 2. Marcelia drops a massive dramatic sigh, complaining she wanted to stalk them a little longer. Total bummer. Then her face instantly twists into a monstrous grin. She purrs that she made her choice. Her true demonic form erupts. And trust me, you and I are going to want to see this. Stick with me here, I will make you my slave and drag you to hell. Snap, dark magic violently erupts right from her claw. A dark sphere bursts open as she floats high into the air, glaring down at our terrified crew like ants. Heel Haze, and even the super strict Inquisitor Aquaz can only stare up in absolute horror, jaws completely on the floor. A city guard frantically screams for everyone to run away, but it is way too late. Boom, a massive purple energy dome slams down from the sky, trapping everyone inside. The demoness gloats her new personal playground. Nobody escapes, she purrs. Licking a long purple nail, those glowing eyes lock right onto her terrified victims. You are my prey now. The crowd panics. A demon. But Keel just looks mildly curious. Hayes stammers out that it is a named demon before instantly collapsing into full prayer mode. Keel just casually pats her head, telling her to relax because he is right there. She looks up seriously, debating if she should believe him. Keel crosses his arms. So anyway, what is the huge deal about a named demon? Time for a lore dump from Hayes. See, most standard demons are just weak little fragments of corrupted mana. Some are born from pure darkness. Through sheer willpower, they take a name, completely leveling up their entire existence. These are true demons. Even the absolute weakest one can completely wipe out a kingdom. So yeah, it is a massive deal. So that is a named demon. Keel concludes, finally getting it. Hayes shakily confirms he is right. She recognizes her as Acedia, a legendary villain from centuries ago. Why is she in this random village? Now pay close attention here. Keel approaches the wall, wanting to punch it. Hayes warns it is totally unbreakable. The only escape is beating her. He gently taps the shimmering wall, nodding in understanding. I see. Suddenly, the barrier starts cracking right where he touched it. But wait, that would ruin the fun. He wildly waves his arms like a total idiot, hiding the huge crack from Hayes and laughing. Completely baffled, she asks what he is doing. He just flashes a cheerful thumbs up and stays completely silent. Alright then. Back to the main battle. Acedia taunts the Inquisitor, smirking, as she asks if she enjoyed her little game with the village. Aquaz flashes back to the abandoned homes, the half-eaten meals. All of that horror was just a demon having fun. She grits her teeth, feeling absolute disgust for this monster who treats human lives like disposable toys. Know what you are thinking. Is Keel really eating popcorn in 3D glasses? Absolutely. Meanwhile, Aquaz's mind races. Summoning a named demon demands a massive sacrifice, way more souls than just one tiny village. For a monster this powerful to build her territory without anybody noticing, that should be completely impossible. Under a blood-red moon, Acedia just smirks. You really thought I was going to reveal my master plan? Aquaz clenches her fist. Foul corruption dares defile the earth. She is going full, righteous, holy warrior mode now. The demon cackles wildly. Corruption filth, she absolutely loves it. Hey dog of God, she sneers. Think your little god can save you, the ground fractures. Acedia proclaims this world is not just theirs anymore. See, centuries ago, a massive ancient war broke out where gods and humans teamed up against pure evil. In the end, the good guys won, banishing all the demons from the mortal realm. Classic fantasy history. From the depths of hell I waited for this day, she snarls, flashing a terrifying grin. Time for the big reveal. I am Acedia, the demon of gravity. Honestly, that is a really cool title. Vowing to erase her past defeat, she plans to drench the world in evil. Aquaz fires back, shouting this realm belongs only to gods and humans. Therefore, evil must return to its rightful place. Raising her hand, she summons a blinding holy light. Calling upon her god, a massive pillar of pure holy energy completely engulfs her. The light fades, revealing her decked out in radiant golden armor, gripping a massive holy keyblade weapon. Keel, our resident anime critic, happily notes, just as I thought. Nobody attacks during the magical girl transformation. Thanks for the meta commentary, buddy. Transformation complete. Aquaz glares down the demon with burning divine eyes, but Acedia completely unfazed. A tiny smirk crosses her lips as she just whispers, "Interesting." "Fine," she says, crushing a sphere of dark energy and summoning her own massive, terrifying demonic scythe. "Bring it on, dog of the gods." Calling her an insolent wretch, Aquaz violently launches herself forward. Holy gold and demonic purple collide. "Trust me, you and I cannot look away now." The massive impact creates a brutal shockwave, completely tearing the entire battlefield apart. Let's jump right into this madness. The dust clears and Asatir just bare hands Aquas's massive weapon. She smirks, saying she completely lost her dignity. Calling her a hunting dog, big mistake. Aquas's eye literally twitches. Her holy rage is absolutely boiling over. "Are you done yapping?" "Yeah, she is done." Cloaked in pure golden light, Aquas slams down, totally ready to throw hands with this smug demoness. But then boom. Asatir vanishes, leaving the Inquisitor completely stunned. From the shadows, a whisper, "I am right here." Asatir lunges from behind. Aquas barely raises her golden shield in time. Claws slam into the shield. The demon just grins. "Get crushed." Arc energy erupts, sending our poor Inquisitor flying backward. She digs her heels and literally grinding a deep trench straight through the pavement. She is struggling so hard to survive this absolute onslaught. The shield starts cracking, so naturally she chants scripture, "None may trespass upon the radiant light." Bible study mid-fight, bold move. But hey, it actually works. Whoosh, massive golden explosion blasts the demoness right off her feet. Aqua stands there in holy fire, delivering the ultimate icy death glare. Such a classic anime moment. But Asatir just stands up looking way more impressed than hurt. "Reading holy scripture at your age, very impressive." Yeah, Aquas is not amused. He just keeps praying, chapter 5, verse 59. Its radiance burned away all evil, but this time Asatir casually blocks the huge holy blast with her wing, looking super annoyed. Time for plan B, brute force. Aquas charges, swinging wildly, but the demoness is just insanely fast. She dodges every single strike. They become an absolute blur, trading heavy blows at pure lightning speed. You are going to want to watch this part closely. Aquas is seriously straining, sweating absolute bullets. Meanwhile, Asatir is grinning, having the time of her life. Their weapons lock, huge boom. The massive shockwave rips through the streets, destroying everything. But wait, where is the party? Oh, they are just screaming in pure terror, getting yeeted by the blast. Back at the main event, these two absolute powerhouses stay locked in brutal close-quarters combat. Then there is Kettle watching it all with a goofy smile. He is loving this. Hayes the cleric runs over, totally panicking. "Lord Kettle, can you not help Lady Aquas? The guy is practically begging." Kettle just glances down. "I probably could, but why should I?" Hayes' face screams, "What the heck, dude?" His logic. Not his problem. Why interfere and ruin an epic fight? This guy is 0% team player. He admits he is itching to fight a demon himself, but right now just happy watching. He is treating this like pay-per-view. "I know what you are thinking, total jerk move." Hayes is completely floored. While they have their little chat, the brutal war of light versus darkness continues. Another massive explosion hits. Asatir parries a blow and sneers, "You really are God's dog." Back to the dog jokes. Even so, Aquas pushes back hard, totally believing demonic power can never truly match the gods. Famous last words, maybe. Asatir realizes this is a stalemate. At this rate, they will fight all day. She needs a quick advantage. So what happens? She pulls a classic villain trick and rockets straight for those defenseless, screaming party members. Aquas screams a warning, desperately trying to block, but it is too late. Asatir is too fast. The demoness launches a devastating blast right at the helpless adventurers. So dirty. Once again, the party just screams in agony, while demonic and holy energy explodes everywhere. Worst day ever. Aquas is furious, gritting her teeth, desperately shielding her completely useless comrades. Eyes glowing with pure divine rage, she screams, "Filthy creature." Oh, she is totally livid now. Asatir laughs in her face. "Did you really expect a demon to play fair?" She has a solid point. Total rookie mistake. Aquas is absolutely furious, instantly chanting a spell again. Is pulling out the ultimate move. And there it is. Spitting holy verses, Aquas unleashes massive golden power. She pops a radiant sanctuary, yelling for the team to get inside. But watching from the shadows, Asatir is just having an absolute blast with this show. She mocks the wasted spell while Aquas's blazing eyes scream, "Shut up." That's where we leave it, trust me, stick around. Alright, stick with me here. ATR just smirks. Oh, she absolutely loves getting a reaction. Enough talking. They charge head on. Aquas swings her massive cross-shaped weapon, painting the air with a bright golden arc. ATR dodges like it's a joke, popping up right above her. Classic villain move. Closes the gap in a literal flash, whispering that nobody will even remember this noble sacrifice. A brutal kick follows. She sneers that Aquas bring shame to her god. Then the classic ultimatum. Drop the shield, protecting your friends, and maybe she gets to live. What is the answer? Aquas sees right through those cheap tricks. ATR just gives a wicked smile. You really think you're leaving alive? Aquas readies her battle stance. She has heard way too much of this total nonsense. Demon grins wide. Fine die, like a good little martyr, a massive pillar of dark energy erupts, forcing Aquas to brace hard. Then suddenly, boom, ATR appears right in her face, moving way faster than the eye can track. Before Aquas can even blink, the demon strikes. A huge energy explosion sends the poor Inquisitor flying backward. Shock and pain hit Aquas hard while EDR closes in fast for round 2. Way too fast. Tendrils of dark energy whip around Aquas, completely trapping her. She's totally confused. Her light should push back the dark, but pay attention here, it's getting totally swallowed up. Enough, she is sick of those boring god verses. ATR smashes a fist into her stomach, shattering the golden aura. Moving in for the kill, ATR strikes again. Aquas barely raises her shield to block, but it's just no use. The shield explodes into a shower of golden glitter. ATR swings, slicing clean through her armor. She catches the crystal core while Aquas screams in pure agony. Just like that, Aquas is totally defeated. Bound by dark magic, writhing on the ground. With the Inquisitor down, the golden dome protecting the others cracks open. Then it completely shatters. The party is absolutely terrified. Looks like game over. ATR grins, saying she will save them for dessert. But first, she turns her attention back to Aquas. Wonder what a noble hound of God tastes like. She opens her fanged mouth, but a super calm voice suddenly says, "Stop." A hand clamps onto her face, stopping her cold. It is Kato. That is enough. The demoness is completely stunned. How Kato just stands there effortlessly holding her back. Pure disbelief. She didn't even sense him. With a casual wrist flick, he sends the powerful demon flying across the square. Bam! Kato stands casually over the fallen Inquisitor, asking if she is alright. Aquas looks up completely stunned. Wait, this is the guy who beat Swordmaster Kane. You and I both knew that was too easy, right? Yep, the big bad is back. He glares at them, absolutely furious. Dusting off the rubble, she growls out, "Insolent barbarian." Eyes burning, she screams, "How dare you interrupt my meal?" Kato calmly crosses his arms. "She's my friend. I cannot let her die." ATR scoffs, planning to keep him as a toy. Kato just deadpans. "Zero intention of becoming your toy." With a wicked grin, she summons a massive purple scythe. "Really? Then you'll just have to die," but Aquas suddenly commands him to step aside. She insists Kato can't beat a demon. He promises he is strong, but she argues back. This is not about physical strength. Only divine power can banish a demon. It's a fundamental universe rule, especially inside a demon territory. You can't expect a miracle, Kato murmurs to himself. So only gods can fight demons. He glances at her battered state. Even if that is true, you are in no condition to be fighting right now. Fighting her fatigue, she grits her teeth. I must do it. I serve the gods and stand against evil. Kato watches her, genuinely impressed. So this is pure divine willpower. Impressive, he smiles, giving her a gentle head pat. But leave this to me. Aquas is completely bewildered. Kato just grins. I've been wanting to fight a demon. ATR scoffs. You don't get it. I told you you can't defeat me. Kato smiles wider. Care to test that little theory? ATR licks her sharp teeth, absolutely loving this. I want to see you in agony. She leaps and vanishes. In a split second, a wormhole tears open right in front of Kato. She plummets down, claws out, absolute madness in her eyes. Aquas screams in pure horror. And trust me, you're definitely going to want to see what happens next. Stick with me here. Katal's fist completely smashes Ashetiar's face. Boom. The demon gets launched. Head completely vaporized. Meanwhile, Aquas is just frozen there, her brain completely lagging out. Aquas is still trying to buffer this reality. Did my guy Katal really just one-punch a demon's head into next week? Absolutely insane. Kettle, he looks absolutely bored. He's just standing there looking at his hand like, did I really just do that easily? He glances back at the headless demon, and suddenly his eyes go completely wide. Hold on. Massive burst of dark energy and boom, her entire body regenerates from thin air. Katal just grins, finding this whole trick super fascinating. Crush the head, she just respawns. Ashetiar is absolutely fuming, but at the same time totally baffled. What even are you? Katal scratches his head and drops the ultimate troll response. I am just an ordinary barbarian, he says. Yeah, she is absolutely not buying that for a second. Don't make me laugh. Zero magic. Zero aura. Nothing at all radiating from him. He feels like a completely normal guy, which makes zero sense to her. Fine then. If he refuses to talk, she will literally beat it right out of him. A creepy demon face manifests behind Kettle. Die, she violently screams. Katal actually looks a little caught off guard. Hitting a human form feels kind of weird, honestly. But having no choice, bam, he punches right through her. You saw that too, right? The completely stunned demon goes absolutely flying backward. The sheer force sends a massive shockwave through her, literally shattering pieces of her body. She slams into the dirt, struggling to stand up. Her mind is completely blown right now. Just a basic punch, no magic at all, she thinks to herself. Meanwhile, Kettle simply cracks his knuckles with a very cheeky smile. Oh, you regenerated again. Ashatiar is panicking. Meanwhile, Ketal is casually figuring out her power mechanics. Boom, he launches himself forward like a cannonball. Before she can even blink, he is instantly right up in her face. He unleashes another brutal punch, aiming dead center for her head. Dark vapor violently erupts, turning into creepy tendrils that immediately start stitching her physical body back together again. Ketal just watches, honestly pretty impressed as she fully reforms. Oh, he chuckles. When the head gets destroyed, a brand new body just spawns. Makes total sense for a demon. While he wonders if her head is her core, Ashatiar starts intensely shaking, dark aura exploding everywhere around her. She is losing her mind. This is absurd. You think pure muscle can defeat me? Then it hits her. Force against force is stupid. Hey you, she yells. Ketal answers, looking completely and utterly clueless. With a truly evil smirk, she reintroduces herself. Listen up. I am Ashatiar, gravity demon. She taunts him. Think fists alone can win. You and I know he doesn't care at all. Ketal is quiet, then simply deadpans. Well, you really don't look that impressive. That single roast absolutely shatters her ego. She completely snaps, screaming in pure rage. Ketal just stands there confused. Now she is really angry. Her eyes flash bright red. She charges in, ready to unleash her true power. Her weapon transforms into a massive mallet. She drops a gravity wave on him, but Ketal casually raises one hand to block it. The massive attack just stops dead cold. Not bad, Ketal smirks. Heavy indeed. Then he completely shatters her mallet, reflecting all that raw, immense power right back at her face. He follows up with another insane punch that, completely vaporizes her head again. Impossible, she panics. Just like magic, her body reforms in a burst of purple light. She is in absolute disbelief. She is a gravity demon. She can compress an entire fortress wall into one single devastating strike. And she is getting styled on by a barbarian without special abilities. Ketal just stares, super curious. Oh, you are back again, he casually points out. Wait, are demons immortal? That casual disrespect is the last straw. Ashatiar is literally shaking with pure, unadulterated anger. He blasts another massive wave of purple energy, screaming, "Impossible, die, you barbarian." She shrieks, summoning a giant dark energy claw right over Ketal. What is his genius solution? He simply clenches his fist and punches straight up into the air. The sheer, immense force drills a massive hole right through her magic, completely obliterating her attack. The raw impact blasts Ashatiar point blank. A massive explosion erupts as she screams in agony. Watching from her holy bubble, Aquaz is completely speechless. What in the world am I even watching right now? Recalls the dark legends. This demon literally deleted an entire kingdom off the map centuries ago. Absolute nightmare, threat level, and that same legendary demon is getting totally pummeled by basic punches. It is completely unbelievable, but once again, Ashatiar twists and reforms in a dark swirl. The demonic regeneration violently kicks in again. She crashes down and Ketal casually steps on her head. So what do you and I learn here? Never ever provoke a barbarian. Alright, stick with me here. Our guy finally pieces it all together. Pure physical force alone is not going to kill her. Even pinned under his heavy boot, a wickedly sharp grin just spreads across Ashatiar's face. She can barely process it. This is the first time she's ever felt pressure like this. Crushed beneath Ketal's heel, she realizes his strength is completely off the charts. Her reaction? Just absolute maniacal laughter. He screams, demanding to know what he is. Ketal's deadpan response, just an ordinary barbarian. Yeah, sure. Ashatiar is absolutely not buying that garbage. Don't make me laugh, she snarls. But she has one last trick. A massive shockwave of dark magic erupts, blasting everyone off guard. The whole party freezes in pure shock. That energy compresses into a sphere, exploding to reveal her final form. Smiling like a complete psycho, she tells him, "I will unleash every ounce of my power. You're going to want to see this." A barrage of dark spears shoots straight at him. But look at Ketal. He is just grinning, completely hyped for this clash. Aquaz, meanwhile, is absolutely losing it. Knowing brute strength won't cut it, she starts channeling her divine power. But Ashatiar doesn't wait, unleashing her attack with one final command. Demonic spears pierce and kill. That deadly swarm homes in, ready to turn him into a pincushion. Yet Ketal effortlessly deflects every single strike. Ashatiar is left completely speechless. What kind of monster is this? She shrieks. Then Ketal launches himself into an absolute blur. While the demon processes her incoming doom, Aquaz chants a holy verse. Let radiance burn all wicked things. Ketal's axe ignites with blinding golden light. He actually looks impressed. He's pretty intrigued by this god-tier buff. Strike her down now, Aquaz yells. Okay, fine. He really wanted to study the demon more, but playtime is officially over. So long, demon, he says, slashing right across her chest. Boom, that holy magic smashes right through her defenses. She literally cannot believe her eyes. In her final moments, she accepts it. I lost. The divine energy swallows her whole, slamming her violently into the dirt. Ketal stands over the crater grinning. Thanks, I had fun. What an absolute unit. As she starts fading away, she just chuckles. It's a shame, but not a total loss. She finally confirmed a monster like him exists above ground. You and I know he shouldn't give his name right, but before Aquaz can stop him, he does. No, don't, Aquaz screams. Way too late. Oopsie, Kettle mutters as a terrifying grin cracks across Asetiar's face. She broadcasts straight to the underworld. All beings of hell, etch the barbarian Kettle into your memory. Aquaz just crumbles in total despair. Down in hell, countless demonic eyes snap wide open watching. A horrifying, squirming mass of eyeballs locks on. They are fully perceiving the man named Kettle. While our guy stands there, scratching his head, this giant demonic perception manifests right in his face. Asetiar's laughter echoes out. Barbarian, you belong to us now. The eye monster lunges, piercing his chest. But wait, suddenly the demons are super confused. They can't penetrate his body. What on earth is this? A massive shadowy hand casually reaches out, plucks the eye, and poof, dust. Back in reality, Kettle blinks completely unbothered. What was that, he wonders, patting his chest. Kind of felt like something went inside me. That tiny demon fragment is absolutely terrified. It cannot comprehend why its dark curse totally failed. Kettle spots that leftover wisp of dark energy and just casually punts it away like literal dirt. Meanwhile, Aquaz and Haze are completely short-circuiting. They are screaming their lungs out in disbelief, but Kettle, he is stretching like he just finished a light jog, completely relaxed as the smoke clears, turns to his traumatized party with a huge grin. So, request complete, you bet it is you, crazy overpowered barbarian. While our heroes chill post-battle, the insane news of this fight is already spreading everywhere, sweeping through Barkan territory like absolute wildfire. A paperboy is screaming, "Extra, extra, read all about it." Updates from the Dark Village citizens are ripping these papers from his hands, eyes bulging in total shock. The headline drops a massive nuke. Unnamed demon Asetiar spawned right after the whole Lich disaster. Lord Barkan is having a total meltdown, smashing his fists into his throne. What is going on? Why is my tiny slice of land the center of a literal apocalypse? So what do you and I make of this? A legendary demon just casually popped in for a visit. Alright, stick with me here. His guard captain says those wild rumors are spreading, but luckily, they have a good spin. The official story, wink wink, is that the Sun God's Inquisitor showed up just in time to boot the demon out. Barkan knows they are in total damage control mode. One tiny mistake, and this whole mess goes nuclear. Meanwhile, Katal casually asks his new bestie why everyone seems so stressed. Well, it is no small issue, Aquaz replies. He asks if she is leaving already, suggesting she rest up a bit, but she is strictly business. No time to waste. The Holy Land needs this information right now. Kettle just shrugs. Alright, your call, I won't stop you. But as he turns away, she calls his name, stopping him dead in his tracks. She gives a formal bow. Thank you for saving me. I almost became Demon Chow without you. Katal, being his usual goofy self, just waves it off. No biggie, he says. I was simply helping out a friend. Then he flashes that $1 million grin. Hey, we are friends now, right? Aquaz is completely stunned. Brain absolutely short-circuits. A literal barbarian and a divine inquisitor hanging out. She brings up her holy title. Like that is supposed to scare him off. Katal's comeback is absolute perfection. Is there a rule against it? His pure, honest confusion shatters her defenses. The guy is just too incredibly wholesome. See, titles do not matter. A tiny smile breaks her serious face. You are right. Now that they are officially besties, Katal drops a question. Is telling a demon your name really bad? Aquaz turns deadly serious. Pay attention here. This is where the lore gets wild. It is the brand. Lore time. She explains demons use names to mark your actual soul. It is basically slapping a giant neon sign on your back, shouting free lunch to every nearby monster. Get branded, and you either need a holy power wash, or you become demon snacks. Bad choices. Katal points to himself, totally confused. Wait, did I get one of those marks? Aquaz shakes her head. Surprisingly, no, Katal. However, she drops a grim look. Your name is totally trending on demonic social media, but do not freak out. Without that brand, they know your name but lack your GPS coordinates. So unless you literally bump into them downtown, you are perfectly fine. Katal finds this hilarious, especially since his monster punches did not instantly delete the demon. Aquaz sighs. Typical demons. History class part 2. Gods created humans. Humans were reckless, doing whatever they pleased, and gods let them vibe. Then, interdimensional party crashers noticed the human world. These twisted beings known as demons crossed over and caused absolute chaos. The gods refused to watch their creations burn. So they finally stepped up to fight. Teaming up with humanity, they kicked those monsters back to their dimension. Afterwards, humans built massive churches to thank their saviors. Peace reigned for a good while, but obviously demons crept back. You and I both know how this goes, right? So gods handed out holy power, the only thing that works. Kettle finally puts it together. Normal attacks fail because they are basically alien invaders. Exactly, Aquaz nods. They completely break this world's natural laws. Catal figures it would be a massive headache if these freaks showed up daily. Quaz promises the elite demons cannot just teleport over whenever. However, the seal blocking their dimension is actually breaking down. Dungeon cycles are totally broken, spawning monsters way faster. And this nightmare started exactly 1 year ago. Catal freezes. His mind races. He realizes that perfectly lines up with his final quest in that snowy wasteland. Snapping him back to reality, Aquaz says her goodbyes. Walking out, she warmly invites him to visit her holy order anytime. He flashes a soft smile. I would love that. And just like that, Aquaz rides off. Even though she is still injured, the Saints need this critical information right this second. Still, during her carriage ride, one massive question keeps eating at her brain. Why did the sun god conveniently forget to mention this overpowered barbarian? Meanwhile, another major player is suffering today. We cut to Swordmaster Cain walking through the palace, sighing heavily. He grumbles that meeting the Emperor is draining. Trust me, you should stick around. Let's dive right into this. Just a typical Monday morning meeting until a smooth voice from behind him suddenly says, "You seem to be having a really rough time." Cain spins around. Boom. There stands this insanely striking guy with long dark hair looking like he literally stepped out of a gothic romance novel. But do not be fooled. This is not some random pretty boy. This is the great master of the magic tower, absolute boss of all things magic. He smirks casually, asking what brings Cain here. Cain totally ignores the bait and throws the question right back. The master plays it perfectly cool, calling it just a routine visit. But Cain, he is here to report on his latest mission, and that instantly grabs the master's full attention. Oh, the recon mission to the demon realm Forest of Silence, right? So how did it go, the master asks. Cain's face immediately drops. Total grim mode. He answers with pure dread. It defied absolutely everything we know. It was an absolute nightmare. He flashes back to the forest, a place with zero sound. Even his magical detection skills completely failed. Just imagine this. He could scream at top volume and hear nothing. No sound, no echo. Just dead silence. One by one, his soldiers just vanished. He sums it up perfectly. It was horrifying. Back in the present, Cain wonders why the Emperor wants the demon realm so badly. He basically just assumes powerful people are completely out of their minds. The master smirks again. He admits the demon realm is fascinating and he is super intrigued. Talk about a massive walking red flag. But Cain wants zero part of this mess. I hope I do not get dragged in, he says. I prefer staying ordinary. Now watch closely. With one snap, the master traps them in a glowing magic circle. So much for ordinary. Spatial magic, Cain stammers, completely stunned. What is the meaning of this all of a sudden? The master just grins, walking closer. No need to be so formal. You met someone very special out there, did you not? That question hits Cain like an absolute truck. Game over. He immediately realizes he was being spied on. Observation magic. When did you plant that on me? The master laughs, claiming it is just a hobby. Cain basically tells him to drop dead. Honestly, valid reaction. But the master gets straight to business. He wants Cain's honest thoughts on that wild barbarian from the white snowfield. Cain plays it totally safe, admitting he is really not sure what to make of the guy yet. So the master drops the insane stats. A demon realm barbarian who crushed a swordmaster in Cardo. That proves his strength, does it not? Wait, pause. Cain freezes. He defeated Carto. Master seems shocked. Cain is just finding out. He explains that rumors of Cardo failing his resurrection are already spreading like wildfire all over the magic tower. We are about to uncover a massive plot twist. He is actually a lich too, and claims he even paid respects to his fallen friend. Cain is totally unfazed. He dryly asks if a lich can even feel sad. Master insists friends matter when you live forever. But then he casually mentions Carto's most valuable artifact is missing. He claims to have no idea where it went. Yeah, sure buddy. Anyway, he hits Cain with the real question. Did that barbarian actually defeat Carto? Cain thinks about it for a second. Entirely possible. Lich points out that Cain hid this from the Emperor. Cain absolutely scoffs at the idea. He flat out calls the Emperor a madman. If he finds out about Cadell, a massive war is guaranteed. A wild barbarian versus a crazy Emperor. Yeah, that sounds exactly like a recipe for tearing the whole kingdom to shreds. The Lich Master finds this entire concept absolutely fascinating. Wait, could he solo the Empire? Cain is unsure, but he admits I felt the exact same energy from him that I felt from you. Instantly, the eye of the Lich glows with pure interest. Do not tell me a hero class. Cain refuses to confirm, but the Lich is completely sold. He knows Cadell is unbelievably valuable. That creepy look on his face has Cain sweating. Meanwhile, the guy they are stressing over is just casually strolling through town in his new adventurer gear. Suddenly, a woman trips. With lightning speed, Cadell catches her before she even hits the dirt. He flashes a charming smile. Oh dear, you really should be more careful. Are you completely all right? The woman just stares up at him, stunned. Cadell panics, thinking he scared her with his face again. But surprise, she just bows, says thanks, and walks off. No screaming. No running away. Nothing. Our boy is left standing there totally baffled. He is experiencing normal human interaction for the very first time. Another villager walks past and his brain breaks. He is absolutely floored. Makes you want to see what happens next, right? Alright, you and I are about to watch the ultimate misunderstanding unfold. Later on, Kettle sips tea with Lord Barsan in his absurdly fancy office. The Lord heard the crazy news. He asks if Ketal is okay after almost getting demon branded. Our guy just shrugs it right off. He claims everything is fine because he literally has zero clue what a brand even is. Barsan is totally speechless. Sure, the guy is an absolute beast, but this is a completely new level of dense. Ketal casually mentions that the vibe around town feels different. You mean the locals? The Lord asks. Yeah, everyone in the territory. The heavy sigh. The Lord drops a massive truth bomb. It is all about the wild rumors. Turns out every single surviving guard and merc has been running their mouths non-stop. And the tale they are spinning absolute legendary status. After the demon went down, everyone else just completely passed out. Except Kettle. When they finally woke up, his axe was literally humming with divine energy, glowing like a massive holy beacon. So now the entire town thinks Aquaz personally blessed him. They are hyping him up as the ultimate hero who fought the demon right alongside her. Finally, the single rusty gear in Ketal's brain clicks into place. So that is what happened. Barsan actually apologizes. He explains the gossip mutated into a full-blown myth before he could even try to fix the massive misunderstanding. Our boy connects the dots, so that is why nobody runs away screaming anymore. Barkan nods along. They do not see a monster now. They call him the demon opponent. Ketal just sits there soaking in his edgy new title. Demon opponent, huh? So this is what having actual clout feels like. Meanwhile, at the mercenary guild, Rosa drops some huge news. Flashing a massive smile, she congratulates him on the insane promotion. He is a C rank now. Kettle is completely speechless. Here is the part we all love to see. Skipping 3 whole ranks, Rosa beams, saying his epic feat totally earned it. A slow, super cocky smirk spreads across his face, and Rosa keeps the hype going. His badge is getting an upgrade, but since it is a custom order, it needs some time. Our boy is absolutely thrilled. A custom-made badge just for him. Rosa confirms that hitting C rank means you are officially a real guild-certified mercenary now. She adds that C ranks can waltz into almost any capital city or church without issues. Well, except for the imperial capital, obviously. Ketal points out the empire sounds insanely strict. Rosa totally agrees. Only those recognized by nobles can enter. She leans in close, dropping her voice. Honestly, nobody even knows what goes on inside. People only hear unsettling rumors, basically less info than they have on the demon realm. Ketal actually looks pretty concerned. It is that bad. Rosa quickly clears her throat, snapping back to reality. She explains he can take on almost any request now. He can even raid a rank dungeons assuming he brings a party. Ketal's eyes literally light up with imaginary dollar signs. Just imagining all that sweet loot and epic action brings back his signature cocky smirk. Cut straight to Alexandros, who practically spits his drink everywhere in pure shock. He cannot believe that actually happened, asking if everyone survived. Ketal casually mentions the demon is dead, and the Inquisitor gave the green light. So yeah, problem solved. Hayes, the cleric, lets out a massive sigh of relief. She is sitting with them and Kassan. Kassan is fanboying over how awesome the Inquisitor was. But Hayes slams the table and screams, "No, I know what you are thinking, but here is the real secret. Hayes did not actually pass out during that crazy fight. She saw everything. Ketal completely manhandled that demon. Aquaz just swooped in at the very last second to steal all the glory for a finished fight." Trying to shift the awkward vibe, Kassan asks what Ketal plans to do now as a big shot C rank. Our guy coolly replies that absolutely nothing changes. He will just keep doing mercenary work, but at C rank. Kassan is practically in tears over the humility. He thinks that is the most badass response ever. Meanwhile, Hayes is having a total internal meltdown, thinking, do not be fooled. That dude is definitely not human. Ketal flips the question, asking the squad about their goals. Kassan just shrugs. As D-rank scrubs, they really cannot do much of anything right now. He flat out admits his original life goal was just being a massive freeloader until he died. But now he wants to actually live his best life inspired by Ketal. Alexandros scoffs hard, calling him a bottom feeder for waiting this long. While those two start bickering like an old married couple, Ketal turns his gaze to Hayes, asking for her master plan. Totally flustered, she stammers out that she will just follow her goddess's will. Ketal remembers something Aquaz said earlier, and the second he drops that name, Hayes completely short-circuits. He recalls most Colossia servants are resting. Trust me, she is completely busted here. With only high ranks active, Hayes starts sweating bullets. What she frantically denies it all, insisting Aquaz absolutely must have been mistaken. Alright, you and I are jumping right back in. Ketal calmly accepts her terrible lie. But internally, she is having a massive meltdown. Is he waiting for her to confess or just trolling her for fun? One thing is certain, the poor girl is absolutely terrified of him right now. Much later that night at the Mercenary Guild, Rosa is happily packing up her desk. She is finally ready to clock out and bounce, but suddenly the door creaks open. Worn out boots step inside and Rosa's good mood instantly drops to zero. You've got to be kidding me. A mysterious hooded old man steps up asking to make a request. Rosa's brain just screams one word: overtime. She sighs. Forcing a polite customer service smile, she asks what kind of request he needs. The man clears his throat. He needs an escort mission for 2 people, himself and a young girl. Rosa starts typing the details. People and the final destination, he replies. She absolutely cannot believe it. An escort mission all the way to the Denian capital from this tiny backwater town. Insane. Her mind races. He speaks like a noble but dresses in absolute rags while hiding his face. This guy screams suspicious. He cautiously agrees to accept the request for now. But first things first, she tells him she needs to see some solid identification. The mysterious old man calmly slides a heavy metallic token across the table. Rosa's eyes practically pop out of her skull. A certified mercenary guild token. That is literally the ultimate exclusive pass of their world. Super rare. She stamps it verified and immediately gets down to business. All right, she says. Time to talk about the fee. Watch closely, because this gets good. The old guy reaches into his ragged cloak and pulls out 1 single gold coin. Rosa stares at the coin, then back at him. For this amount, you get 1 person. The old guy is stunned. Only 1. She breaks the harsh truth down. This is a high-risk, month-long bodyguard gig all the way to Denian. It is definitely no walk in the park. He desperately begs for at least 2 people. Rosa sighs, heavily regretting her life choices. She says it is technically possible, but he will be hiring from the bargain bin. A reliable guard needs to be at least D rank, but he insists on someone actually skilled. Rosa stands her ground. 1 skilled person is all that money buys. Her patience is totally wearing thin. She is wondering, why is this dude so painfully desperate? But eventually she softens up a bit. It is genuinely hard to find anyone willing to take a massive job from this remote town anyway. Finally, she agrees to try, warning him it will be tough. After he leaves, she notices the gold coin was filed down to hide its origin. Yep, this absolutely screams trouble. Later that night, the old man knocks on a heavy wooden door. A woman inside asks who is there. He answers, your loyal retainer. Oh, classic fantasy trope. The door opens, revealing a stunningly beautiful blonde woman named Elaine. She greets the old man Aaron and rushes him inside. Anxiously asking for updates, Aaron admits the guild accepted the request for now. She is relieved but asks the big question. And you and I know this hurts. Aaron cannot even look at her. Just 1. Elaine falls totally silent as Aaron apologizes, brutally admitting they are flat broke. She quietly says it cannot be helped. Meanwhile, Aaron starts guilt-tripping himself for getting scammed earlier. They try comforting each other, but they are completely crushed. Then they go full dramatic anime, crying, wailing, until someone yells at them to quiet down. Poor kids. She quietly asks how long the search will take. Aaron has 0 clue. Defeated, Elaine decides they should just sleep on it. Classic avoidance strategy. Aaron bows deeply, absolutely drowning in total shame. Just another fun night of pure dread. They are almost out of food. Aaron hates himself, but she shuts that down quickly, saying it is okay. Aaron states they absolutely cannot tell the local lord about their mess. Elaine completely agrees. Even hiring 1 single bodyguard is a massive financial risk. And then comes the big lore drop. She reminds him why they ran away. Their kingdom was swarmed by enemies, and they had 0 idea who to actually trust anymore. Aaron apologizes again for being so weak. Elaine asks if Denian is actually a safe haven. He confidently promises her it is. He explains the Denian king swore an oath to protect her, but he warns their enemies might attack Denian just for taking them in, and then he drops the ultimate bomb. You must survive Ella Mavroy, our princess. Boom. He is literally royalty on the run. If she dies, their kingdom falls. The princess worries though, can they really trust a random mercenary? Aaron grabs her hands, swearing their gold will buy someone trustworthy. So who is this lucky guard? She starts blushing, imagining some incredibly handsome, charming knight in shining armor. Oh, sweet summer child, you have 0 idea. Meanwhile, that handsome hero is literally just Catal. Sprawled out on his bed, bored to death, he thinks back to his old snowfield party. He remembers they were the only people who never tried to keep their distance from him. He assumes they are just living their usual loud lives. So where do we go from here? Is his quest really over? Alright, you and I are jumping right back in. That system window he had since arriving in this crazy fantasy world completely vanished. He remembers his first quest, just survive 1 week in that frozen hellscape. Literally just stay alive. Back then, that little blue quest screen was his only guide in the freezing cold. But once he finally escaped the snow, the entire system just randomly shut down. And now that everything is peaceful, he is actually bored out of his mind. He sits up fast, a sudden realization hitting him. Wait a minute, was that entire system only meant for the snowfield? Staring out at the night sky, he shrugs. Whatever it does not matter anymore. Thanks for the help system window. From now on, I am enjoying this world my way. Very next morning, Catal swaggers back into the guild, rocking his shiny new gear. Rosa has a new job for him, and he instantly perks up. An escort request. Rosa is absolutely beaming. You can practically see how desperately thrilled she is to dump this super sketchy job onto literally anyone. Naturally, Catal is curious. What exactly makes this specific job so incredibly exciting for her? She spells it out clearly. A D-rank mission to escort one woman and an old man straight to the capital of the Denian Kingdom. Sounds super easy, right? Well, Catal is definitely not impressed. Rosa warns him it is a crazy long trip, and he has to pack everything himself. He groans internally, figuring it is a total pain, but the pay is suspiciously high. And yep, there is always a catch, and that dark, ominous tone she suddenly uses. Oh yeah, that definitely hooks his attention. With a dead serious face, Rosa drops the bomb. This request is a total mess. She even offers him a free pass to refuse it. But Catal, he just flashes this massive sparkly grin. He laughs, telling her the danger makes it a perfect job. Rosa's brain completely short-circuits. We'll never understand this crazy guy's logic. Not in a million years. He just looks right back at the paper. The Denian Kingdom. That actually rings a bell. A tiny light bulb goes off inside that thick skull of his. He remembers Melina Akasha, the noble lady he saved back in the frozen wasteland. She literally told him to visit her kingdom, handing over her fancy family crest as proof. Flashing a massive smile, he slaps his hand on the table. This is absolute perfection. He is officially taking the job, but the very second he accepts the gig, something flashes in his peripheral vision. And bam, watch closely here because you are gonna love this. The holographic blue window pops right back up. Yep, look who decided to return with a brand new quest. Escort the client to the Denian Kingdom. Our boy is absolutely floored. Why reactivate now? And of course, Rosa cannot see the floating text at all. She just sees him staring at thin air like a total weirdo, awkwardly asking if he is feeling alright. Meanwhile, way across town, an old man named Aaron slams a door wide open to find a young woman. Elaine instantly panics, assuming their ruthless enemies finally track them down. But Aaron brings amazing news. The only C-rank mercenary in the entire area actually accepted their escort mission. Elaine's face completely lights up with pure hope. A C-rank. He happily says the meetup is set for tomorrow. Back with Catal, our guy is still buffering, trying to process the system's sudden return. Sitting alone in his room, he wonders why the quest log died after the demon realm just to magically reboot today. Maybe the system works outside the snowfield after all. Or maybe, just maybe, there is something way bigger and way crazier going on behind the scenes. The next day, a super dramatic storm rolls in as Elaine and Aaron reach the guild ready to meet their mysterious protector. Elaine nervously wonders what he will look like. She imagines a dashing, handsome knight or maybe a grizzled veteran covered in epic scars. Either way, she fully expects someone incredibly cool to walk through those doors. Showtime. The door creaks open, and I know what you are expecting, but Elaine's perfect fantasy. Yeah, it instantly shatters into a million pieces. Standing there is no handsome hero. It is a massive, terrifying, hulking monster with glowing white eyes. Kettle calmly introduces himself, but Elaine is absolutely frozen, stiff in pure terror. Sheer shock is literally too much. Her eyes roll all the way back and she completely passes out. Thank goodness Aaron was right there to catch her. Her guardian glares up at Kettle, furiously screaming to know who the heck he is. Kettle actually finds this reaction pretty hilarious. It has been a minute since someone looked at him like a total monster. Honestly, he was getting way too used to the hero treatment. Aaron frantically begs Rosa to confirm if this beast is really their guy. She calmly nods and starts the formal introduction. He officially announces, "Meet your escort, Barbarian Kettle Nim." Aaron is completely losing his mind. Are you kidding? A barbarian? He instantly demands a completely different mercenary. This is just an absolute joke. Rosa's face turns freezing cold. So you are openly doubting our mercenary guild, she asks. She flatly states the contract is void if he keeps complaining. As they loudly argue, Kettle just sighs. What a total train wreck. But suddenly, a voice interrupts. I will accept it. Elaine is fully awake and ready to take charge. Aaron protests, but she extends a hand to Kettle. Trust me, you and I will love this team up. She introduces herself as Elaine. Alright, stick with me here. The journey officially kicks off with Kettle taking the lead. His clients. They are practicing some extreme social distancing. Like a ridiculous amount. Kettle finally stops and turns around. Aren't they lagging way too far back? He figures sticking close is basic common sense, for actual protection. But those two instantly start waving their hands like they are guiding an airplane. We are totally fine, nobody is around, so this gap is perfect. Kettle just shrugs. If they want to be super weird about it, whatever. He just turns back around and keeps walking, leaving them completely in his dust. Elaine watches him, wondering how she dragged herself into this absolute mess. Her mind flashes straight back to last night's mercenary guild disaster. Kettle had introduced himself with this massive, goofy smile, completely oblivious to their pure terror. Meanwhile, Elaine was absolutely convinced she was about to drop dead from a heart attack. "Just trust me," he had grinned. "Your safety is 100% guaranteed." Panicking internally, all she could do was squeeze out a tiny little yes. Snap back to the present, and she is fully convinced this was a terrible mistake. Night finally falls, and Kettle declares camp time. He checks on his absolutely petrified clients, casually asking if they are holding up okay. It is getting way too dark to see which was their exact plan leaving so late. Aaron just nervously nods, literally clinging to Elaine's arm like a security blanket. Kettle finally realizes people are deeply terrified of his kind. Anyway, he casually reaches right for a belt pouch to set up the camp. "Now watch closely." Poof, he tosses a magical item and a massive tent just spawns. Aaron and Elaine's brains completely short-circuit. An artifact, they internally scream. How does a barbarian own something like that? Kettle looks confused. "Oh, this little thing," he asks, checking out the tent. "Got it from grinding guild requests." He explains it like a completely common loot drop, which only makes them freak out harder. Smoke is practically blowing out their ears. He offers up the tent, but Elaine nervously asks about his sleeping plans. Kettle just scoffs. He is totally used to sleeping outside. Compared to freezing snowfields, this dirt is paradise. Grinning, he offers to stand watch all night, flexing about that one time monsters hunted him for a full month straight, without sleep. "Okay, a little too extreme there, buddy." So he just smiles and tells them to sleep peacefully. Elaine instantly insists on taking watch turns, begging him not to push himself. Kettle tries refusing, but they are absolutely not taking. No, he genuinely thinks he is failing to earn their trust. "Bro, they are just terrified. You will execute them in their sleep." Next morning, Elaine crawls right out of that tent, looking like she wrestled a wild bear and lost. Aaron fared no better. He is basically just a lifeless zombie propped up against the fabric. She stumbles out, clutching a stomach, growling loud enough to wake the dead. Kettle overhears. "Hungry?" he asks. "Hang on, I will whip something up." Elaine just stares at him. Her brain is buffering. Total system failure. I know what you are thinking, but yes, this walking mountain of muscle starts cooking like an absolute master chef. Pure shock. A barbarian cooking. Is this a prank? Drooling everywhere, Aaron yells out, asking if he actually learned how to properly cook. Kettle just shrugs it off as a hobby. Flashback to the snowfields, his people literally ripping into raw monster meat. Gross. But our boy built different. He turned monster drops into fine dining. The ingredients were so toxic they almost killed him. But after endless trial and error, he fully mastered it. He proudly declares there is nowhere on earth he cannot whip up a decent meal. Compared to his brutal homeland cooking, here is child's play. He plates a shrimp pasta straight out of a 5-star restaurant. Elaine's brain freezes up. Panicking, she lies and says she hates greasy food. Yeah, right. She pulls out dry jerky instead, and Aaron nervously copies her move. Totally unbothered, Kettle calls it a shame and just happily eats the pasta all himself. Elaine just watches, mouth-watering, desperately craving a single bite. But her sheer panic and prejudice completely win out. She cannot bring herself to trust a barbarian's cooking. Later by night, something is seriously wrong with Elaine. She is groaning in pain, feet glowing an ominous shade of red. Aaron rushes over, totally panicking. "Your Highness, are you all right?" 3 whole days Aaron spent watching over a highly feverish Elaine. Turns out that sheltered princess life did not exactly prepare her for roughing it in the wild. He wakes smiling weakly, more worried about Aaron pulling double duty. And that is where we pause. Trust me, you will want to see what happens next. But Aaron, the absolute gentleman, he just smiles it off. "I am fine," he jokes. "And honestly, you and I both know he is just playing the tough guy so Elaine can pass out peacefully." The poor girl is totally drained. Watching over the sleeping princess, his face drops the act. Dead serious. She is family now. He makes a silent vow to protect her life, even if it costs him his own. But the next morning, it brings the glorious, mouth-watering sound of sizzling breakfast. Our dynamic duo stares miserably, chewing on dry rocks, basically while Catal grills a 5-star feast right in front of them. Finally, Elaine snaps. She shoots to her feet full of pure determination, absolutely startling poor Aaron. She announces she is stepping away. Catal, possessing the social grace of a brick, immediately asks bathroom. Then he actually apologizes, completely short-circuiting her brain. A barbarian apologizing error 404. You can literally see the gears grinding in her head. Something just shifted. She turns and walks off. Seeing this, Catal finally decides it is time to speak up. "I know you do not trust me, but I am your escort," he says, holding up a perfectly grilled juicy steak. "I would appreciate some trust. And I need you to watch closely." He hits them with those puppy dog eyes. Oh, this guy is good. And boom, the guilt trip hits Aaron like an absolute truck. Totally flustered, he stammers that he understands. With that, Catal presents his masterpiece. Here, fresh venison. Want some? Aaron is just completely utterly hypnotized. You can literally see the sizzling meat reflected in his eyes. The proud knight has folded. Meanwhile, Aline actually runs off to a stream for a good cry, choking down sad, dry jerky all alone. Starving legs killing her, she is at her absolute breaking point. But she tries to stay strong, convincing herself that poor Aaron must be suffering even more. That noble resolve completely shatters though when she peeks through the bushes. There is Aaron happily stuffing his face with venison. The absolute betrayal. Her most trusted knight, her loyal protector eating the enemy's barbecue. She whispers his name, totally heartbroken. Busted Aaron drops his fork, panicking instantly. Princess, I swear this is a misunderstanding. Keatle. He just sits there watching this entire soap opera unfold with a very curious look. Aline storms over, grabbing Aaron. Misunderstanding. We swore to be wary of these wild barbarians. Aaron tries explaining that maybe, just maybe, Keatle is actually a decent guy. Aline is not having it. That is when Keatle interrupts, turning to her. Ah, right. So that is why you refused my food. He lays it all out, mentioning the split night watch. You split the watch because you do not trust me, huh? The heavy accusation just hangs right in the air. Our heroes realize they messed up big time. Keatle sighs. He gets it. The world hates his kind, and honestly, other barbarians probably earned that brutal reputation. He knows just saying he is not a violent savage is totally pointless right now, but then a brilliant idea hits him. A sly grin spreads, and I know what you are thinking. Oh yes, he is about to play them. You are misunderstanding one major thing here. With a confident smile, he drops an absolute bombshell. I am not a barbarian. And just like that, Keatle flips the script, leaving his clients completely and utterly speechless. Yeah, that will do it. He leans in, going full dramatic mode. To be perfectly precise, I was born a barbarian, but not raised as one. Aaron and Aline just stand there, brains actively buffering as they try to process this crazy new piece of lore. So Keatle starts weaving this incredibly tragic backstory about his wiped-out tribe. He claims a noble adventurer actually raised him. Then, with a perfectly straight face, his inner voice speaks. Of course, I just made all that up. But whatever, he lands his final point with a charming smile. Barbarian by birth, sure, but completely civilized by upbringing. He acts all sincere while his brain is screaming, this is total nonsense, but hey, it is working. They both look incredibly embarrassed. Aline flashes back to how poorly they treated him all over a single label. He figures he must have faced this awful prejudice forever, yet he was still nothing but sweet to them. Overcome with deep shame, she gives him a completely sincere apology, admitting her fear took control. Keatle smiles gently. Inside, he is screaming massive success. While Aline still stews in guilt, he offers a hand. Looking a little confused by the modern handshake, she takes it. Ice officially broken, Aline gives him a huge smile. But hold up. Deep in the shadows, someone powerful is watching. It is the Tower Master Lich. Using his eye of observation, magic, though he cannot hear a thing, he thinks, yep, Kane was totally right. That barbarian is weird. He notes, Keatle acts way too civilized for his kind, so naturally, he leans in for a closer look. Bad move, buddy. The exact second he shifts, Keatle's eyes flash. Busted, the Lich freezes. Did he just see me? And trust me, you are going to want to see what happens next. Stick with me here. Keatle glares at the trees. Someone is watching. Before she can even process that, he says he will be right back and vanishes. Boom, he launches off the ground. In a literal flash, he crosses the gap, appearing directly above the completely dumbfounded Lich. Talk about a wild surprise party. The Lich completely panics, instantly casting a fire shield right as Keatle comes crashing down. The entire forest absolutely erupts. He is stunned. That barrier was practically indestructible. When the smoke clears, Keatle is standing there untouched. Before the Lich can even blink, bam, direct hit, Keatle shoves the guy's face into the dirt, warning him to behave. The Lich's tough guy act vanishes. He just starts screaming frantically, and the first thing he yells, Sir Keatle, I admire you. This leaves our overpowered hero completely baffled. After learning the guy is named Patrick, Keatle literally drags him to camp like a bad kitten. Elaine is just standing there confused. Keatle casually shrugs. I have no idea. He was creeping on us, then suddenly claimed he is my biggest fanboy. Dangling by his shirt collar, Patrick goes on a massive rant about how Keatle is his absolute hero and idol. Of course, he is lying through his teeth. His internal monologue proves he is just trying to get close to his target. I know what you're thinking. Keatle is not buying it either. He cannot just release this fake fanboy without some hard proof. And just like that, Keatle gets an absolutely terrible idea. Holding the shady mage hostage, he flashes a totally evil grin. Yeah, this will work. The poor Lich is left paralyzed with fear, his brain screaming, what is happening right now? So what is his brilliantly awful plan? He literally ties him up. You're talking about a top-tier world mage here. Our poor Lich had this flawless Patrick disguise prepared for a massive spy mission. He really thought he was a genius. But that master plan just crashed into a very real, very tight rope. Keatle gives the knot one final yank, looking incredibly proud of his handiwork. Oh yeah, that is definitely secure. Then he just turns around, says it is time to go, and drags his new prisoner away like a dog on a very weird walk. Patrick goes pale as a ghost. Being dragged through the dirt like a sack of potatoes is absolutely destroying his villain dignity. He lets out a massive sigh. This is a first for him, but hey, look on the bright side. He gets a front row seat to the Kido show. Getting dragged along, he recalls the intel from Swordmaster Kane. It detailed Kido's unbelievable speed and raw insane power that could literally punch high-level magic into absolute dust. Even stuck in this weak human form, Patrick was super confident he could beat a superhuman. Now he is seriously wondering if Kido is hero tier. Finally, Elaine speaks up. Lord Kido, I need to confess something. He glances back. Oh, so you are finally ready to talk. Elaine is totally shocked. He knew she had a secret. All that late night sneaking around was super obvious. Kido just nods. It was incredibly easy to spot. Elaine looks completely busted as he says he gets why trusting him was hard. Elaine gives a heartfelt apology, ready to confess everything. She gives him a free pass to ditch the quest completely. But right before she drops the truth, pay close attention here because this is where it gets crazy. Kido interrupts her. Wait, we have company. Right on cue, the nearby bushes start rustling. Elaine visibly flinches. They are absolutely not alone. Two heavily armored knights step out of the shadows. As a whole squad surrounds them, Kido turns to Elaine. Looks like they want you. Elaine is completely frozen. The leader steps up, introducing himself as Captain Lucento Edenheimer, and addresses her as Princess Elaine of Lucian. Tied-up mage overhears this, and everything clicks. The Lucian Kingdom. Oh, this plot just got 100 times better. Captain Lucento steps closer, saying they have searched everywhere, and the king is losing his mind. He begs her to come home. But instead of looking, relieved, Elaine's face twists into pure absolute panic. The captain turns to Kido, essentially saying, thanks for babysitting Her Highness, we will take it from here. But Elaine just drops one single word. No. Everyone is shocked, but she presses harder. Who are you? Lucento looks baffled. She clenches her fists, yelling it again. Who the heck are you? He stutters his name, but she snaps back. Do not make me laugh. I know the actual captain, and you are totally fake. He accuses this imposter of hijacking the castle, replacing her loved ones, and demands to know exactly what he did to her real parents. While this happens, Patrick discreetly wiggles his fingers, casting a quick spell to scan the suspicious knight. But the result shocks him. This guy is 100% human. Elaine keeps screaming, you want to devour me and steal our kingdom too, right? Tears fall, but her voice is pure steel. So what do you and I make of this cliffhanger? I will avenge everyone who disappeared. The knight captain literally just listens to her entire speech in dead silence before letting out this massive dramatic sigh. He turns to the crowd. Did you hear that? The princess is completely delusional. Elaine completely snaps. Delusional, but he calmly tells her to use some common sense. Is she really claiming everyone else changed except her? Watch closely here. You and I can actually see her total confidence starting to crack. Claiming she needs immediate mental treatment, he holds his hand out. Your Highness, stop this nonsense right now and come with us. Totally trapped and out of moves, Elaine's hope shatters. She whispers a desperate plea for anyone. And right on cue, a voice cuts in. What exactly are you doing? Elaine looks up as Cadell steps right between her and the knight. The captain glares absolute daggers at him. Step aside. But Cadell just smirks, totally standing his ground. Yeah, afraid I cannot do that. Elaine just watches him completely stunned. Lucento is so not amused. He glares at Cadell, ordering him to move right this second, but our guy does not budge. I really cannot do that. Lucento's face goes super dark. He warns him, if you will not move, I am going to use deadly force. He does not wait for answers. The commander charges, swinging his massive blade right at Cadell's head. But the attack stops dead when Cadell just grabs his face. With one casual flick, he sends him flying. The other knights just stare in pure shock, acting like their brains completely blue-screened. Commander staring at Cadell, they scream, what did you just do? He states the obvious. You attacked first, and my job is eliminating threats to my employer. Meanwhile, Lucento struggles to his feet, gripping his gut. He is completely winded from just that one single throw. I know what you're thinking. He's totally outmatched, so he tries gaslighting our guy instead. Cadell is not buying that garbage. You still do not get it, do you? It is literally my job to believe my employer. Elaine watches him, and for the first time in forever, a tiny spark of real hope appears. Well, safe to say, negotiation has failed. Lucento furiously growls, you are all totally insane. Cadell just smiles right back. Well, that is definitely not for you to decide. He turns to Elaine, who looks pretty startled. They appeared without giving off any presence, he notes. He has zero idea what that means, so Cadell dumbs it down. Basically, these dudes just magically popped out of nowhere. The light bulb finally goes off for Elaine and our captured Lich Patrick. Oh, that is definitely bad. Cadell faces the knights again. So how exactly did you show up so fast, they just give him the silent treatment? Lucento brushes it off. Does that even matter? Stop nitpicking and just hand over the princess. Cadell narrows his eyes. Refusing to answer, fine, I will personally escort her to the kingdom of Denion, then he boldly declares. Tears well up. Elaine finally realizes someone is actually fighting in her corner. She remembers how literally nobody, not even her own family, ever believed her. Meanwhile, Lucento has absolutely had enough of this annoying talking phase. His hand grips his sword. It is go time. Cadell calmly tells everyone to stand back. He has totally got this handled. Elaine completely trusts him now, but pleads for him to be careful. These guys are the strongest men in the entire kingdom. Meanwhile, Lucento orders everyone to draw their swords. Cadell cracks a smile. Oh, he looks seriously excited. From the sidelines, Patrick scans their stats. The knights are second tier, but every single one can use mystic arts. Their commander, though, he is first tier. Lucento shouts the order. Take down the barbarian. You have permission to kill. Like a vicious pack of wolves, the knights surge forward, surrounding Cadell in a blur of steel. He just stands perfectly still as intense purple energy ripples out. Here's where it gets wild. Watch him effortlessly dismantle these guys for us. Block done. He just unleashes a massive shockwave from his body, completely blasting several heavy armored knights away. Hitting the dirt, Cadell casually yawns. Group attacks are honestly super annoying. Lucento is absolutely furious. He screams at his squad, do not stop. Attack all at once. 6 knights launch into the air, aiming to absolutely crush Cadell from every single angle. Yeah, that is definitely not working. Cadell turns into a literal whirlwind, catching and violently throwing every knight as they land. Finally losing his mind, Lucento charges in himself, sword glowing bright green. Die, you freak. Elaine screams in pure terror, convinced this is game over for her protector. But as the glowing blade slams down, Cadell actually catches it with his teeth. Lucento's eyes bulge out. The man is completely broken. You can literally see his brain just shutting off. The sickening crunch, Cadell's eyes flash purple and he shatters the enchanted steel using just his jaw. The raw force sends Lucento flying backwards. Cadell just stands there completely unbothered. Want to keep going, the remaining knights are already on their knees, totally defeated. Shaking with fear, Lucento orders a retreat, and just like that, poof, they vanish. Cadell turns back to check the group. He tells Elaine he will finish the job, but first he needs the full backstory. 0 secrets allowed. She completely agrees, no more secrets. Patrick is freaking out nearby, and trust me, you are going to want to stick around to see what happens next. Siora is supposed to be totally unstoppable, but Kettle literally catches it with his teeth. Patrick just stares, realizing this dude is not just physically strong. Stick with me here because you and I both know Kettle is a walking mystery. Later, settled around the campfire, he finally pops the big question. Time to spill it. What is the real story? Aaron looks completely grim and drops a massive bombshell. He says their entire kingdom has been secretly replaced. By the time he and the princess notice, the whole place was already taken over. Kettle instantly connects the dots, realizing that is why they packed up and ran for it. Aaron nods. If they stayed even a second longer, they would be next in line for a creepy body snatcher makeover. He mentions this absolute madness started roughly 1 year ago. That exact timeline immediately makes Kettle's ears perk up. Exactly 1 year. Kettle thinks back to Inquisitor Aquas, who mentioned that exact same time frame during her scary warning. The demon seal is leaking, dungeons are spawning everywhere, and evil monsters are just popping out. All kicking off 1 year ago. Yeah, that is way too specific to be random. Even that weird guy from his last quest was rambling about it. He completely ignored it as pure crazy talk back then, but now, maybe they were actually right. Aaron continues admitting they had zero clue where these creepy distortions originated. Brought in top-tier mages and mystics, but every single one of them got replaced too. Kettle is honestly super fascinated by this. He then asks how Aaron managed to spot the fakes. Aaron admits it is super hard to explain. He just feels it. The aura around those replaced people just feels totally wrong. There is this creepy vibe he cannot shake even when they act perfectly normal. He did not even believe the princess initially. Not until totally impossible stuff started happening. Here is where you and I need to pay close attention. Aaron takes us back to his servant days, mentions a shy maid named Kathy. She was basically terrified of everything, especially the creepy castle ghost stories. He actually admits to pranking her with scary stories constantly, but then completely out of nowhere, Kathy just stopped reacting. No more screaming at all. Initially, he figured she finally grew a spine and toughened up. But the real massive red flag happened later. Kathy's job included cleaning these huge, scary statues. And one random day, her absolute worst nightmare completely came true. A gigantic stone statue completely collapsed right on top of her. Miraculously, she survived, but honestly, anyone else would have been crushed to death. And here is the scary part. Kathy did not flinch once. She was literally only stressed about getting punished for breaking it. In that exact moment, Aaron knew this chick was absolutely not the real Kathy. Kettle nails it perfectly. A terrified girl suddenly stops being scared of literal death. Super interesting, right? Aaron says she acted perfectly normal outside, but the real Kathy was completely gone for good. After that, he secretly tested others in the castle and realized mostly everyone was already replaced. Kettle asks if that is why they escaped. Aaron nods. Sticking around meant they were definitely next on the menu. So Kettle drops the next logical question. Why run to the Danan Kingdom specifically? Elaine finally speaks up, explaining only the Danan King can issue a legendary human declaration. You and I both love a good legend, right? She talks about an ancient time when one dude wanted a kingdom exclusively for humans. So he actually made a crazy deal with a nameless god. He got one totally broken ability, the power to instantly detect who is human. Armed with this insane power, that man literally founded the Danan Kingdom we know about today. Elaine wraps up stating only his direct descendants can pull off this special human declaration. Kettle just smirks. Something like that really exists. This world is crazy. He admits it is a solid plan. Elaine looks up, literal tears in her eyes, asking if he still wants to help them. He just flashes her this totally warm smile. Nothing has changed. I made a firm promise to escort you, and I am delivering. Overwhelmed with total relief, Elaine clasps her hands and thanks him endlessly. And then she drops a ridiculously massive promise. If he completes this crazy quest, she will grant him absolutely any wish. Kettle smoothly accepts, saying he cannot wait. Aaron's jaw literally hits the floor in pure panic. Later on, Patrick slides over to Kettle to ask the real question. So, do you actually believe her wild story? Kettle glances back. Not entirely, but honestly I think she is telling the truth. Patrick pushes back hard, reminding him those turquoise knights they fought were absolutely human. Kettle quietly agrees. Patrick immediately lays out the brutal stakes. Kettle is essentially declaring total war on an entire nation, knowing this secret is an absolute death sentence. So what do you and I make of this? Is he really just doing it for the contract? After a super long pause, Cadell finally confesses, well, that is part of the reason. Then this huge, absolutely psychotic grin spreads across his face as he drops his real motive. Missing out would be a crime, he says. Patrick is speechless. Stick with me, you and I are watching pure madness unfold. Cadell is completely driven by the chaotic thrill of it all. Patrick just stares at him, seriously wondering if this guy is their savior or a total lunatic. He asks if Cadell is just tagging along for the contract. Cadell looks down, admitting that's only part of it. Honestly, the story is just too good. His eyes are literally shining with pure hype. The guy isn't here for cash. He is doing it for the plot. Patrick is completely losing his mind. He stammers, "Are you serious? Doing all this just for fun?" Cadell's eyes instantly flash demonic purple, flashing a genuinely terrifying fanged smile. What else do you need? The man is a total adrenaline junkie. Cadell is just extremely hyped for the crazy adventure, a monster, swapping places without anyone noticing. How weird, he notes. Meanwhile, Patrick is definitely having some very different thoughts. Oh yeah. Beneath that whole fanboy routine, the leech's real nature slips out. He is absolutely desperate to study Cadell. And by study, he literally means dissecting the barbarian piece by piece to decode his powers. Totally normal, healthy thoughts, right? The very next day, the journey resumes. Patrick basically just accepted his crazy fate. Now he is buckling in. Let's sit back and watch this wild story unfold together. Suddenly, an arrow rips through the air, but Cadell, being an absolute tank, casually snatches it mid-flight. This ambush sends Elaine and Aaron into an instant full-blown panic, Cadell completely unfazed. He just smirks and says, "Guerrilla warfare, huh? Honestly, not a terrible strategy." Then boom, 4 heavily armed knights drop from the trees. Cadell calmly adds that said it is not exactly the right answer either. The absolute disrespect here. With just one massive pulse of raw energy, he sends all 4 of those knights flying backwards. Smash! They crash so violently their metal armor literally shatters. One guy even coughs up blood. Yeah, that is definitely going to hurt. The busted knights scramble up and run away, calling him a monster. I mean, they aren't exactly wrong. Cadell looks low-key proud of himself. Elaine calls him incredible, but he just shrugs it off like it was nothing. Weren't they just weak? Elaine nervously pushes him for a real answer. Seriously, why did you just let them live? She thinks he held back for their safety. But Cadell says it has nothing to do with them, leaving her super confused. Flashing a sly grin, he turns back around. There is something I need to confirm. Right on cue, another squad of identical knights rolls up aggressively, demanding he hand over the princess. Cadell just stares at them, absolutely unimpressed. It is like glitchy NPCs stuck on a loop. Boom, he is suddenly choking out one knight while the others are already out cold on the dirt. He closely checks the knight's spotless armor. That armor, I literally destroyed it a few hours ago. The party is baffled, but he points to the scratches. You and I both see it perfectly identical. Now, this is getting wild. He casually drops the guy, letting the squad run away again. Elaine is completely lost, so Cadell explains the literally impossible truth. Their broken gear was completely restored. Aaron chimes in, saying that level of magic requires a full day and a massive complex setup. This is way too fast. Cadell agrees. Something entirely different is going on here. He is finally putting the puzzle pieces together. He figured it out. These guys are literally just respawning. They get beat, turn into red spirits, and just pop back up fully reset. Now, only one final brutal test remains. Like clockwork, the respawn knights show up screaming the exact same battle cry. Completely ignoring them, Cadell looks right at Elaine. Ready for his final experiment, he grips his heavy axe. In the very next second, the blade is dripping with fresh blood. Cadell stands over the dead knight, noting that since they actually have human bodies, his axe met some physical resistance. He glances back at his completely horrified clients, casually stating that this bloody test confirms his crazy theory. Elaine steps forward, looking super shaken. Cadell turns to her and asks a very pointed question, "Can you do it?" Her mind instantly flashes back to watching the knights from a balcony, specifically a young guy named Kay. She remembers him transforming into a total stranger, but watching him actually die for real. Still incredibly traumatic. In her memories, she screamed for it all to stop, but the corrupted knight just blindly demanded she be captured. Back in the present, the whole party is completely stunned, processing the madness. Aaron is totally speechless, and Elaine's terrified reaction gives Cadell all the proof he needs. He smirks, theory completely confirmed. Later at the campfire. "So what do you and I make of this?" Elaine finally shatters the awkward silence, stating the obvious: they definitely died. Cadell just stares deep into the flames, looking dead serious. "Indeed," he replies. Absolutely zero sugarcoating from this guy. The terrifying image of those knights with glowing purple eyes and twisted smiles flashes through Elaine's mind, leaving her shaking. You and I are jumping right in. Cadell is analyzing these fearless enemies. He realizes they simply cannot die. Honestly, bro figures they just have some absolutely insane plot armor going on. Whatever these things are, they definitely are not human anymore. He casually hands a warm soup bowl to the freezing princess. He asks if she has any clue what is happening, but she just admits she is completely lost. Coming back from death is not really living. Deep stuff. Still, she drops one wild theory: maybe these creeps are from the demonic realm. Hearing demonic realm instantly shifts Cadell into deadly serious mode. His eyes immediately flare up with that epic signature white glow. Playtime is officially over. His entire vibe flips. The demonic realm, he asks. Things are getting incredibly real right now. Elaine confirms it, describing a totally twisted and unknowable wasteland. If these respawning freaks are actually demons, it explains literally everything. And right on cue, watch what happens next. Quest number 785 suddenly pops up for Cadell. Our boy thinks he just cracked the entire code. He wonders if his system only triggers for demonic realm stuff. Just a little full of himself today. But Aaron completely shuts that down. He insists demons cannot just waltz straight into their world like that. Cadell looks super confused, but Aaron is dead serious. Apparently 0 demons have crossed over since the absolute dawn of time. Cadell flashes a signature smirk and calls him out. So it is just a guess, based on dusty old legends, right? Elaine points out that things have been crazy weird lately. A heavily sweating Aaron has to agree. Detective Cadell connects the dots. He asks if the massive distortions from a year ago might have somehow messed with the demonic realm. The princess soaks all this in with a deadly serious look. She admits that is a terrifyingly real possibility. Cadell seriously ponders dreadful monsters escaping. Meanwhile, Patrick throws him the ultimate side-eye, thinking that is rich coming from you. Fast forward to morning. The annoying welcome party is back. Those knights return loudly, demanding the princess. But Cadell is not sweating it at all. Actually, he is sporting a massively wicked grin today. Bro is actually enjoying himself. He casually strolls past a corpse, noting how 3 deaths later, they always respawn perfectly fine. Super creepy. Elaine is utterly disgusted, clenching her fist hard and calling them totally revolting monsters. She is definitely not having fun. The princess never signed up for this mess. But Cadell, he treats it like a puzzle. He starts wondering what their actual endgame objective really is. Elaine has a solid theory. They plan to devour her kingdom, massively grow their army, and conquer the entire continent. Just classic villain stuff. Cadell is totally not buying it. Smiling slyly, he says, it cannot be that simple. Our boy loves being a contrarian. He points out that if they just wanted pure destruction, they would have finished her off ages ago. They had so many chances. You and I noticed this too, right? They never attack at night when human defenses are the absolute weakest. Super suspicious. He casually smacks another knight away mid-lecture. If you are literally immortal, why not just Zerg rush the enemy? Why the hit and run? He tells the totally stunned princess. These things do not act like regular monsters. It is almost like they genuinely believe they are still human. Which is exactly why he flashes a wicked grin. He has a brilliant idea. Elaine and Aaron look absolutely terrified. Because his brilliant master plan, straight up kidnapping. He somehow captured a knight who is now tied up and screaming empty threats. This is totally fine. He claps his hands with a massive friendly smile. Now then, let us have a little conversation. Even the captured lich Patrick can only watch this madness unfold. He just thinks this guy is completely insane. Aaron absolutely loses his mind, demanding answers. When Cadell claims it is a sincere conversation, Aaron just completely snaps. Talk to a monster. The captured knight looks incredibly baffled by this. A monster? What are you even talking about? I'm human. Elaine furiously screams at him to shut up, calling him a disgusting monster for daring to imitate a human voice. She literally watched him die and revive over and over again. And now he expects her to believe he is a normal human. Absolutely no chance. His humanity card is completely revoked. But the knight keeps desperately pleading, "We are not monsters. We are human. Princess, you have to believe me." This is the absolute final straw for Elaine. She fully loses it, screaming to stop treating her like she is insane. She accuses them of eating her parents, terrified they will turn her into a monster next. The knight frantically denies everything. No, that is not it. The princess will remain exactly as she is right now. That specific creepy phrasing stops her cold. What does that mean? Cadell and Patrick instantly snap to attention. They caught that slip too. He lacks the full plan, but trust me, you need to hear what comes next. Stick with me here, things are about to get crazy. Elaine has absolutely had enough. She turns her back, totally done talking to a guy spouting nonsense. But right as she walks away, Cadell stops her cold. A dark look of realization hits his face. So, that's how it is. Oh, this just got interesting. He glares at the princess, dropping one chilling question. Elaine, do you even consider yourself human? Boom. Her entire worldview completely shattered. Heavy silence drops. Elaine is absolutely baffled. She scoffs, looking at him like the answer is glaringly obvious. His eyes glow. I see. But Elaine totally misses the hint, thinking he's just calling her a monster as an insult. Before she can finish her rant crack, a sickening wet tearing sound echoes out. Pure horror flashes in her eyes, bursting straight from her chest. A grotesque, fleshy, scale-covered nightmare. What the heck is that thing? Cadell just watches, holding a grim, knowing look. She stares down, utterly traumatized by the freakish monster ripping out of her own body. Yeah, that's a massive problem right there. Wait, was that whole chest-bursting horror show just a nightmare? Elaine jolts awake, violently gasping for air like she just saw a ghost. Aaron scrambles to her side, frantically checking on her. But she's completely dazed, panicking, and having zero clue where she even is. Then the memory slams into her like a truck. Recalling Cadell's creepy words, she looks down. Now watch closely, because here's the twist. She expects a massive hole, but Cadell's voice cuts the silence. So you're awake. Yep, he's just standing there, arms crossed, looking ridiculously smug. Elaine completely loses it, screaming to know what happened after that explosion. Cadell calmly drops the bomb. She had a totally fatal wound. But look at her now, 100% perfectly fine. Not a single scratch left. While her brain short-circuits trying to process this, Cadell hits her again. Fully healed, like nothing happened. Exactly like those undead knights. He even checked Aaron while she slept. And yep, he's the exact same. The devastating truth finally sinks in. It is way too late. She's one of them. Outside by the fire, Cadell meets up with Patrick. The Lich immediately asks how Her Royal Highness is handling her massive identity crisis. Cadell says she is an absolute wreck. But Patrick chuckles. Honestly, she's taking it pretty well. The Lich cuts straight to business. How long did you know? Cadell shrugs off his early suspicions, then coyly admits he knew for sure from day one. Turns out, Cadell sensed a very familiar, creepy aura on Elaine and Aaron right away. Detail Patrick's elite magic senses totally missed. Super awkward. But wait, that wasn't his only clue. He noticed she flat out rejected his meals, surviving on literally nothing but jerky for 3 days straight. A pampered princess can't just survive on pure willpower. Patrick is genuinely mind-blown by this logic. Barbarian turned master detective. Just then, Aaron calls out. Elaine slowly steps right out of the tent. Her expression hardened with pure resolve. She boldly declares they are marching straight to the Dinyan Kingdom. Cadell smirks, glad she finally locked in. But before packing up, he stares into the dark woods. Isn't it time you showed yourself? We all know that feeling, right? Zero magic detected, just pure barbarian instincts screaming at him. Grins, proud of his own gut feeling. Poof, a shimmering figure materializes from thin air. A seriously powerful old wizard rocking a classic pointy hat. Elaine and Patrick freeze. Cadell's just surprised by the high-tier invisibility spell. The old guy introduces himself as Adamant Riche, the absolute chief mage of Lutein. Easy title. He says he's here to escort them home. Cadell grips his axe for a fight, but the mage waves it off. Not necessary. The wizard faces Elaine, calmly stating it's time to head back to the royal palace. He warns her trip might cause a massive diplomatic incident. A single tear drops down her cheek. She bitterly snaps back. Why does any of that matter? She's just a monster pretending to be human now. Wow, that got dark fast. A monster, huh? The wizard strokes his beard. Sure, they've changed, but that doesn't mean they lost their true identities. Staring into her soul, he says, if anything changed, it's only this. leaving that cryptic cliffhanger floating in the air. Adamant calmly insists she's simply becoming more complete. He swears she is still the rightful princess of her beloved kingdom. Oh, how comforting, but then his eyes go dead cold. He reveals her ultimate destiny, becoming their absolutely flawless queen. Okay, major red flags here. Flawless queen. Yeah, that is 100% code for a brainwashed puppet ruler. Cadell suddenly brings up the ship of Theseus. You know, that ancient ship preserved by the people of Athens? As the old wood rotted, every single plank was replaced with a stronger one, until finally, every original piece of that ship was completely gone. Not one single splinter remained. So what do you and I make of Cadell's classic question? Is it even the same ship at this point? Honestly, this guy cannot read a room. You and I are about to watch Elaine completely break down as he calls the Lutane Kingdom a giant ship of Theseus. Just look at her horrified face. Suddenly, the old mage steps right up. His aura is heavy, way too intimidating. He stares Elaine dead in the eyes. Please return now, princess. Your place is in the Lutane Kingdom. Seriously, my stranger danger alarm is ringing. The poor girl stammers, completely paralyzed by this creepy old guy's demand. She is totally frozen in panic. Cadell leans in, flashing a wild grin. Want me to make him disappear? The mage instantly shifts his deadly glare over to Cadell. Barbarian, you know we are exactly the same. Why stand in my way? But Cadell just looks completely bored. Who cares? I honestly give zero rips about what you are. He stands his ground, blocking the mage like an absolute wall. I am just doing my job and protecting my boss. Elaine is completely zoning out. Her brain is short-circuiting. She is not human. She feels like a massive fake. But I am not Elaine. I am just... Talk about an identity crisis. But Cadell completely shuts that down with a flat no. Not happening on his watch. Tears fall down her face as he drops the exact words she needed. To me, you are Elaine. He tells her he never even met the original one. The girl who hired him, his travel buddy, that is his Elaine. The person I want to protect is the Elaine standing right here. Now pay close attention here, because our guy just became a total knight in shining armor. It's all up to her. What do you want to do, Elaine? She hesitates. Her hands grip her chest, face completely twisted up with panic and confusion, but then click. Her eyes sharpen with absolute resolve. I am not going back. Cadell grins like a proud dad. Boss's orders. Guess that settles it. The mage just sighs, his face turning pitch black. So it comes to this. Oh, it definitely does. Cadell barks his order. Patrick, get them out of here. Lich nods, pulling Elaine and Aaron totally out of the blast radius. Once they are safe, the mage sneers. You actually seem to be enjoying this. The barbarian flashes an insane smirk. Oh, I am. You look like one seriously tough mage. Oh man, he is hyped. Let's see what kind of flashy magic you've got. He literally lives for a good fight. Adamant's robe explodes with a blinding blue aura. You will regret crossing me, barbarian. Famous last words. Power surges around him. He starts chanting some ancient spell, warping the air itself. But before he can even finish a sentence, Cadell blitzes forward in a purple blur, popping up right in his face. Skip the monologue, boom. Cadell's brutal punch connects. The mage is totally obliterated in a massive crimson explosion. Cadell just smirks, clenching his dripping fist. Rule 1 for fighting mages: knock them out before they cast a single thing. He watches the splattered crimson turn into this super creepy swirling red mist. Right on cue, the mist quickly morphs back into the mage, looking absolutely terrified. You and I both saw that right. Absolute madness. Cadell's speed is so unbelievably broken that the guy couldn't even blink. Totally speed blitzed. Cadell casually wonders if this annoying regeneration has a limit, then just stomps the ground. Boom, massive rock spikes shoot up and skewer the mage instantly. Cadell blinks. Well, I guess that works too. Adamant gets shredded again, but his eyes glow with pure rage as he charges up a counter. Massive tree roots explode out of the dirt, twisting up to form this absolutely monstrous wooden golem. He screams burn to ash and drops a gigantic fire blast that literally swallows his own golem. Watching the fireworks, Patrick realizes Adamant is just spamming highest tier spells like they cost nothing. Then it clicks. Adamant has infinite mana. It literally restores itself every time his body does. Talk about a totally busted cheat code. But even with that broken skill, Patrick knows the outcome. He picked the absolute worst opponent. The giant fire blast explodes. As the smoke clears, Adamant is horrified. Cadell is completely gone. And before he even twitches, Cadell spawns right behind him, fists crackling. The mage finally realizes his mistake. That is no ordinary human. That is a monster. Cadell is barely warming up. A total psycho grin spreads across his face. Honestly, he is impressed. Mages are this tough. Adamant's eyes bulge in pure terror as Cadell lunges, moving so stupidly fast no one can track him. Flash of purple, spray of red, Cadell's arm blurs into an absolutely savage backhand, launching the poor mage's head into orbit. Pop goes the head. Cadell stands over the wrecked body, just staring down at his own completely soaked fist. He squints, looking closely at the liquid. Something feels totally off about this stuff. It is not normal. The headless corpse melts into a cloud of red dust, instantly reforming into a very angry adamant. He's fully restored, screaming, "What on earth are you? Trust me, you and I are already over this guy. Stick with me here because you and I are about to watch this arrogant mage throw an absolute tantrum." Cadell just hits him with that totally calm, mocking smile. "Just a normal barbarian," he says. Classic troll move. Finally done playing games, Adamant snaps. "No more warm-ups. Time to get deadly serious." The literal earth starts shaking right under their feet as he charges up a terrifying amount of magic. He actually levitates, wrapped in a massive storm of aura. He declares he is finally using full power. But Cadell just grinning. The fancy light show does not scare him at all. Now this looks like a fun time. Honestly, our boy is enjoying this battle way too much. Adamant is not bluffing about his power either. He instantly locks Elaine and her entire squad inside a violent magical tornado. Cadell just stands there calmly analyzing the guy. So an elite tier mage who can spawn literal natural disasters without even sweating. Nothing he cannot handle though. He admits the giant magic tornado looks pretty cool. He actually smiles at the angry old guy and thanks him for the nice visual display. Real interesting stuff, but yeah, playtime is officially over now. Now watch carefully, because you and I are about to see absolute madness. One single stomp. Boom. A massive purple shockwave completely detonates the area. That purple blast instantly nukes the forest, shredding everything nearby. Adamant gets blasted right out of the sky, looking completely horrified. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew is chilling in their barrier, just staring in absolute disbelief. Patrick is seriously freaking out here. He is a mage, yet he felt zero magic from that. Wait, was that literally just a physical stomp? The smoke clears to reveal the insane damage. Cadell is just standing in a massive smoking crater without a single scratch. Absolutely typical. Adamant is losing his mind that his ultimate spell lost to a barbarian. His precious ego is completely destroyed. He just keeps muttering how this is totally impossible. He screams in rage, just as Cadell ignites with a terrifying dark purple aura. You can literally see the absolute panic in the eyes of the mage, his confidence completely gone. Bam! Cadell slams the ground, firing off another insane glowing red shockwave. The mage dissolves into this creepy red mist and reassembles himself. He finally admits Cadell is strong, but somehow he is still acting pretty cocky. "You cannot kill me," he brags. And surprisingly, Cadell agrees. Yeah, normal punches will not work. He opens his glove, revealing this weird, jagged, dark shard. "How about I try this then?" The old guy just stares, totally confused by the rock. Cadell suddenly tightens his fist and the air around him violently detonates. A massive burst of raw energy erupts, basically turning the floor to ash. He stands there slightly smoking, actually looking a little surprised by his own strength. He unrolls his fingers. That jagged shard is now just crushed, sparkling dust. Instantly, the eyes of the mage snap wide open in absolute pure horror. "I know what you are thinking." "Checkmate, right?" Cadell flashes a savage grin, holding up the crushed remains of the true core of that arrogant mage. Oh, Adamant completely snaps. His face twists into pure unfiltered rage as he screams out curses. Cadell just narrows his eyes, totally unfazed by the tantrum. "Still want to fight?" He sets the new terms. "If we keep going from here, your actual life is on the line, old man." Humiliated mage just floats there, totally silent in his red fog. Then the creepy red energy just poofs out of existence. He drops one classic villain threat about making him pay before completely teleporting away. "We will worry about that later. For now, the fight is over." Cadell is just left standing by himself in this massive, newly made wasteland. Mini-boss defeated. The squad finally regroups and hits the road again. After all that crazy hiking, they actually reach their destination. Right in front of them stand the giant walls of the Denyan Kingdom. But Patrick suddenly stops. Being a foreigner, he says this is his exit point. Cadell says sorry, but Patrick just laughs it off. He admits traveling with our overpowered barbarian was super entertaining. Cadell actually feels the same way, hoping their paths cross again. Patrick flashes this weird cryptic smile and hints that it will happen pretty soon. Cadell just watches him leave, definitely sensing some heavy plot foreshadowing there. They walk up to the gate, and instantly a guard screams to halt. The guard yells to step back. Cadell just sighs. He is pretty used to this kind of warm welcome. Before a fight breaks out, Elaine steps up with total boss energy. "Open the gates." She instantly plays the ultimate royalty card. Bam. She is the first princess of the Luten Alamrochi kingdom. She straight up demands a meeting with King Barbosa Denyan. The guard is absolutely stunned, but hey, it totally works. Cut to Cadell chilling in an insanely luxurious guest room. Our boy went from sleeping in dirt to absolute royalty in minutes. He loves the upgrade. Escorting a princess really pays off. Testing the fancy bed, he figures his whole guard mission is officially a wrap. Right on cue, that classic blue system screen pops up. Quest number 758 is complete. Another prompt follows. Rewards are coming. Cadell just blinks, totally confused. He usually does not get instant drops like this, so he is wondering what it is, but suddenly a sharp knock. And trust me, you and I definitely want to see what this princess wants now. Let's dive right back into the madness. She asks for a moment. They sit, and Katal immediately asks for a status update on this crazy situation. Her audience with the king is locked in for tomorrow. She genuinely thinks this will fix absolutely everything. Katal, our resident realist, isn't buying it. He knows this is probably just the start of their nightmare. Lane actually agrees. A heavy pause hits. She calls his name and asks him, point blank, does he know what truly took over her entire kingdom? Katal closes his eyes. He admits he has his suspicions, but totally flips the question right back. He asks what her kingdom has actually become. Instead of answering right away, he just holds up this shimmering, iridescent little shard. He looks straight at a totally bewildered Elaine. This is the true nature of your replacements. Yeah, she is completely lost. That look on her face, not just confusion, her brain is literally buffering. Kettle explains he had to forcibly crush this stuff together just to make it visible to normal eyes. He doubts this medieval world can even grasp the concept. He asks if she understands, and shockingly, she completely gets it. Elaine compares you to mana and aura, invisible forces you can only see when they are tightly gathered together. Ding, a light bulb goes off for Ketel. He totally forgot this fantasy world has mystic forces. Perfect. For Elaine, the horrifying truth is finally sinking in. Katal tells her to picture herself as a massive collection of these specks. Her entire body, head to toe, heart to brain, bones to blood, has been completely entirely replaced. We both felt that one right. The realization hits hard, and she instinctively hugs herself in pure disgust. Katal just asks if she's okay. He totally admits that yeah, it is a seriously messed up feeling. She nervously asks if these particles are dangerous. Katal actually smiles, reassuring her they are inactive and break under heavy physical force. He decides to just call them nano for short. Sounds pretty cool, right? He explains each nano is a tiny living thing. Together they form a human shape, which is exactly why they cannot die from injuries, like trying to kill a lake by stabbing water. Immortality, Elaine asks, sounding absolutely horrified by the whole concept. Katal confirms it. That explains why they don't grasp death. But wait, Elaine spots a massive flaw in his logic. She points out, unlike them, I fear death. Shouldn't I be totally oblivious to it too? He has to admit she has a valid point. Then he leans in with a crazy new theory. Just a guess, but you are probably experiencing a mutation. Yep, she looks totally floored. Later, Katal is just kicking back on a ridiculously fancy palace bed. He is just chilling, wondering if Elaine is having that big chat with the king right now. He muses about meeting a real fantasy king, one who supposedly got his actual power straight from a god. I wonder what he is like, he thinks, smiling. I want to meet him. Speak of the devil, the door suddenly swings wide open. A super stern knight calls out. Barbarian, His Majesty wishes to meet you now. This guy Maximus leads Katal through insanely opulent halls. He drops a harsh warning show, basic respect if you want to keep your life. Katal just gives a super relaxed smile. Sure, noted. They reach the throne room, and Maximus loudly announces his arrival to the royal king. Now, pay attention here. Katal steps inside, but wait. He sees Elaine the king, and is that another familiar face? King Barbosa Denian speaks up first. So you are the barbarian who escorted Princess Elaine here. Katal drops a surprisingly respectful bow. Nice to meet you, king. I am Katal the barbarian. This polite little act catches Maximus and the king completely off guard. It is hilarious. The king literally coughs just to regain his composure. Princess Elaine claimed you are quite different from ordinary barbarians. Katal just flashes a grin. That is what they tell me. Then his eyes drift to the guy beside the throne. Wait, Patrick. Elaine gets flustered, explaining he is the Tower Master. Patrick immediately starts sweating bullets, desperately trying to play it cool. You must be mistaking me for someone else. But internally, he is absolutely losing his mind. Katal smiles and plays along. Ah, my mistake. Apologies. Patrick forces out another painful, awkward smile. He is so relieved. He cannot believe Katal almost saw through his perfect magic disguise, hiding his appearance, mana, and personality. There is no way Katal could see through it after just one quick meeting back then. Right. But Katal's dead silent stare is making him incredibly nervous. Maybe this perfect disguise is not so flawless. Katal decides not to blow the poor mage's cover. He will just let it slide for now. Wow, how incredibly nice. Changing the subject, Elaine anxiously asks about the human declaration. From his throne, the king delivers his verdict. They are human. So what do you and I make of this? If you think you are human, you are. Wild logic, right? Alright, stick with me here. Elaine, Aaron, and that captured knight, all undeniably human. Elaine's face just completely drops. The king points out they just wanted to stay human. Meanwhile, Cadell is over here grinning like a maniac. He thinks this is incredibly lucky. Cutting the small talk, our main character looks right at the king. Why was he really dragged out here? Boom, big reveal. The king already knows about these nano creatures and the threat is literally knocking at their door. It gets dark fast. His best friend and their kid already swallowed whole by this shadow plague. Patrick chimes in. The magic tower is stalling them, but the whole continent is doomed. The king locks eyes with Cadel. Word on the street is our boy knows how to wipe them out completely. Cadel lets the heavy silence hang. Slowly, the most menacing, dangerous smirk stretches across his face. Ah, so it is a total extermination mission. Right on schedule, that classic blue system window flashes into view. A brand new quest drops. Respond to the beings of the demon realm. Yep, 0 vacation days for our overpowered protagonist. Enter Parman, the captured knight. He is chained up, thrashing and screaming on the shiny throne room floor. The whole squad is watching. We have the King Captain Maximus and Patrick the Tower Master. They all want to see what kind of crazy trick Cadel pulls. Patrick, who is a literal undead, lich straight up gives up. His high-level magic scans and truth spells totally useless on this night, so he looks at Cadel like, alright expert, you actually fought these freaks before. Step right up and see if you can break his mind. Patrick even sets up a magic barrier, just in case things get messy. It is a total green light for maximum violence. Parman is screaming his head off. Why are you torturing me? I swear I am just a normal human. Cadel just shuts his eyes, perfectly chill. He looks down at this pathetic guy running through the absolute best ways to break him. Now pay close attention here. He snaps his eyes open and drops 100% of his raw, unfiltered killing intent. A massive nightmare fuel shadow towers over the poor knight, promising absolute destruction. Just look at Parman's face right now. His eyes are practically popping out. Pure primal panic. Cadel just took a monster that does not even understand dying and force-fed it the absolute gut-wrenching terror of death. The physical weight of this murderous aura is so insanely heavy it paralyzes everyone in the room. Even the undead lich is sweating bullets. And the crazy part, he realizes he is only feeling a tiny drop of the pressure crushing that knight. Hit with that mind-shattering mental attack, Parman just completely breaks down. It is an absolute mess on the floor. Then, finally, something cracks. This weird, dark, glittering energy starts oozing straight out of the knight's broken body. Cadel flashes a smug smile. Perfect. The shadow parasite hiding inside is being dragged, kicking and screaming into the light. The whole room is too stunned to speak. A creepy, shadowy humanoid figure with glowing white eyes just slithers completely out. Elaine is absolutely horrified. So that is what the nano really looks like. Cadel just waves and casually says, "Nice to finally meet you. Want to have a little chat?" The entire royal court is dead silent, watching this nightmare monster actually stop and think about his weird offer. A few seconds pass. Those glowing eyes squint. Color it curious. Fine, it hisses back. The nano does not beat around the bush. Why do you humans reject us? Elaine instantly loses it. Are you actually kidding me right now? We reject you because you ate and murdered literally everyone we loved. But the shadow demon, it is legitimately confused. It literally says, I do not get it. We just made your people perfect. Why the anger? Cadel puts the puzzle pieces together immediately. Ah, so you want Elaine back just to study why she is saying no. The monster plays it tough. I have zero reason to answer you. You and I both know Cadel is playing games here. He smirks. Hey, do not be shy. Tell us and maybe Elaine will actually join you. He dangles the bait perfectly. Just explain your grandmaster plan and maybe she will actually change her mind. And the shadow falls for it, hook, line, and sinker. Replication, it answers. It admits their population is super small, so they need to hijack as many human bodies as physically possible to expand. But Elaine and Aaron are resisting the signal, which is completely ruining their freaky little world domination schedule. Cadel leans in, pushing for the real juicy details. So what happens when you finally get all your numbers? The nano casually drops the most absolutely unhinged villain monologue. We will force perfection onto this flawed world. Cadel just smiles like he gets it. Right, so you want to completely erase and replace every single living thing here. The monster sees zero issue with mass extinction. It actually suggests Elaine and Aaron should just help them do it. Cadel slowly turns to look at Elaine. Well, does that sound like a fair trade to you? Silence fills the room. Then her eyes lock in with absolute fire. Hard pass. I will never join you, disgusting freaks. The shadow's body literally glitches out in pure fury. You lied to me. Cadel flashes the most villainous smile ever. I never promised anything. Screaming in pure fury, the shadow monster lunges forward. I will devour everyone here. Bam, it faceplants into an invisible wall. The Tower Master just grins. And that is why you and I always trust a smiling protagonist. You and I both knew this rampage was never going to happen. The nano monster just rages inside its barrier, finally realizing it got absolutely played. You bastards. Patrick just snaps his fingers. Alright, playtime is officially over. He says he already got all the data he needs from this thing. Then he casually shrinks the entire magic cube, trapping the entity inside a tiny glowing artifact right in the palm of his hand. So epic. He casually announces he is taking his brand new pet back to the lab for analysis. The king turns straight back to Kadal. He warns him that if these nano freaks are left unchecked, the entire world is basically doomed. Straight to the point. So Barbarian, what do you think? Can you wipe them out for us? Kadal does not even hesitate for a second. No problem at all. You want me to head out right now? He does mention that walking there is a massive trip though. The Tower Master quickly steps in. Do not worry about that. He offers to teleport them instantly. Stick with me here because Kadal is absolutely hyped for this crazy road trip. Patrick grins, admitting he actually planned to tag along the whole time. But right before they leave, Ellen shouts across the throne room, cutting them off. Wait a second. She steps right up, her face totally locked in. Please take me with you guys. Aaron immediately starts protesting, but Ellen is not backing down. She is dead set on joining this crazy mission. She flat out declares, I need to know if I will lose my mind before dying just like them. She has to see this firsthand. She needs to know if she is different and how to keep her sanity. She pitches her whole case to the crew. You saw that coming, right? Kadal literally just shrugs. Sure, why not? Not wanting to be left behind her loyal knight, Aaron yells that if the princess goes, he goes too. Patrick just smiles, telling them not to be reckless while weaving a giant teleportation spell. With a massive flash of light, the entire squad gets swallowed by a glowing blue magic circle. Next stop, enemy territory. Boom, they arrive in a blink. Now then, Patrick announces as they stand right outside Lutine Castle. Shall we begin? That wraps up today.